everybody, and welcome back to the Triple Crown Wargaming Studio with me, Max the Chieftain Hurley. By my side, as always, is Scott the Duke McHugh.
Hello.
James the Lawmaster Lamin.
How we doing?
And we're back with another deep dive video in our deep dive series. So the deep dives are a competitive analysis of every army book and supplement in Warhammer Fantasy 8th edition. In this video, or set of videos, we're going to be going through the Daemons of Chaos army book. Yeah, the final. Thank you for the little toot toot.
Yeah. I got you.
The final army book in our deep dive series. We've come to an end, unfortunately. But we're going to do a little bit different this time, guys. So each of the Daemons of Chaos army book deep dives we're going to do is going to be the same intro. So it's me with me, these guys who's by my side. And we'll be going through the intro, the rating systems, and the special rules section of the army book.
We will.
With me, and these guys will be helping me out. Beyond that, we'll be going into the separate sub-factions of the Daemons of Chaos.
Yes.
So that's out of the way. We're going to get through this very quickly. And we're going to go into what can you expect in our video now. So the video will be broken down into 5 distinct sections. First, we'll outline how the rating system works. Then we'll go through the army-wide special rules. Next, we'll go through the special characters and unit ratings. Followed by analysis of the army-specific items and magical laws. Then we'll discuss some sample competitive army lists, both in a non-comps environment and within the framework of the Triple Crown comp system itself. So, without further ado, let's get cracking. So, here's a brief explanation / recap, if you've watched them before, of how our rating system works. And we say brief, it'll be a bit of a time. So firstly, we'll divide every unit in the army book into battlefield roles. This creates a system that accurately represents how competitive a unit is at its job. Just because a unit won't kill 50 models in a game doesn't mean it's not competitive. Daemons of Chaos don't particularly have anything that kills 50 models in a game, unless there's a great demon.
Unless the tally's up.
Unless the tally's
Well, tally's up, a Nurgle Fury could probably do it.
Yeah. We'll get to that at some point. So, the battlefield roles are as follows. So we have Battleline Units. These are the regiments that form the fighting line of an army. The Flanking Units, which are the shock units used for hitting the enemies in, unsurprisingly, the flanks, in support of your battle line. We have Range Units, the units that offer you the dedicated shooting threat. Chaff Units, the units used for hitting lone targets like war machines and sacrificing for battlefield advantage. Support Units, those uniquely Warhammer units that offer buffs or damage unlike anything else in the game. And Characters, which is what it says on the tin. Naturally.
Easy
peasy. So, there are 15 different criteria for scoring. However, each of the battlefield roles are scored on the 6 criteria most relevant for their role. We'll outline which criteria are used for each battlefield role, and the full details of how each criteria is broken down can be found on the ratings page of TripleCrownWargaming.com.
There's a link above the video.
There's a link above the video.
On the page before.
I'm having a great
It's on the page before.
Just over it. Just listening to Max taking big breaths for the massive sentences.
Because I don't do words well. As Scott just said, the link is posted.
I don't word well.
I don't word well. The link is above, below, previous page, next page. Take it out.
Previous page at the top.
There you go. That's where it is. It's pretty in-depth stuff and well worth checking out to better understand how the deep dive content works and to help you think critically about your army's units.
Yeah, otherwise we're just saying random numbers at you and it doesn't mean too much.
Well, it might do.
I sit here using
it does if you watch all of them, because it kind of gives you a good relation to every other unit.
But if you don't read the
singularly,
breakdown of it,
singularly less useful.
Oh, it's a 12. Okay.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
So each criteria is worth up to 4 points, giving a total of 24 for each unit in the army book. The higher that number, the more competitive at its job it is. And the criteria for each battlefield role are as follows. Drum rolls, please. Battle line units are scored on strength and number of attacks, special rules, command options, survivability, and cost. Flanking units are scored on strength and number of attacks, their special rules, maneuverability this time, survivability, and cost. Ranged units are scored on threat range, strength for shot, accuracy, versatility, survivability, and cost. Chaff units are scored on maneuverability, number of attacks, special rules, slot, survivability, and cost. Support units are scored on maneuverability, special rules, synergy, risk, survivability, and cost again. And finally, characters are scored on output, special rules, synergy, risk, survivability, and cost.
So survivability and cost, quite important.
Yeah.
Every role.
Probably the two most important,
Yeah.
singularly the two most important factors in a unit.
I think that's, verging on common knowledge, I would say.
Yeah.
If a unit is, paper thin, it's probably not going to have a role
But,
unless
yeah,
it's a very dedicated role.
And or if it's cheap.
Or if it's very
Very cheap.
cheap.
Hello,
Equally-
zombies.
Equally, if a unit's really tough to kill, but is super expensive, it also probably isn't going to have a place.
Yeah.
Hello, Blood Knights.
They're not
That's
tough to
tough.
kill.
Although probably not tough enough to kill to warrant their points.
Yeah,
But that's exactly why you
That's
don't see
exactly
it.
why you don't see it.
So beyond that tangent, a handy tip in general is if a unit scores more than 18, it's a pretty strong choice.
Yeah.
And you should take it in your army every time, all the time.
Well, I don't know that, but
All the
A lot of
time.
the time.
it's a good consideration to build around. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So now that that's rated out of the way, we're now going to move into the start of the Iron Book as it is, and we're going to move into the Daemons of Chaos special rules. So now the formalities are out of the way. Let's deep dive. So he's got an exclamation point. So
So you certainly exclaim that.
It's got an
I
exclamation.
always say, let's deep dive. Yeah.
I really
Like a
hope.
pirate.
I hope you came here looking for the seriousness of content you've grown to know and love from the deep dive
When
videos,
you come to your
and found Pirate Demon Max
when you've come
at the helm.
when you come to Max's deep dives, you know there's going to be no seriousness here.
No.
Right. So
What a horror show.
what is a horror show? For
Well,
me.
this section's a horror show for
It
the
is.
enemies of demons.
It is.
Yeah.
So in the Daemons of Chaos Army Special Rules section, you will find 2 special rules and 1 rule I'm call it a game special rule because it does affect the game as a whole, and that is the only way I can think to describe it. And it may not seem like a lot, but there's a lot to unpack here.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, there is. One of their rules is basically 3 rules.
Yeah, it is a rule. There's rules within rules here. So
Yeah.
the first one is the main one, and it really just about encompasses everything, and that is the Demonic special rule. And every unit in the Iron Book has this, bar none.
Yeah, unsurprising, really. They
Because
are all demons.
They're all demons. There's no mortals here.
No.
It's a hefty rule, and more so than any other army, this really makes what demons what they are.
Yeah.
About this, what is a demon? What is a demon?
It's very similar to unstable.
very
It's
philosophical.
very similar to undead,
To undead,
isn't it? Or,
yeah.
or Nehekaran undead.
Or
which,
Nehekaran, 'cause
just remember the Warhammer FAQ.
distinctly different.
Yes, tells
You-
us that they do count as undead.
Yes.
You're really not going to let that go ever, are you?
No.
It's
I
really-
love that enough people ask them that question.
I do. I tell you what else I'm not going to let go. 8 legs on your Ragnarok spider.
Oh,
That is a
get
conversation
over
for
it.
another
Oh
day.
my god.
That's a tale for another day.
Oh.
Anyway, demonic. So the first main part of this rule, before anything else, is that if you got the rule, you cause fear and have immune psychology.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Good.
the first part of it is
Yeah,
you cause
both
fear.
very good.
Both very good. You can't run away.
No.
Can't run from terror, or you don't have a fear test.
No.
You don't have panic test. No, nothing. Nothing of that sort of ilk.
Tactically consistent.
It is, yeah.
That's the crucial element with that. You know what they will do.
Yes.
Which is the reason why you do undead, because you know they're never going to run away.
That is correct.
Doesn't have the gumption to scare them.
No. Look, like, I can build a tactical consistency into a list like that, and you can with demons for the same
You
reason.
can, yeah.
It's brilliant.
So
No
immune
panic test for me.
no panic test for me, baby.
Yeah, that's it.
And then the other rule, we have fear as well. So fear is again something they share with undead and Nehekaran undead as well. But it's more so something to help them out than it is for the undead. Sorry, it helps the undead out more. But it's better in demons because demons of chaos usually, if you're in combat, you're gonna be hitting on 3s usually. So a lot of combat stuff is like skill 5.
Well, I know, it really depends.
Yeah, it really depends.
For Nurgle, the fear is probably better.
Better as well. For
Yeah.
Nurgle.
And for Sanesh, where they're a bit squishier, the
Yeah.
fear can be really helpful.
But there's more chance, if you fail that fear, there's more chance you hit a demon on a 5 than it is for, say, a skeleton.
Well, I mean, yeah, if anyone fails a fear test, they're hitting anything that's not a skeleton
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
with fear on a 5.
Yeah, so
Or a zombie.
Or a zombie.
Yeah.
Zombies web skill 3, aren't they?
What's 1?
How are they better than a skeleton?
Yeah, so skeleton's
How in
what
your
I'm
head is a dude who hits you with his own foot better than a skeleton?
Oh, he can control the foot. Oh no, I've missed. Let me just flick my ankle round. Obviously.
Like a boomerang, yeah.
How is he not better?
Oh, dear.
I'm
think-
sorry about these
I think
people.
for me, fear is one of those rules. It's very inconsistent.
It's situational.
And it's the epitome of a if you're looking at the rating system whilst listening to this, it's the epitome of a 1 point situational rule.
Yeah.
So what my point here is it's not as crucial to demons as it is for the undead.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can see where you're going with that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's where my tangent began. That's where it should have
Max
gone.
does not do words.
Max can't word well.
Fundamentally, 50% of the book, the fear doesn't realistically change what they hit on.
No.
No.
That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
It's good for you. It's good for your Demons of Nurgle because obviously.
And your Demons of Siege.
And your
And,
Demons-
do you know what? And Slanesh as well, because it can mean they hit on 5s.
It stops
Yeah.
them being hit so much.
Yeah, which helps. So it's not bad. And Bloodletters, they're
It's good for everyone. It's probably better on half the book than it is the other half.
but your opponent's not gonna fail it very often.
No, which is the issue.
Which is why you can't.
And which I'm sure we'll get into. You don't really have any leadership shenanigans in the army bar 2 spells I can think of off the top of my head. I don't think there's a zinc spell that affects leadership. There's one that makes you test on your lowest.
Fantastic.
But
There's-
that's not for fear.
Right, so you have access to Law of Death that can
Yeah,
affect
which is
leadership.
in darkness.
We'll point this out. There's a spell in the
It's
Law of
Slanesh.
Slanesh that will do
Is
it
it
for you.
Phantasmagoria?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's worth pointing out the Mask of Slanesh can also alter
Sure,
leadership.
it's
She can drop it by 1.
Yeah.
So,
So, you have like 3 entire options.
There's
Yeah.
some options there, and there's some
But not
things
many.
that I think.
No. So it's a nice role, not as it's very situational as
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
And as we said, immune psychology it's very nice that you don't need to be worried about being scared about anything. So
Yeah.
stand, but unless you want to stand and shoot, but almost nothing in this army book has a shooting attack to stand and shoot with.
Yeah.
What can you do?
We'll live.
We'll leave it at that. So next in the demonic rule is demonic attacks, and so this is the first sort of sub rule within the rule. A model of this has magical attacks, and that includes everything from ranged to stomps and special attacks. So your breath weapons, your thunder stomps, your stomps, as it says, your shooting attacks. Anything that your demon attacks with is magical.
Yeah.
There's no way getting around it. Your Banner of the World Dragons is going to be there to stay.
It's a 95% nothing rule. This.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have to say this. 5% of the time it matters.
It's either really, really good or
Yeah.
really, really
That's
bad.
it, 5% of the
Yeah.
time.
This you got on the whole. This is a beneficial rule for yourself because unless you're fighting that one unit with a banner,
Yeah, I'd say that's fair.
it affects nothing else, and it helps
Yeah.
you against ethereal.
Yeah,
that's
it's
it.
negative against one unit
Yes.
In one army book.
in one army.
And it's
Yeah.
positive against, well, like a handful of units across 2,
2,
maybe 3. I think it's only 2.
Vampires and lizardmen.
Oh, 3.
3.
3 army books.
Forgot Ghostland.
Who's the third? What's the other one?
Green Knight.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Britannians.
Yeah, that's fair.
I would like to point out, although this is clearly an FAQ that probably didn't need to happen, it specifies stomp attacks. It doesn't specify thunder stomp attacks. They're obviously also magical.
Yeah.
Stomp, Thunder
Come
Stomp,
on now.
Thunder Stomp come under
It
Stomps.
comes under Stomp.
It's a book,
It's a
yeah.
subheading of Stomp.
Oh,
It is, yeah.
It's a sub clause 1 of Stomp.
So this is whereas
Stomp 1.1.0.
Yeah.
Stomp.
that's exactly how it is. But as we said, only one army in the game has access to a banner unless you're playing end times with legion lists and stuff
Well,
like
it's
that.
still only one army.
It's still
part of a legion list.
But it's and it's still only one unit. So even then, so as these guys said, it's a nothing roll.
Yeah.
Beneficial most of the time. Messes you up.
I have
2%
to
of the
say,
time.
it's a rule that Demons players, that banner is something that Demons players
Bellyache about
really
it.
go mad about.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, it's so broken, there's nothing I can do about it. And I'm like, yeah, there is. You just feed it chaff and just kill the stuff around it.
Or
Like,
you stick a beast of Nurgle into them.
or well, I mean,
depends what unit's
it'll
on.
take them ages to kill
Yeah,
it, though. It
yeah.
still takes them ages to kill it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I just don't get too het up about the banner. Is my advice to competitive Demons players. Realistically, with a little bit of game management, you can mitigate the worst
Yeah,
effects.
just
Absolutely.
play around it, and again, if you come up against those pesky vampire players of all the ethereal units, it helps you out.
Do you know, that would have been me, but it's probably
It's more me
slightly
now.
more you
It's slightly-
after North Remembers,
After
isn't
the
it?
29 ethereal wounds I took to North Remembers.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Let's
So
move on.
We're going to move on to the next perk to being a demon, which is Demonic Aura.
Yes.
And this gives the model with Demonic a 5 ward save, as standard.
Really good.
Doesn't sound as much, but then when you think about it, every model in your army has a talisman of endurance.
Effectively. Yeah.
Effective 30 points per model.
Ward save gold standard rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about these. There's like fly, ASF, ward save. They are gold
Oh, no.
standard like elements.
And there's almost nothing in the game that bypasses a ward save.
Yes,
Yes.
one item that lets you reroll it, one item that ignores it, I believe, and
Yeah.
some
And
spells,
spells
that
that-
swallow you whole.
Yeah.
Of which some of your units can avoid completely as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
There are ways you can actually, when we get into the meat of the units, because this is going to be the same on all 4
Yeah, it is,
factions. Slanesh specifically have some stuff that can completely
Ignore those
ignore
attacks.
that. It's
Yeah.
very underrated.
Very good. So if I ward save, it's just a third of all your damage is just ignored.
Pretty
Yeah.
much, yeah.
Very good.
So good on units. It's good for. It's funny when your big great demons deflect a cannonball from thin air.
has good synergy with magic resistance as well.
does.
And again, there are
Yep.
a good chunk of units that have it or
Good
can
chunk.
get hold
There's
of
an
it.
entire sub-faction.
That's it.
Yeah, there's an entire sub-faction. Be warned though, that unlike a lot of other war saves, this war save is subject to change.
It's got terms and conditions attached.
It does have terms. We're going to get to that in a second when we
Yes.
go through it, but they are. It might sound weird, but they are subject to change.
Get ready for me to bust some numbers, for Scott to correct those numbers, but for my point still to be absolutely spot on.
And then for me, just to go, yeah, those sound correct. Those numbers correct. Are they correct, Scott? Do them out. Do them out.
Let's, yeah.
Anyway, moving on. So the last perk of Demonhood is
The final sub point.
demonic instability.
Yes.
So, and this is where you don't run away from a combat. So now this is wordy. So I'll let Scott have a go reading this time.
I did wonder when it had come to me.
Have a go at reading it. Do you think you
See if I can
get
do
there, mate?
words better than that.
You really had a go at me when I did the Orcs and Goblins deep dive. So I'll let you have. I'll take over a lot of it. And let you do reading here.
Cheers.
So, when a unit of demons loses a combat, it must take a special kind of break test called a demonic instability test, instead of taking a normal break test. To do this, use the following procedure. Calculate combat res as normal and roll 2d6. If the dice roll is a double 1 or double 6, something unexpected happens. On a double one, reality blinks. All wounds suffered by the unit this close combat phase, including any wounds suffered by characters that have joined it, are restored, and any models removed as casualties in this phase immediately return to play in their earlier positions. Wounds restored in this manner still count as having been inflicted for the purposes of combat results.
I don't know why it makes a difference because the test is done after combat.
Yeah,
A frenzy, maybe? I don't know.
in a Legions list, Mortals.
No, because they
Still
don't
break.
have demonic instability in that.
Oh, they don't. No, they lose
No.
it. They just go unstable.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't know.
So I wonder if it is things like the frenzy.
Count as having winning the combat.
Count as
Yeah,
having-
maybe.
Yeah, the combat result reduced.
A really weird bit to add on the end of it.
Bit,
But
yeah, or double six, banished, less good. Remove the unit from player as a casualty. Lot less wordy.
It's just that one.
Literally, it's just that.
Remove the entire
It's,
unit.
it's 8 words.
This is why
Treat unit as if Scott rolled on the miscast table.
this is why you need BSBs in your Demon's Army.
It is, yeah. The third point under this.
The third clause.
So now,
Third sub clause.
assuming the unit has not been wiped out when resolving a double six, apply the difference in combat results as a penalty to the demon's leadership. For every point by which the 2d6 roll exceeds this modified leadership value, the unit suffers 1 additional wound with no saves of any kind allowed. If characters are present in the unit, the controlling player first allocates wounds to the unit up to their current wounds, then divides remaining wounds as equally as possible amongst any characters. Once all wounds have been allocated, the penalty to the demon's leadership is discounted. Note that demonic instability tests do not benefit from insane courage. They can, however, be re-rolled if the battle standard is within 12. Use the General's Inspiring Presence rule and or be tested on unmodified leadership if the unit is stubborn/steadfast. If a demonic unit somehow has the Unbreakable special rule, it takes no demonic instability test. I now understand why that last sentence is there. Because on a double one, you get all your wounds back. However, you still take into account the modifier for how much you lost combat by. And take those wounds.
No.
Because you don't gain benefit, rather, from insane courage. So double ones aren't always a pass.
But it doesn't matter because insane courage only exists on a break test. It's not a break test.
It's a special kind of break test.
Yeah, but... So, assume you're generally demons
How
a
can
leadership
you
7.
take the wounds and get all the wounds back?
Because, so you double one it.
What's
So
done
you roll
first?
the dice. If a double 1 or double 6, something unexpected happens, right? So if you roll a double 1, you get all your models back. Lovely. Now, the third point. Now, assuming the unit has not been wiped out when resolving a double 6, nothing about a double 1, apply the difference in combat result as a penalty to the demon's leadership. For every point by which the 2d6 roll exceeds this modified leadership value, the unit suffers 1 additional wound with no saves of any kind. So your leadership as a demon can go down
I
to
understand
0.
what you're saying. I'm pretty
And then
sure
you
the
lose 2
FAQ
wounds.
says you can't be reduced to less than leadership
It's
2.
0.
Oh, is it 0? So
I'm
you
sure
would
it's leadership
take
0.
2 wounds.
So you take 2 wounds on a double 1.
Okay.
At most.
You heard it here first, maybe.
It's
I
not
think it
fantastic.
says 2. I think you
I
don't
think
take
it's
the
0.
wounds.
I'm sure it's 0.
I think it's 0. I do think it's 0.
Okay, so
Maybe
maybe you then take... I've never seen anyone...
I've never seen anyone
in
do it like that either.
10 years of playing with this army.
No.
Or playing against this army. I've never seen anyone take those wounds.
No.
Ever.
No. Good.
This rule is ridiculous. I'll say it's just ridiculous.
This is what separates demons from undead.
It's ridiculous, right? Unstable, unbreakable is a clearly interbalanced rule whereby you lose wounds in replacement for not running. This rule, legitimately, you don't lose wounds very often.
Not really.
Like you just don't. I'm
No.
sorry, you don't.
No.
You look
because you get steadfast and you can test on
Yeah.
your like benefits from steadfast and you can test on leadership. Probably 8 for a herald, 9 if you've got a greater demon close by.
Again, the more ridiculous element to this is the fact that you can lose combat by like 20, and go, oh, it's okay because I can't possibly, as long as I roll not a double 6, I've got 12 models left. I can't possibly go out anywhere this turn.
Yeah.
But cool. Whereas, for anyone else that's got a real normal rule, you take the figures off. So it's huge. It's a huge rule. The fact you can double 1 and get all your wounds back is absolute insanity as well.
Yeah, it is.
It is characters come back. That's different from every other rule like that.
Absolutely. It takes the flanking role, arguably the most devastating role, battlefield role, and potentially, now it doesn't happen often, it's 1 in 36, but if you've got the BSB reroll, it's 1 in 18.
Nope.
The chance doesn't change, but 18 tests, because you reroll the test.
Yeah.
Every 18 tests, you'll throw it. But it effectively nerfs like lances. It nerfs shock troops massively.
It'll hold them in there. Hold them in their stead.
It obliterates them. It doesn't hold them in their stead. It just flattens them. Because they go in, they do all their joy with their
Lances
devastating charge, their lances, their whatever they got. You double on it and then turn around. Because then you're steadfast. Because you've got all your ranks back as well. So you're steadfast for the turn round check.
Yeah,
This is why they are one of the top armies in the game.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
So the chance there are, as I said, there is a slim chance which you do lose the entire unit.
Yeah, bad times.
That's why you have VSP.
But again, realistically, the chances of that
not
happening is 1 in every 72 break tests you take
Yeah.
if you've got a BSB. Because you've got to roll double 6
Twice.
and then roll it again because you'll re-roll it.
Yeah.
So you're literally 4 times more likely to get the double 1 result if you've got a BSB than get the double 6 result. Realistically.
So what? So first, to get the double 1,
Welcome to Daemons of
either
Maths.
1 out of 36 it, or you 35 out of 36 and then 1 out of 36. Because you don't get it on the first roll, but get it on the second roll.
Yeah. You basically get 2 bites of the cherry, which doubles your chances of scoring it.
Yeah.
That's the way to look at it. Whereas with the double 6, you get 2 bites of the cherry to
To
avoid
not
it,
get
which
it.
doubles your chances of not getting it, which effectively means that you've got to
Half your chance of getting it. Because you have to get it on both.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So the disparity of commonality of result is
Huge.
huge.
Yeah.
It's like we're back to the Frost Art Phoenix table and we talk about the statistical chances
Yeah.
Oh,
of
getting double 1
The numbers
that's the
don't
1 to
sound
6.
right, but I'll be honest, it's been too long a day for me to work out if they are right.
Someone's just come back from holiday.
Yeah.
they definitely are.
Okay. That is
They
bold claim.
definitely are right because you've basically got 2 chances to score or avoid.
Yeah.
And it's much easier to avoid than it is to
absolutely.
score,
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah,
Good rule.
it's not the same odds to get a double 1 on a reroll as to not get a double 6 on a reroll, is it? So
No,
it's much easier.
It's
to not
35
get a
out of
double 6.
36 to duck it on the second
Yeah.
roll. That's what I mean. The gap
It's
is
huge.
humongous when you start factoring in your reroll. They just become really
Are
hard.
we done mathing?
No, we haven't even got to the chart yet. You wait till I get onto the chart,
But
mate.
no, it's a very good rule, and it as I said, it separates demons from undead. It keeps you guys
I
around.
just want to point out they've already
Here we
ignored
go.
a third of the wounds they've taken from the ward saves. Like, I've got like
Or more.
or more.
Or a few less.
Or more. Yeah, I mean, yes, it's definitely possible, and we will discuss that in more depth. But the
People at home skip.
overall,
10 seconds. 10 seconds.
overall,
This is good content, people.
overall, that ward save combined with this
Yeah,
is particularly
very
strong.
good.
And
It
it's
makes
why
them
they're
really
spicy.
tough.
It's why they're up the top.
Yeah, it makes them really hard to break down. Even units that look like they should be
Even
easy.
the poorer ones
Yeah.
are like that.
Yeah.
See any battle report where Scott uses Nurglings for more information. So, yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
killed
yeah.
40 zombies once. Not on a battle report.
Not a battle
No,
report.
just they'll do that.
Yeah.
They'll do that. They will, particularly
For the
once, once the tally's up, they'll do it, won't they?
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
Moving on. You done?
See, pulled the zombies up.
Lastly, we have the demonic alignment rule. So this is a separate rule. It's not a part of demonic anymore.
No.
It's just called demonic
separate.
alignment. This rule usually sets the tone for your army composition as a whole as well. So firstly, only demonic characters can join demonic units. Doesn't make a difference in the army book, it only makes a difference in the Legion army lists.
Yeah.
Which we'll cover at some point later on down the line. Not much in a detriment in the army book. So, secondly, demon units can only use inspiring presence and hold your ground of a model as the same alignment as the model with the rule. This is the big bit, because your general and your BSB have to be of the same god.
Of the unit they're trying to affect.
Yeah, so if you're a Lord of Change, which is a Great Demon of Zinch, you can't give your inspiring presence to a Bloodletter unit.
You have to hold your hand up here and say this is a tough rule.
This is tough.
Yeah.
This is a rough rule. This one.
Yeah.
So now this is where it might sort of somewhat level out in demonic instability. Are you going to start mapping again?
No, I'm not. I'm not. But I think this is really interesting insofar as, for me, it doesn't level it out.
It just prescribes lists.
It's a terrible rule. Yeah, it's a terrible rule because whilst there's going to be people at home saying, "Well, yeah, but that would just mean you see Kairos in loads more armies." Yeah, you would.
You would,
Of course you would.
Yeah.
And you'd see like a Keeper of Secrets more regularly, or you'd see, like outside of a Slanesh list or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably would see those things. But honestly, what it's led to the other way is
the rise of the mono god.
well, it's the rise of almost exclusively one mono god. I would say 85-90% of the lists you will encounter.
The mono
Well,
Nurgle.
certainly on competitive tables will be.
Well, and when you
Mono
go to events, it almost always is
Yeah.
competitive.
Yeah.
So, the vast majority of what you will take on will be Nurgle heavy. And I think worse than that, you're actively penalised for not doing it. It's not just that your army's better for doing it.
Yeah.
You're actively penalised
for not.
See, a Daemons of Chaos army in itself looks very nice if it's a mixed god. You've got loads of different models, loads of different colours going on. It looks physically nice, but then when you prescribe to a mono god list, it looks kind of just green, red, blue, pinks, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or the shades of purple. If you're
I think the other problem is that for one specific faction, which is Nurgle, obviously, they're given an additional way of bonusing their troops if their troops are Nurgle.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is, I'll give you a massive bonus if you stick with Nurgle, or I'll nerf you hard if you don't.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, well, I just think I'll
probably
just
stick
stick with the best option. And this is where I think this is part of a combination of bad rules writing in this supplement.
Yeah.
It really does hamper just a lot of your army list unless you tailor it to be specifically around.
And
one
I think
god.
the intention was good. I think the intention was good. It was like, well, would a unit of Demonettes take orders from a Bloodthirster? No, they probably wouldn't.
No.
They probably wouldn't. They hate each other. That's great.
I can understand it more if you say that the demons of the gods that hate each other don't get the benefit.
Yeah, I think it just becomes so confusing to do that as well.
I would say you get like a -1 penalty to leadership or 2 for inspiring presence.
Yeah, or just reduce it so it's 6.
Or 6 inches.
12 inches normally or whatever, or
Yeah.
6 inches if they're
-6 off
I
of
think
it.
you could have done the same, but I think
There are things.
what it's done is sort of hard fixed.
Yeah.
The mono god being the kind of the
Yeah,
way that people will generally play.
It's also worth saying that demonic characters can only join units that are solely composed of demons with the same allegiance of themselves as well.
Yep.
So Nurgle heralds, for instance, can only join Nurgle units.
Yes.
Epidemius can't join a unit of
Seekers.
pink horrors or seekers,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
So they, again, just prescribing mono, a lot of mono god lists.
That I don't mind that. I think that makes perfect sense because it's the same as Warriors of Chaos, effectively.
I would mind it. Well, it's not because Warriors of Chaos can share leadership and can share BS.
No. The joining.
Oh, the
same
joining.
mark.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
joining.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
apologies. Yeah, that's absolutely total sense. You wouldn't have a Herald of Slanesh hanging out with like a Zinchi unit, would you? Just chilling my bird mates.
The Zinchers.
Down in the aviary.
Down the aviary. Anyway, and so lastly, we have the specific rules for the demons aligned to a specific god. So if you're a demon of Khorne, you get different rules. So, demons of Khorne gain +1 strength from the charge and hate demons of Slanesh.
Yes, they do.
Demons of Zinch reroll ward saves and channeling attempts of 1 and hate demons of Nurgle.
Yeah. I don't know what they have against them.
It's lore-wise.
No, man, it was a joke.
There's
Everyone
background
hates
people.
Nurgle. Everyone hates Nurgle.
Weirdly, these are probably the only thing in all of Warhammer existence that don't hate Nurgle because they're broken. they hate them because, like fluff reasons.
Fluff reasons being Zinch's change and Nurgle is stagnation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I think is quite cool.
Yeah, I do like that.
And Demons of Nurgle cause enemy models to suffer a -1 to hit in combat and hate Demons of Zinch.
Good.
That's the kicker.
So good.
You play Warriors of Chaos.
We're going to discuss these
We're
in a
going to
moment.
discuss it, yeah. And Demons of Slanesh gain armor piercing and hatred demons. Of
Also
Khorne.
very good.
You thought you were going to escape this section, Max, without me getting onto it.
Scott, so so I'm going to move into the units. If you, can I finish?
Are we even done? We're not even close to done.
Can I finish my spiel before you go off on yours? Yeah. Overall, Reed does set the precedent of how your army will build on the very get-go, and means that multi-god armies are very hard to get right, and mono-god builds are pretty much the most competitive way of building an army.
And go.
Well, I mean, we've gone backwards there.
You go into so obviously the Demons of Zinch is the best one in there. Obviously,
look. The problem is the problem with the fundamental problem with these 4.
When he says fundamental,
flavor
you know you're in for a long ride.
No, the fundamental problem with these 4 flavor texts is that some of them are completely passive, and some of them are very active. So if you take Khorne, I have to charge, so it requires input action. And it only lasts for one turn.
Yeah.
Right? So it's active and for a short period.
Yeah.
Whereas if I take Slanesh, it's armor piercing
very passive all the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
all the time
I
during
have to
combat,
but I have to I still have to hit. So it's less active than say Khorne.
No. Because you still have to hit with Khorne.
Yes, yeah, but I only get 1 turn with Khorne. I've got to do it and I get 1 turn.
Oh, less active.
Yeah. So it's more kind of passive because I've got it all the time.
Yeah.
But I still have to hit and wound.
And then the most passively is Zinchi there on itself.
Then when you look at I think when you look at Nurgle, that is super passive. It's just I just stand here and I
just
get a
have
fat
to
bonus.
be in combat.
You could say it's just aggressively passive.
Also, think about how rare -1s to -1 modifiers are.
Yeah.
Or +1 modifiers are.
From what
outside of like shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you
Like
think
to hit with
if you
shooting.
think about to hit rolls in combat,
There's
you've got a sword of +1 to hit and a spell that does it.
Yeah.
Enchanted Blades, which
all the
again,
chaos.
There's a couple of spells that do it. Curse of Amber does it.
no, it's -1. No, I'm thinking sorry.
Oh,
I'm thinking
just
+1s.
+1s.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
And then -1s would be
You've got
Curse over here,
Fars,
Fars Protection.
Fire protection.
Ice Shot Blizzard.
Ice Shot
Yes.
Blizzard.
3 spells.
So we're talking about. We've talked about 4 spells from Battle Magic, which are widely regarded as 4 of the best spells in the game.
They're all very good.
Period.
Yeah.
Sword of Striking is one
Very
of
good
the
sword.
most common competitive items you'll see. Very good choice.
Very good sword.
You'll have to see it.
You do.
And this is because a specific modifier to the dice is huge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely huge.
If it was -1, say what it used to be was -1 weapon skill, that makes it a lot better, a lot more even. Just a -1 flat.
Well, it makes the rule a lot worse. -1 weapon skill is way worse than -1 to hit.
Yeah.
-1 to hit is huge. What you've just said is that you have made yourself 17% harder to hit.
18% of it.
No, you're running it up 16.667. But yeah, I'll let you run it up to 17.
17%. 17% harder to hit.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, which is huge.
Yeah, essentially outside of spells or magic items, no one can hit you on a 3.
No. 4+ is the worst you will be hit on.
So half of the attacks coming at you are not going to hit.
And
then you've got probably a 5-up wall save.
So a third of the damage.
The damage that goes through. On a toughness which is generically the best toughness in the book.
This isn't even talking if you failed your fear test as well.
Yeah, and again, if we look at, fail your fear test, you're being hit on 6s.
Yeah.
So again, it's about combinations that are not thought about. Failing your fear test has very little impact on Khorne because they're weapon skill 5, has very little impact on Slanesh because they're weapon skill 5, has very little impact on Zinch because they can't fight.
Because they are rubbish.
Don't want to be in combat.
Honestly, do you know what I would have done to fix this? I would have made it -1 weapon skill, but I wouldn't have said to a minimum of 0. So that if you fail your fear check, you can't hit me, you'll hit automatically.
Yeah, okay.
That's devastating.
Yeah, I don't.
But equally, it just makes me a bit harder to
I
hit.
don't know what I would have done, to be honest. I don't know what I would have done. What I do know is that that's really consistent.
Yeah.
The Zinch one is also quite consistent.
It's very consistent.
It's solid, very solid.
Unfortunately, the base stats of the guys that have it
Not great.
are poor.
It's really good on the Greater Demons.
Oh yeah, and it's absolutely ace on the Lord of Change. It's terrifying.
It's why a lot of lists. I like a list of having just like 4 units of 10 pink Oryx just to have 4 re-rolling channeling attempts.
Yeah, not bad to spam the channel in 10.
Well, I mean that is
which
strong.
we do combat as well.
Yeah, because it is strong,
It's strong.
to just we use them as chaff. You just use them as chaff blocks that generate power dice for you in Nurgle.
And a random spell.
And a random spell.
And a random spell.
If I don't get away.
Yeah, hopefully.
So I think this is the big problem with the 4 in general, is that they aren't equal.
No, not by a long,
They aren't
long
equal,
way.
and so then you have to start saying, well, what are we going to do points wise to make them equal? And I think when we get into, obviously that will be different for each of the videos, but this section will be the same for you guys at home. So it's just something for you to think about is, well, how is that reflected? Because you know, in general, I don't think it's reflected that well.
No.
And I don't like to sort of really criticise, but I don't see how the most consistent of those powers don't seem to be pointed higher than the least. In fact, they are definitely pointed lower than the least consistent.
I would just say these just aren't included in the cost at all.
No.
No. Well, they definitely aren't for some, and they definitely are for others. I think that's fair to say.
I think what James alluded to, that everything's noble was uncosted.
Well, I think that it's very hard to see how it's pointed into something like a plague bearer, for example.
Yeah.
It's very hard, but it's very easy to see that it's definitely been pointed into a 14-point bloodletter.
Yeah.
Who even with it is probably too many points.
Well, because he's still got to make a charge. He's just a bloke. He's just a bloke. So.
Well, I mean, he's a demon.
He's a fishy bloke. He's got
fishy.
Yeah,
he's got horns.
He's got like a fishy look going on, though, haven't they?
No.
I think they do. I think they're a bit scaly.
No.
Look at their backs. They're a little bit.
What? Because they've got scaly skin.
On the back.
Is that like lizard men fish?
No, because I think the backs they've got like little sort of fins.
They have a fin.
You guys at home know what I'm talking about. They've got a fin and they've got scales.
I know what you're on about because I built these guys now. They have a singular fin like
That's
a shark.
correct, like a shark. Yeah.
They don't have scales though.
They're next to the fin. They do little rough skins.
It's not their skin. It's not scale though.
Oh, what are you talking about? The
snot-
sharks don't
a
have
shark.
scales. We are a long way from Kansas, ladies and gentlemen.
Right, we're going to move on from
Absolutely lost.
We're going to move on for demonic alignment for James to go on about another rule that he doesn't.
Yes.
He's going to have a lot to go about. And that's going to be the Art the Game special rule, and that is the Reign of Chaos.
You're making me out to be a villain, and I don't think that...
You are the villain. We want to move on.
I've got a Daemons army as well. I've got like 2 models for it. I've actually still not paid Scott. I wonder if at some point I'll pay Scott for some stuff I bought of him. I haven't actually got the models either, so it's still there.
So the point is moot.
So you don't have a Demons Army?
I've got a Herald of Celeste in the other room I painted the other day.
You have a... What you have is a Demons Mordheim crew.
Yeah, maybe. But the thing is that it's not that I don't like demons. It's not like a hatred thing of them or anything like that, or a particular. For me, they're one of the best factions in Warhammer, like background wise. I love them. I think they're one of those great overarching villains. But I just wish they didn't have some of these really like swingy rules.
Very polarising rules.
Yeah, and I think that there's definitely been an attempt to make the swings feel balanced, but I think in general...
A bit like with the Frostheart table.
Absolutely, yeah. It's much more like that than people think. If you watch the High Elf Deep Dive, you see us talking about how I think it's a third of all the results will be the best result on the table, which is complete disparity on a 6 stack table. And it's the same thing we were just talking about with the demonic instability and the double 1/6 stuff, and we'll talk about some of that here.
It's going to be
as well.
exacerbated in this one as well.
Yeah, it will be.
This is everyone's favourite rule from the Demons of Chaos army book. Everyone loves the Reign of Chaos.
Everyone's got a Reign of Chaos story, haven't they?
That's the thing. Most of the time, actually, it does very little.
But
probably 80% of the time, it does very little.
Everyone remembers the bad.
Everyone remembers when, that skull thrown by Khorne killed a skink priest. Everyone
knows what that.
Everyone remembers when the Dark Prince Thirst killed a demon prince, and
well, I think this is the thing. Everyone that plays against demons remembers that time the Dark Prince Thirst killed like 6 knights and lost them the game, or blew up a skink priest with a rock or whatever.
Yeah.
But every demons player sits and goes,
but that was double one.
I remember that time I lost the point of ward save and then it killed my general. And we're all like, whatever, mate. You just got 1,000 points free off me. I remember seeing a game where the guy rolled the Khorne one. No, he rolled Dark Prince Thirst.
Yeah.
On a landed it on a 625 point Sorcerer Prophet on
Baltaurus.
On the big Baltaurus, and he rolled 3 6s, and he was a quarter of an inch out of the Inspiring Presence, out of the BSB range, and he just picked him up and took him off. And obviously it's like 100 points to the general, 625 points to the cow, and then it was and it's Blood and Glory, so there's like an extra 500 VPs for breaking your army as well.
It's like 1,200 points.
Anyway, so we're going to go into the Reign of Chaos. into the Reign of Chaos itself then, because we are going to go through the results. Basically, when you roll for the Winds of Magic, you consult this table in the Iron Book, and that's the result has an effect on your army and maybe some of your enemies' units as well.
Yes.
I don't know, let Scott go through the results for me here, as are 11 to read.
Yeah, there's a lot. So, double one, all units with demonic instability, friend or foe, must immediately take a demonic instability test on their unmodified leadership.
Get all your models back. For that one.
No, because it's that phase.
Ah!
But you could be banished on a double 6.
You could be banished.
Yeah, you
Saturn.
Probably not likely. But
If you're playing inside the Yoki or BSB kind of
Yeah.
thing, you should be safe.
Hold your comments. Hold!
Well, if we comment, surely we're commenting as we go through the thing, so we don't have to keep asking back.
No, you have to get really unlucky to actually banish your demons from this.
I think
yeah,
you do,
super unlucky.
It's also 1 in 36 that you'll even roll it, because it's double one only, isn't it?
it is.
And there's an item in this book that lets you re-roll it as well.
There is actually.
Yeah, I don't see it very often, don't
No, you don't, because of the negatives it gives you.
It's a lot of points, and it also lets your opponent reroll theirs.
Yeah.
And on a 3, punished by the gods, randomly select one character with the demonic instability special rule, friend or foe. If there are no characters with demonic instability currently on the board, count this as the Eye of the Storm, which does nothing. The selected character must immediately take a leadership test, losing wound, with no savings of any kind for each point by which the test is failed. It's a demonic instability test, but without the double 6.
It's basically just a regular leadership test at this point,
Yeah, so this one is, again, not very common out. It's only
it's
2
a
in
3.
36 that you're
A
scoring.
1 or a 2 or a 2 and a 1.
Yeah, so at the minute we've got bad outs are 3 potential.
Yep. So, what's next?
No.
And again,
if
we've
you
still
wanna
got the
comment, I'll let
BSB
you
rerolls and
Yeah,
things like that.
No, so you get your BSB reels and everything like that. So
Yeah.
again, the idea you're gonna lose your Herald or your demon, your big
Unlikely.
greater demon, very unlikely at that point.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you for a fully wounded greater demon, you can't lose it.
You physically can't lose it, no.
Oh, can you not roll a double 6 on
It's
it?
not a demonic instability test. It's
It's
a
a
leadership
leadership.
test which you lose a point for each point
Oh,
which
so
you
yeah,
found.
I mean, you don't even care.
Yeah.
A
You can kill a herald.
A herald you
Yeah.
can kill, yeah.
Get Herald or Demon Prince? No, Demon Prince
No,
has
they're
on a wound.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's on a wound, yeah.
Chaotic Ebb, this is a 4. You -1 penalty to your ward saves.
So every
Minimum
demon
6+.
player remembers when this happens
So
to them.
this is, you've got as much chance of this happening as you have the first 2 combined.
Yep.
This I actually think is the worst result on the table.
It is,
Mm.
yes.
Players.
It is.
Yeah,
It's 100% the worst.
I'd much rather take a demonic instability test on every unit in my army than have -1 ward.
100%.
Tame demonic stability in
100%.
which you have your Inspiring Presence and BSB reroll.
Absolutely. I'm leadership 9 with a reroll. Yeah, I'll say that.
You have a rubbish magic face, but who cares?
And if you're,
But you also probably have a rubbish magic phase with 4 dice.
Yeah.
Or you take Mononogal and you probably don't have a magic phase anyway.
Or take Monocorn.
Or Monocorn.
yeah, I mean, they are one of the few armies that you do see
Without
wizards quite often.
I think it's point to say you have to roll on this table even if you don't have a wizard.
Yeah.
You have to roll on the table.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Number 5 is Storm of Fire, so these are the first of the god-specific ones. So you roll a d6 for each enemy unit and each friendly unit that contains 1 or more Demons of Nurgle or models with the Mark of Nurgle on the board.
So it affects Warriors of Chaos as well.
It does. Do not roll for units that are engaged in close combat. On the roll of a 6, place a small round template centred directly over the centre of the unit. This then scatters d6. Any models wholly or partially beneath the template's final position suffer a single strength 4 hit with a flame attack special roll.
Okay, so this one's 4 outs.
2-3, 3-2, 4-1,
4-1-1-4.
1-4. Yeah.
So 4 outs this time. So it's slightly more again.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, my big gripe with this is that it hits this is the one that hits Nurgle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This is Zinj specific.
So this
Yeah.
hits your own demons if they're demons of Nurgle, and it hits everyone on the enemy side if you roll a 6.
Yeah.
Nurgle units are insanely tough.
They are.
Minimum tough. Bar Nurglings, minimum toughness 4.
So you look at it and say, so even if you're all Nurgle, right, and you roll this one, you've got as much chance of hitting your unit as my unit. Even if you like rocket right in the centre of a unit of Plague Bearers and hit 15. I don't think you'll hit much more because they're 25s.
Yeah, I think you're probably on 12.
I think you're
14.
I think you're 12, 14 maybe.
Maybe.
Let's say 14. Let's really treat it as
Yeah.
it's 7 wounds, and on a bad day, I'll take 5 of them. Might pass 4.
I'd say you take 4 wounds for
And it's got 2/3 of the time it will scatter as well.
Yeah.
It's not a big concern for Nurgle, and that's
No.
if I've not got any tally up, by
Reed-
the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, Reed does not hurt Nurgle as much as
It hurts a lot of enemies though.
Hertz
Does-
Empire, Elves, Goblins, Undead,
Skaven,
Skaven,
Tomb Kings,
Beastmen.
Beastmen.
Beast toughest 4.
50% of them
No
dead,
armour.
mate.
Yeah, no,
armour.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. It really does not hamper as much as they think it's going to
Stinks.
hamper them.
Well,
really hurts
it's
against.
it's just not strong enough for
No.
me. As we go through these, for me the design would have probably been
It
does
affects the hated god more than the enemy.
That's exactly what
Yeah.
I would have done with it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So for this one, for instance, you make it strength 5 against Nurgle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 against everything else.
Yeah.
So
That's
also it's against Nurgle, it's flaming, so you will get rid of, say,
Beast regen or
beast
the
regen.
Locus of regen.
Regen.
got to wound a beast, though, haven't you?
Yeah.
Also, we'll say it's the only time in which Tzeentch, well, we'll go into later on, it's the only thing that gets rid of Warp Flame Regen as well.
Yeah.
In the magic phase.
It also because it happens in friendly magic phase, it's unlikely that even stripping the regen's going to mount.
No.
Unless you've got like a herald that miscasts in a unit that had the regen locus or something. I mean, we're really getting into the
Clutching.
specifics. Yeah,
Clutching.
I think it's unlikely.
Yeah.
So 6 is Rot Glorious Rot, Nurgle's specific one. You roll a d6 for each enemy unit and each friendly unit that contains one or more Demons of Tzeentch or modelled with Mark of Tzeentch on the board. Do not roll for units in... sorry, I should have also pointed that Storm of Fire, you don't roll for units that are engaged in combat.
Yes,
You said that.
Sorry.
Oh, did I? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you
Good.
did say.
You also don't do it for this one. On the roll of a 6 for the unit suffers d6 plus 3, strength 3 hits with no arm saves allowed.
I actually like this one. I do like this.
It's okay.
So again, 3 and a
terrible.
3,
For
so
6,
6,
yep.
isn't it? Yeah.
3 and a
5
3,
and a 1,
5
1
and a
and a
1,
5,
1 and a 5.
4 and a 2,
2 and a
2 and a 4. So
Five.
it's more outs as well.
Yep.
Now I know that it can't be perfect, but you're more likely to score this one than you are the last one.
Yep.
So we're already talking about the faction that we know is the
Mhm.
strongest competitively is
Yeah.
actually less likely to be hit than probably the weakest faction in the book, which is Tzeentch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's because they tried to tie it to the numbers of the gods.
well,
and
but
that's
they
why.
don't.
It
They
didn't
failed
work.
to do that.
Yeah, it didn't.
Because
because
Tzeentch should be 9.
and 6 is Slanesh.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Oh wow, yeah, that is
Yeah.
really wrong.
So it
None
doesn't-
of them are right.
None of them are
Oh,
right.
wow. I thought it just got screwed up
Because-
because 7 was in the
Because
middle.
Nurgle's is 7.
No, we're 7.
So I knew it
Yeah,
got
yeah.
screwed up because 7's in the middle and 7 nothing happens.
Yeah.
But I thought it just
No.
pushed the other two out
No,
slightly.
no.
Oh.
No, it's all,
Tzeentch is 9, Khorne is 8.
Khorne is 8, yeah.
And Slanesh is 6.
It's
No,
all,
we're
it's
7.
all skewed round.
Oh wow, that's just really wrong.
So again, it's
Hilarious.
more likely to punish probably the weakest faction.
Yeah.
And again, the no armor save part of it. You're is it? No, I'm right.
Yeah,
so
no
no
armor
armor
save,
save. Yeah. Again, doesn't matter to demons. I don't.
No,
Very little.
but it only hits
actually
Demons of
has
Tzeentch,
armor saves.
so
Does
Yeah,
matter.
which doesn't
Does
get
matter to every other your enemy units as well, though. If they're heavy
But
armor.
yeah, see what I mean. So it's
It's
not
good
really a
against them,
negative
yeah.
for you.
No.
What we're
No.
seeing with the damage ones so far is that they're far more likely to damage your opponent than you.
Yeah.
And if you're Nurgle, you're being hit the least so far.
Yeah.
Let's
so 7 is the Eye of the Storm. Nothing happens this time. So this will be your most common out.
yeah. So this is approximately 6 combinations, I believe, for 7. 6 and a 1, 1 and a 6, 4 and a 3, 3 and a 4, 5 and a 2, 2 and a 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So
Well,
and
it's
that's your most common. So most of the time, it should be nothing
Yeah,
happens.
I mean that is 1 in 6. You should score a 7
Every
once a
game.
game, basically.
The Dark Prince Thirst.
This
which
is
is
one
number 8.
everyone hates.
Yeah, arguably, probably is the best of the 4 god specific ones.
Oh,
The
it's
gods
tons of
do,
miles,
yeah.
this one.
You roll a d6 for each enemy unit and each friendly unit that contains 1 or more Demons of Khorne or models with a mark of Khorne. Don't roll for units engaged in combat. On the roll of a 6, the unit must take a leadership test on 3d6, adding the results together. If the test is passed, nothing happens. Otherwise, for each point by which the unit failed the test, it suffers a wound with no armor saves allowed.
This thing.
So 5 outs again,
Yep, same as 6.
same as 6.
Hmm.
So still more likely to hit a Khorne unit than a Nurgle.
Yep.
Yep.
This stinks. It's horrible.
It stings.
This is really powerful.
I've seen like demon princes. I've seen monsters. I've seen everything.
I-
Battalion Paladins and Lords
Yeah.
on Pegasus.
I had a game a
Disgusting.
couple of weeks ago where this killed Skull Cannon on turn 1.
That's rough.
That is rough.
For them, yeah.
For you.
But you know, it was, and you think like he didn't do anything wrong. He just got to those the way he did. He took a Skull Cannon and an Nurgle army. That's what he did.
You know what you did.
But,
You know
but
you
yeah,
are.
I mean it's rough.
It is.
It's rough,
it
and
is rough.
it's the one that the greater demons fear, and I think that's
Yeah,
something
it
that's
is,
worth
yeah.
pointing out.
Yeah.
Is that realistically for the Nurgle and Tzeentch ones, Storm of Fire and Rock Glorious Rot,
The great
the
demons
greater
don't care.
demons don't
Don't
fear
really
them.
care.
They
No.
fear this one,
Oh, yes.
and they fear the next one.
But
as
they're
well.
not.
Yeah.
They're not hit by this one because they're not Khorne. It
Right.
only hits demons of Khorne if.
Yeah.
Bloodthirst
got
is a great
Bloodthirst,
demon,
Yeah,
mate.
yeah,
He's terrifying.
Bloodthirst are terrified. They're like sort of the Nurgle and the Tzeentch ones aren't scared, like you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so, but as in, like, the Nurgle Greater Demons aren't scared of the Tzeentch,
Yeah.
aren't scared of Storm of Fire, and the Tzeentch Greater Demons aren't scared of Rock
Yeah,
Glorious
it's
Rot.
upset. It's
So
upset.
it's inconsistent.
It's,
Yeah.
it's really
That's the
upsetting
problem.
that the Bloodthirster is terrified of that.
Absolutely
to be
terrifying.
frank, this one is good against every single unit.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, Storm of Fire, or Rock Glorious Rock. Well, it just isn't.
No.
It just isn't the same for everything.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
Moving on.
Moving on to Khorne's Wrath, number 9. Again, roll a d6 for each enemy unit and each friendly unit that contains one or more Demons of Slanesh or models with a mark of Slanesh. Don't roll for units in combat. On the roll of a 6, place the small round template centered directly over the center of the unit. This then scatters 3d6. Resolve damage as you would from a stone thrower shot, with the model under the centre of the template suffering a strength 9 hit with a marked wounds d6 special rule. All other models, wholly or partially under it, suffering a strength 3 hit.
So it's another one of those that I think people iconically remember being a horror show for them, but realistically,
It's just
isn't
not.
actually very good.
The scatter's pretty big, but if you
The
do
scatter's
scatter
averaging
huge.
10,
if you do roll that direct hit,
1/3 of the time.
It's not
After
even
rolling
so
a
much.
6.
It's not just the direct hit though. That's the thing. It's like you could roll the unit next to or 10 inches away from that greater demon or that character you want to kill, and it scatters onto him.
Yeah.
So you've got a couple of ways.
This is
of
probably the
getting
most
hit.
random one, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
and
But terrifying if it hits.
Only got 4 outs
a
again,
model
though.
or something.
So we're back on short outs again.
Yeah. Terrifying if it hits like a monster or a lone character or something.
Or hits a
It's really
tree man.
scary.
And I think it's
not
interesting because I think
no, you did kill a tree man once with it.
I did.
in pure terms, in the pure list terms, I think we probably all agree that we think Slanesh is probably the second after Nurgle, just slightly behind Nurgle. And Khorne's not far off of Slanesh as well, but I think they just
I think it
tip
probably
the
goes
scale.
Nurgle, Slanesh, Khorne, Tzeentch.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and I
with,
think
with those sort of gaps in between. I think there's quite a gulf between Slanesh and Nurgle.
Oh,
I don't
absolutely.
think there's much of a gap
no, I
between
don't think
Slanesh
there's a
and
lot.
No.
I think it's just the spell casting, really.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting again that we think they're the second best, and they also only have 4 outs, the same as the Nurgle ones do. So there's still some disparity there with the better factions getting a better kind of taste of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 10 then, Chaotic Surge. All models with the Demonic Instability special rule, friend and foe, gain a +1 bonus to their ward saves, which will normally mean you get a 4+ ward saves to your next roll for the Winter Magic.
Yep, so every model in your army now has a Talisman of Preservation.
Yeah, they do, baby.
And also, if you are playing a demon on demons, you can get yourself to a 3 ward save.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can.
Which I think I played your brother once, so we did get some 3 ward save the entire.
No one died.
They just threw dice at each other that turn and was like, please don't make me take the instability test. Please don't make me take the instability test.
The 3 ward save across everything. I think it's like Demons of Zinj versus Demons of Slanesh as well. So it's like
Nothing died.
Again, 3 outs for this one.
Yep.
So
this is the best result on this table in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is for you. Other than like Dark Prince first killing your opponent's general, it really matters.
Yeah.
But I think this one is the consistent big winner result.
Absolutely.
I don't find everyone rolls. Whenever you play Demons of Chaos, they always roll a 10. And then they don't want to be sure that it's the 10.
Yeah.
Everyone goes, I think that's the plus on ward save.
I'm not sure. Is it? Is it?
And I always look at them like, that's the plus on ward save.
It's
the plus on ward
It
save.
is the same number of outs as the minus one as well, which
yeah.
is good
The table's got the mirror.
Yeah.
Yes.
So outside of the 4 god-specific ones, it
Messing
very
it up.
much
It's
mirrors
very much
itself
Yeah,
on the higher and lower
the
end.
2 and 3 result and the 10, 11 and 12, 10 and 11 result.
Yeah,
are
11 and 12.
11 and 12, sorry. They are like, they do mirror each other like quite nicely.
Which is quite nice.
Certainly the plus and minus one ward saves,
Yeah.
I think they're also the biggest results because they affect your whole army.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to roll for them.
And
you don't have to roll the result and then roll another.
Yeah,
it happens.
You know,
It's just you've got it.
and it happens, because it lasts the opponent's turn as well. Whereas when we were talking earlier about I'll take demonic instability tests,
It's
it's
a done.
yeah, it does
roll in,
affect my
it's
whole
done.
army, but it's a roll and done, and it's bust and sorted. Where I think these have a much larger impact, and I
Absolutely.
agree with Max. This is the best result for me.
It is not being the best roll for myself.
Moving on to 11, Demonic Possession. Randomly select one enemy wizard on the board who does not have the Demonic Instability special rule. If there are no enemy wizards on the board, you count it as a 7. The selected wizard must pass a leadership test or be removed as a casualty with no saves of any kind allowed. If the leadership test is failed, then before removing the wizard, place a Herald of Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle, or Slanesh, your choice, anywhere within 6 of the slain model that is more than an inch from all units and impassable terrain. If you choose a Herald of Tzeentch, generate its spell immediately. This herald can act normally in the turn it is created. If you do not have a spare Herald of Chaos model, or if one cannot be placed on the board according to the aforementioned restrictions, the selected wizard is removed as a casualty, but no herald is placed. Possibly kills a wizard and gives you a free herald.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's not good.
Funny when you kill Teclis with it though.
Yeah. When he rolls,
Look,
he rolls more than a 10.
I'd have a Herald of Tzeentch model for if this ever happened, because I think
Yeah,
for the spell.
Yeah, spell.
It's +1 to dispel. I'd do it in my army. I think maybe if I had like a
You also get-
Keeper of Secrets Slaanesh army, maybe I'd go with a Slaanesh Herald. Keep it themey because I think they're all quite.
But
good
if
at
you
that
go,
point.
if you go Herald of Tzeentch, you do get a choice between metal and Tzeentch.
Yeah, I think it's one where I'd have one of each in the case.
Possibly.
Maybe.
I'd take a
Depending on the
lot.
situation.
Maybe.
I'll have that lot.
Maybe.
But yeah, I agree. I just think it doesn't come up very often
No.
because it's only 2 outs.
I
When
don't
it does
think-
come up, they almost always pass.
Pass.
it.
I've never
Yeah.
seen a wizard get possessed by this.
Once.
I don't.
Was it
I've never
Templars?
seen it either.
No,
That's a shame.
it was like an Empire Battle Wizard. I was using demons.
Was it a hero?
I think I was using the demons. Yeah, it was like leadership
Yeah.
7 dude, mate. He was out of range.
You're like, why?
He was out of range of the general,
And
and he was
like
out of
rolled
range of
an
the
8
BSB
then,
and rolled an 8. I'm like, it's 10 years or more since I've seen that happen. I think that was in a Games Workshop that's been closed for 8 years.
Look, I mean,
Yeah.
if you've got foresight, maybe you could cast Phantasmagoria on them the turn before, make them roll the
If
leadership
you
test
have
on an
got
extra dice.
you're like the luckiest person in
If
the
you've
world.
got foresight,
Yeah.
what, the gift of seeing the
Yes.
future. If you're Elrond,
Yeah, Elrond.
Yes.
what other fantasy elves
Yeah.
are available?
Not in this situation. If you're Elrond,
Or Sanguinius.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Curse, didn't he have it as well?
he did, yes, but he
Yeah.
went crazy because of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to fantasy. 12, double 6, Summoned from Beyond. Place a new unit consisting of 2d6 plus 3 Bloodletters, Pink Horrors, Plague Bearers, or Demonettes, you choose. When placing the unit, it can be placed anywhere on the battlefield at least an inch away from all units, buildings, and impassable terrain. It can be placed in any legal formation, so long as the unit's front rank contains at least 5 models. If the summoned unit cannot be placed because there is not enough room or you do not have enough models, the unit does not enter play at all.
Again, I think I just have a unit of horrors in the back.
Can't have command options, can they?
No,
No.
so there's an asterisk on both Demonic Possession and Summon from Beyond. Although, hilariously, they've... sorry, it is on both. New units created by these results do not have any upgrades or award victory points, but are otherwise treated exactly as for other units of their type. So no command, no magic banners, nothing like that.
I think the problem with this is not just that it doesn't happen very often, but is also realistically that the unit isn't big enough to have a huge impact.
Not
It
really.
might get you a cannon or a piece of artillery. Where I've seen this be good, and again, it's just random. It's just this is where we talk about like those like Warhammer. You kind of Warhammer toolkit of skills is spotting when something random happens that you can then go, oh,
Actually,
I can
really
latch
capitalise,
that.
yeah.
You know, I can latch onto that. I can capitalise and make something happen. And I think the where I think this one can have that effect most significantly is in mission play. Which is not rulebook stuff really, because rulebook missions, if you're playing them,
if you're playing got like some table court, you need to be in an area.
if you're playing standard rulebook missions though, it won't really happen unless you rolled it turn 1 and put them in the watchtower.
I was about to say, I'm assuming you can be summoned into a watchtower.
Potentially, if there's
Cannot?
I guess not. No, 1 inch away from all units, buildings. And
there you go. So no. So from mission play point of view, very unlikely to have any effect.
Yeah,
on the
unless
main
you
rulebook.
roll it on like your turn 5, move them into the watchtower on your
And
turn
the game
6.
hasn't ended because
Yeah.
it can end on turn 4.
Yeah,
in
Four,
Watchtower.
yeah. Super. But where I've actually seen it used quite well is it was a mono Nurgle army, so I think we all know who used it. And they had models that were running around them from their opponent's army who they just couldn't catch because they didn't have any spells. So got the Summon from Beyond, summoned some Pink Horrors, gave them a magic missile,
Yeah.
and just went, here we go.
Magic
Now I
missile.
can catch you.
Yeah.
That I
That's
think
good.
is a really good use for them.
Yeah, and I think, like I say, when I've been to events in the past where it's like, you know, get into table quarters, like Max says,
Yep.
for bonus VPs. I mean, events like Cardiff Crusade had get onto hills, get into opponents' deployment zones, things like that. I mean, it's ideal for that because you pop them in half inch from the enemy board edge. Do you know what I mean? So you know there is some mileage there, but in general, it's not going to come up like.
No.
Worth noting out as well, every hit and wound from this table is magical as well.
Yes, it is.
Because I think a lot of people, when this book came out, they said, "Oh, it's not magical, so don't get the."
I mean, it's in an asterisk.
yeah, you think that people are silly.
Yeah. Praise the Banner of the World Dragon. It's.
I mean, it makes sense. It's
It
magical.
does make sense.
It's the reign of.
It's in the
chaos
magic
rolling on your
phase.
wings of magic.
Everything in here is magical, isn't it? That's the point.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
But so
stuff of magic.
that's the Reign of Chaos.
And that's it for special rules, isn't
It's
it? Oh god, we're
special.
done.
So the Reign of Chaos, it may not seem like much, but it can have a hell of an effect on your
I
army.
think it's a huge part of
It
it.
might not seem like as much when you first look at it.
Yeah.
When you actually put it into practice on a game,
Yeah.
I think if you just glance at it and go, oh well, 7's average. Average means I'll get it most of the time, and nothing happens.
No.
No.
It's got the most outs, but cumulatively, you're much more likely to get something else.
You're 5 times more
Yeah.
likely
Yeah.
to get something else than nothing.
I'll also, if you play Demons, you are guaranteed to have had a point in your time which this has messed up your battle plans.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in general though, because of the nature of the chart being very few really hideous results for you.
Yeah.
And I think again because you see the results in that you can read that chart and go, well, you know, I'm not going to take much of this because I don't want to get hit
I'm not going to
by a
take
bad
much
result.
Khorne because I don't want a Dark Prince Thirst to hit me.
Guess who
Yeah.
just bought Khorne Army?
You can do that if you want to, and I think because of that, and because in general, the damagey ones on you, and you can offset a lot of. In general, it's better than it is worse.
I feel like this
Yeah.
this kind of stuff they did look and say, oh, we've got to try and hamper monogod list somewhat. But it hasn't.
Yeah, I think that's what they were trying to do, but
But it really
just
hasn't.
hasn't worked. No.
He just helped trap more than anything else in the army.
I think they just ended up again. It's cool idea stuff that in practice
Doesn't work.
No.
doesn't really have the. Well, I don't know what their desired effect was, but I think if their desired effect was what you guys are saying, then it doesn't really have that desired effect.
Does not.
So that's it. That's Scott said. That is it for special rules.
Ooh,
That took a long. That
was a chunk.
But it will define everything we do. In
It
the next
defines. It
sections.
defines the entire army book as a whole. These special rules
really
they
does.
affect everything.
They do.
They do affect everything. But now we're going to begin our descent into madness. Here we
I
go.
don't know, I've closed the book.
Don't know why I closed the book again. So we're going to begin our descent into madness with the specific unit ratings of the demons that we're going through today.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now you get to see which one of us is in the middle chair.
It's going to be me. Not all the time, though.
No, it won't be all the time, will it? The way you said it's going to be me, I'm like, it definitely is in the other middle,
all the
is it?
time.
Not all the time, no.
What am I writing?
Let's move on. And you're back. It's with me! I'm running.
Surprise!
I'm running the show today, and today we're going through Daemons of Khorne!
Arr.
Arr, Daemons of Khorne!
Pirate demons, apparently.
Yeah, baby, that's what we're doing. And before we start here, we're going to also say that we checked the FAQ, and the Demons Leadership cannot go, or cannot?
Cannot
It
go
cannot
below
go
zero.
below 0.
Cannot go below 0.
2.
So effectively, on a double 1 for their demonic instability test, they would regain all of their wounds and then take
Take
2
2
wounds.
Just lose 2.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I feel like we might have to look at that going forward in the Triple Crown FAQ.
Maybe we look
Just
at
to clear
people
that up.
doing that.
Yeah,
correctly.
that never happens.
To make
No
sure
one
they,
does
to make
that.
sure they are actually.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like we might have to put a thing in there that
Yeah.
explains that
Yeah.
is how that works.
Yeah.
Excellent. So,
Anyway, so we're going to move into the unit ratings for Demons of Khorne today because I have a new Demons of Khorne army and I'm really excited by it.
depends when you watch the video, doesn't it?
It does. It could be very old.
You watch it in 2 years' time and you
Well,
haven't got a new Demons of Khorne army.
I could have 10,000 points in Demons of
he's
Khorne.
got a new Demons of Zinx, Demons of Slanesh, and Demons of Nurgle army by
Yeah.
then.
All the demon. Anyway, so usually there is an elephant in the room for our deep dives, and that is generic characters. But not this time. Oh.
Gasp.
Egast!
E-cast.
Due to the random nature of chaos and the gifts that the characters receive, we feel that it's only right the generic characters are included here as they're not going to be featured in a competitive character series. Because you can't write a competitive character about a grand demon.
Chart.
We can say to you on your BSB, take a greater gift. But it doesn't really. There's nothing tactical specifically we're
Not
building
really.
in that. It's
Outside
like a
of
3-minute video.
outside of amount, do you make them a wizard? What gift do you take?
Yeah.
Yeah. Beyond that,
That's not a long
it's
video.
really hard. You can't write tactics for a model that has a random item, which is why
Not really. No.
Well, you can't write anything that's sort of sure, can you? That's-
Yes. You can say this is the best result on that table,
And we'll do
this
that
is a
later.
good. This is a good thing to swap for. On
if
that
you
table.
roll into a bomb save, you're in luck. Good job. So for the Demons Deep Dives, we are including the generics and discussing the profiles they have and going through the best types of gifts they can get if they choose to take one.
Indeed.
Cool.
Handily. So, now that's finished, shall we start some units then?
I was going to jump in.
Oh.
I was going to jump in.
Shocker. James
Shocker.
jumps in.
I was going to jump in and say to calculate the output for these guys.
I was
You
going
wanna do that now or do it later?
I'm doing that later.
We're going to do it later, guys. We're going to do it later.
We're cutting the
have
jump
we
in.
put that into the deep dive section? Have we put anything in the rating section about it?
Not yet at this point.
We can have done.
We have done. We put it in
The
there.
joys of filming before we release.
So it has been said, show it shall be done.
Show it, shall we done?
Shall we go?
Show it shall be done.
The worst Sean Connery
Yes.
impression of the day goes to Max.
He's living in the realm of chaos, obviously.
I can't. I can't.
Show it shall be done.
He's a legend.
Living in the realm of chaos.
So,
anyway.
Khorne ratings.
And with that out of the way, let's divide the Iron Book units, or the Demons of Khorne units, into respective categories and give them the competitive score. Remember, if we feel a unit can be used in multiple categories, we will put it into multiple categories. So we can start with the Battleline Units for Demons of Khorne, and we have Bloodletters
Shocker.
and Blood Crushers.
All the blood.
Two. I mean, he's now the lowest because previously it was Beastman who had 4.
Ah.
I love the fact that Max knows these
Yeah.
numbers.
Because I wrote those deep dives.
Yeah, so have you actually checked them against the others?
That means no.
Beastmen were the lowest. I know for a fact that Beastmen were the lowest. I think Dark Elves possibly tied it, or Lizman.
No.
Or Lizman tied it.
I think, Bulls, Iron Guts, Man-Eaters, I think. we did.
Nobblers. Oh, didn't do Nobblers.
I don't think we did Nobblers, so I think it might be
no,
Ogres.
and you had Mornfang, probably.
No,
More
not in
fake,
Battleline.
probably. I think
No,
you're
no,
lying.
I think
But this
it's
is still
Ogres.
lowest. It's 2.
Yeah, he's still the lowest. I had the lowest.
Maybe Breps, unless we did questing nights in Battleline
I
as
think we did.
well.
I think we
probably.
did. I think we did.
I think.
Maybe.
I've no idea. I can't remember.
Yeah,
It was wild, but 2 is definitely the lowest.
2 is the
Two
lowest.
is the lowest.
2 is the lowest now. And so...
I don't think it will be the lowest, but carry on.
No, it won't be. It won't. It won't
No.
be.
No.
No. Every other demon will be the lowest. Possibly.
No, I
I
think.
think
No,
Zerg will be
Zinj
2.
Zinj will be the lowest.
I think Slanesh will be lowest.
Yeah, I
They'll
think
be
Zinch and
tied.
Slanesh will be tied for
For
lowest.
1.
Yeah.
1.
I'm just thinking, Zinj can't have less than that, but realistically, our Pink Horror's about like
Anyway, on to the corner. We have Bloodletters coming in first. They have competitive rating of 14 out of 24.
Not bad.
It's not bad,
No,
is it?
it's not bad at all. So we get there with 2 for strength of attacks, the 1 for number of attacks, 4 for special rules, 3 for command options, 3 for survivability, weirdly enough, and 1 for cost. So this is the Blood Gods rank and file. The choppy boys. They're red dudes. All the good stuff.
Please.
They have weapon skill 5, and obviously because it's so important, ballistic skill 5. I will never forget that they got ballistic
Please
skill
stop.
5. They're just very good. They're very choppy, very good killy units, and by our ranking system, incredibly survivable.
Yeah, I mean, so their survivability comes from the fact they've obviously got a 5 wall save.
Yep.
We've assumed they haven't got the +1 or -1 from Random Chaos because it's so random.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes from their magic res. They have magic resistance 1.
Yeah, they comes to, and they also going beside what you said, the war save can change.
It can change, which is a point
in
on
our
So
on the
you
system.
could say we've been generous and say 2. I mean, we've gone 3 because you could.
That
make
is
them
the
more
that is the
survivable.
Yeah.
That's the optimising.
that's the wording of the
Yeah.
wording of the rating. But they have their issues though.
They do,
so-
namely their cost.
Name of their cost. They have 14 points a model.
They are.
They are really close to a good unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's an issue with them. I'm going to let you do yours, but I think there's one in addition because but I don't think we'll have covered.
Is it the fact they're going to be compared to a blade bearer?
No, it isn't actually. No.
Although that is an issue.
That is an issue. So yeah,
Coming out your plate bearer slot.
toughness 3 and fight war save. Fight war save's good, but you are going to have to take a lot of them.
Probably. Although
Yeah.
not too many in combat.
You're still more survivable than an elf, but
You are, Makes them very susceptible to standard shooting attacks though, and just even above
they
average
don't
strength.
like shooting.
Yeah, they don't like shooting.
They are definition of glass cannon though, because they do have strength 4, strength 5 on a charge, weapon skill 5, and they have killing blow in combat.
Yeah.
The killing blow is really good because it's got great synergy with the sort of demonic instability element. Of
They were
them.
sticking
Not
around.
running away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the
One attack as well, which
one
is
attack, the having to charge to
charge.
get
Yeah.
the +1 strength.
So
And then that strength of attacks number, that 2, was including the bonus from them charging.
no, that's strength 4. That's the strength 4. Strength 4 is a 2.
Yeah, we didn't include that because the chances of them charging is probably only 50-50.
Ignore what I said.
Their movement 5, which is very quick. You can take
They are
take a
movement
25-point banner on them, so you can give them
Yeah.
movement
They
6,
can have a
which is very good. I really like that idea. Movement 6.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best banner on them.
That's what I'd take on them.
Yeah.
They have to charge. This is a problem.
Yeah.
Infantry
They do.
units that have to charge to maximise their damage find it hard.
Mm.
They
Yeah.
find it hard to be consistent.
Yeah.
I think aside from the obvious point you made about them being against Plague Bearers, is these are one of the units I think that really suffer badly from the demonic alignment. Because I don't actually want all of my core to be these guys.
No.
I want to use these like I might use Executioners in a Dark Elf army. That type of thing, where or Graveguard.
Yeah.
I want to have like these as a shock element, as an option where I can pin some stuff down and then maybe bring them in the flank to get my strength 5. I know that's using them as a flanker, but or even to control the wave and get the counter charge in a battle line sense, front up to front up, hold it up.
They are almost stat for stat an executioner.
That they're not far off.
Yeah.
It's
one point initiative and 1 point leadership. That's all it is.
And the fact that they're only strength 5 on the charge. So executioner strength 6 all the time.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, but this is the thing. They suffer from the fact that what they're actually going to work really well with is like Demonettes or Plague Bearers that pin and punch, or that Demonettes that are good at killing lots of hoardy stuff, which is a nightmare for Bloodletters, by the way. Like fat unit of zombies is a nightmare for them.
Yeah, because they just don't have the attacks to get through them.
Skaven slaves, massive problem for them. Because those guys, they'll wound them.
They will.
Wound you. You're only toughness 3.
You do have a 6-up arm save. You've got scaly.
Yeah, you've got
you will have to keep taking your saves.
But as I said, they need the support of a herald, in my opinion. We'll get onto those later on in the book. They do need the support of something, because one attack is not cutting the mustard at all. So we'll deal with that. We'll do that as we go on later on down the line. What last point I've got here is always be charging.
Yes.
Yeah, and
always be charging.
That does mean it does make a whole, and this is the problem in a way, isn't it? Is it makes like your core unit the whole thing about your army, you know, like getting them to get the charge is so important, and it's like that really is what you want to reserve for your specialist units.
A lot of people do, if they're taking Bloodletters in their core, they just take one massive unit of Bloodletters, fill out the entire core allowance of Bloodletters.
I think that makes them the most intimidating and imposing they can be. And I also think when
you've got like 40 of them.
I know you're going to talk about the Locusts later, but I think the Khorne Locusts have one specific issue, and the bigger a unit is, the better that issue is mitigated.
So Bloodletters, I like them. I think they're good choppy. They are scary for the characters as well. Just taking the character against them is terrifying.
Entire unit killing blow, no character.
You go against that. You look like some of your executioners or your Graveguard, and you the exact same issue. They are terrifying. Be anything monstrous.
No, they are not good.
Yeah.
Unless you find just like an ogre. If you find monstrous cavalry, you're in a bit of an issue.
Yes.
I think ogres would be a big problem for them. Though,
Strength 4, toughness 4. I mean, they can duke it out.
Yeah, I think they'd probably.
They got a fireball save.
Yeah, they'd probably trade off on wounds roughly, which, I mean, as an ogre isn't that bad, because 3 Bloodletters to kill an ogre, and. 3 Bloodletters are worth a lot more than an ogre.
Now got
42 points.
Yeah.
I've now got the image of 3 Bloodletters jumping on an ogre and just Jim trying to sway off. That's a really cool image. It's like,
reminds me of the Total War trailer, which is ogres versus Demons of Chaos. Very cool. Yeah, it's great.
Anyway, so that's Bloodletters. Really, really cool unit. I like them a lot. I've had to build 42 of them, so it's a nightmare. Ranking them up, oh god, nightmares.
Number them.
Absolute nightmares.
Number them.
So then we're going to move into Blood Crushers of Khorne. They come in with a competitive rating of 21 out of 24.
Whew.
Big, isn't it, that?
It's big!
That's a big boy.
So, these guys, we are treating them as if they have charged, because they are more likely to charge.
They certainly are. They're movement 8.
Movement 7.
7, but they are Swift Strike.
Swift Strike. So, 4th strength of attacks, 4th for the number of attacks, 3 for special rules, 4 for command options, 4 for survivability, and 2 for cost. So, holy hell! That is a big score. It's a big score. They have their reasons why it's a big score, but they also have a lot of issues as well, as does a lot of the Khorne stuff.
Yeah.
It suffers from being Khorne.
It does suffer from being Khorne.
That shouldn't take away from its score.
No.
I've said for a long time, these are hugely overlooked by the community.
They are. If you basically,
I think the issue is people compare them to
Skull
Crushers.
Yeah.
Because they are similar.
And they compare them to the other monstrous cavalry in the book.
It's more. I see more compared to Skull Crusher because they are both Ryan Juggernauts. And the issue with the Blood Crushers, in a Skull Crusher, both parts of them all do the work. In a Blood Crusher, the Jugger does all the work.
really, yeah.
Well, you've also got the fact that they've got a 1-up armor save, and these guys have got a 4-up armor save and
But
a 5-up.
they have a 5 ward save, which no other monstrous cavalry have.
No, the ward save is a huge miss by people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People
Although,
don't.
just to correct Max, the other monstrous cavalry in this book do have a
Oh,
four.
yeah, sorry. Anything that's not a demonic monstrous cavalry.
Yes, better.
Now I'm
There's
sure
not-
there's
So, like, there's no monstrous cavalry in this book. Oh,
Blade
right.
drones.
Blade drones, sorry. I'm a liar.
So I know there's going to be some of you at home screaming, being like, but they're a plus choice in the Triple Crown Compact. They are a plus choice in the Triple Crown Compact
You have to take 4 of them.
because, well, fundamentally, if you're taking these, it's opportunity cost issue
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
We're
you're-
saying
Guess who you're competing against in the special slot? These guys.
you're dropping out some of the optimised units that we'll discuss in the Nurgle deep dive.
Spoilers.
We're talking about Beast of Chaos here.
Beast of Nurgle.
Beast of Nurgle.
Beast of Nurgle.
Yeah.
Beast of Chaos, same thing.
And no, they're not. Beast of Chaos.
Beast of Chaos. Yeah.
They're Beastmen, mate.
Yeah.
They are not the same thing as a Beast of
The
Nurgle.
same.
But yeah, Beast of Nurgle. They're also competing points-wise with your rare slot stuff.
Mm.
Which, for demons,
Yeah.
there's actually some really good options in as well.
Yeah.
So,
Especially-
some of it Khorne.
Some of it is Khorne, to be honest. Yeah.
and I think that's a problem for them. But like Max said, you're taking them for the mount. But I would argue you do the same with a Demigriff Rider.
Yeah.
But Demigriffs are cheaper?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
58
58.
points.
Yeah, so
Demigriffs are ludicrously-
7
a
points
Blood
cheaper.
Crusher is 65 points.
Yeah.
which I think is the right points.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
have
Extra two.
the good command options as well.
They do. They
They've-
have that El Primo 50-point banner.
Although it is worth saying they really, really struggle to make a lot of use from it.
No,
Yeah.
Gleaming Pennant's where I go for it too.
And that's what I mean.
Yeah.
They struggle to make use of the 50 points.
Yeah.
You can take your Ranger standard if you want to.
Yeah, you could.
No dangerous terrain when they've got a ward save. Alright.
And 3 wounds apiece.
Yeah, whatever.
Still, you might take a win from it.
That's a
Nice.
complete and
Yes.
waste of points. It's another blood crusher.
Yeah.
It's almost another blood crush. Drop the standard.
Yeah.
5 points.
And just have another blood crush.
Yeah.
Razor standard.
Doesn't
Affect it does affect most of the mounts attacks, which
They
do
affect
a
the
lot of the
jugglers,
work.
It actually does affect. Armor piercing is one that affects magic weapons,
Yes.
isn't it? It's only flaming and poison that don't.
Oh, is
Actual
it?
attacks.
Yeah, they're
Oh, okay.
specifically. So you could raise a standard them, but I mean their strength 6 on the charge, the jugs. The razor
Probably
standard
enough.
doesn't affect the stomps.
Does give the
No.
rider strength 5 piercing, which is a sweet spot. It's very good.
Yeah, on turns they don't charge. I think the
Lack of
razor
attacks
standard.
to maximise it for me.
Yeah, I think the razor standard mitigates when they don't charge, but if they don't charge, you're not getting the most out of them. So, you know, you need to charge with them.
I think
You want something that helps them on the charge.
They are. I said they are overlooked by a lot of the community, but purely because they're fighting for a spot in the book, which is purely taken by Beast and Earl.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we've just alluded to really strongly with their score as well is that whilst they've got a 4 for command options, realistically
use it.
you're going to use maybe 1
Maybe.
or 2 elements.
Yeah.
I don't know if you bother with a champ.
I don't.
Maybe.
I would. To be honest, I'd go with champ over Skullcrush because the champ doesn't have to challenge.
Yeah, but I'm just not sure. A musician's probably the one I would want, and I might treat
Yeah.
myself to a standard.
It's you're not running away, so you can't lose a standard from.
I can't lose a standard
Yeah.
from fleeing, and it gives me more for blood and glory. But
Yeah.
So they have the.
I probably wouldn't bother at all with a magic banner though, to be honest.
no, I don't think I would. I don't see what magic banner they get the glory for, but they're getting the 4 points for it. But I
Because
think
they have the option for it.
Yeah.
I would take the Gleaming Pennant because these guys probably
Yeah, I can see why.
they're probably going to be outrunning your
I can see
BSB.
why,
See,
but in a mono
maybe.
Khorne list, I'd have 2 units, so that doesn't
Yeah,
massively help.
and I'd have a
one of them.
bloodthirster, which would give me a 18
Yeah.
inch
Yeah.
line
Yeah,
bubble.
yeah,
So
100%.
for me, I'd probably wouldn't. I think that they've got a 21, but for me, they're probably realistically only using 19 of it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I don't think they're using the 3rd and 4th
No,
point.
I also wouldn't, because I'd probably have a BSB Herald on a Juggernaut in the unit.
Yeah, I do like that
I wouldn't,
too.
I wouldn't have the Gleaming Pennant.
The last point I got here is that they are very good character escorts.
Yes, they are.
100%. Yeah,
That's-
for both possible characters.
We're going to be talking about later on,
Very
but they
good.
are primo character escorts
Yeah,
if they are
really
anything
good.
else.
Really good.
So that's it for Battleline.
Nice and quick.
About to say, are the units going to be shorter than the special rules? Who knows? Could be.
Maybe James ranted a lot.
I didn't rant. I discussed.
sounded like a rant.
I discussed.
And look, I'm going to use it against him. Fundamentally.
Fundamentally discussed very valuable elements of that section.
Anyway, that's it for Battleline Units for Khorne. You'll see there's going to be a lot like this for all the Demon Deep Dives. They're going to be
Yes.
very quick in every section that we're going to be
Yes.
doing. We're going to be moving further afield into the Blood God's domain, though, as we have our flankers. We have Fleshhounds of Khorne, Blood Crushers again, and the Soul Grinders of Khorne with the Demon Bone Claw.
Oh, you're spending the 10 points.
I'm spending the 10.
Spending the 10.
I'm spending.
You're spending the
I have
10.
to search for the Soul Grinder. He's
I
back here somewhere.
always
He's back
spend the 10 points, and then at the end of my list, if I need to find 10 points, drop it.
the 10 points.
It's really annoying.
Drop the bonus
The amount of
score.
times I don't have it, and I'm like, oh, God, I just needed to
If
find
you
those
ever
10
want to
points.
do Demon Claw. Anyway, so we're moving
But I
to
like them.
the Fleshhounds of Khorne up first, and they get a competitive rating of 15 out of 24. So this is assuming they're charging again, because they are pretty much going to get a charge if they can. Moving 8 with Swift Stride.
Yeah.
So the 3 for strength of attacks, purely because they're strength 5 on the charge. 2 for number of attacks, 3 for special rules, 2 for maneuverability, 4 for survivability this time round, and 1 for cost. So a role for these guys that looks like they want it, but can really struggle in this sort of role. I feel they're not sort of built out for this sort of thing.
15 is exactly what they are in my head. Like, because we all sort of sit and speculate roughly what we think they might be before we put them through the system. And that is 14, 15 is what they are in my head.
I think, yes,
There's
I agree,
competitive value in them.
but I think they sometimes, or they can appear to be a lot higher, or that they should be a lot higher a score, because people underestimate them. People see them as like, oh, that's 5 dogs, that's chaff.
That's chaff.
I'll go into that with like nothing and it'll die. But actually, that's 10 and toughness 4 with a 5-up wall save wound.
Yeah, so
That will rip your head off in combat.
I've read a lot of stuff like the units of dogs you have out there. They have a tasty second wound.
Yeah.
Toughness 4 with a fight ward save. They can be.
And weapon skill 5.
And weapon skill 5. They can be a knight. They're skill 0. That's upset. They're not skill 5.
They are. How do they fight anything? They have paws.
Anyway, see, they have a tasty second wound, toughness 4 with fight ward save. They're quite hard to get rid of.
Yeah, you need to dedicate something
Magic
to them to kill them.
resistance as well.
Magic res 3
yeah.
from the Colorado. They have a 2-up ward save against magic.
You are not Magic Missile in them.
No,
You are not.
if you can't shoot them, you've got to kill them in the chop. Now, I will say, they're not the hardest thing you're ever going to have to kill, but they're certainly not saying you can just chuck chaff at, as you said. I completely agree.
Like, because, if you haven't played them before, you didn't know demons too well, if you were, I don't know, say, high elves, you go, that's 5 dogs. My Lyrian Reavers will probably handle that. No! Those dogs are coming out the other side.
Comfortably, you'd be lucky to kill one.
So, so that's the benefits of them. They have 2 attacks, which is nice.
Yeah,
it's very nice. They have their issues, though, and the first one that I can remember is that they're War Beast, so they can be stomped.
Oh, it's awful. Yeah, it's just awful, the fact they can be stomped.
They can be stomped and fun to stomp on. They are 30 points a model.
Oh, they're insanely expensive.
Points.
30 points a model.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Shocking amount of points. You can pay to give them arguably the worst rule in the game.
Yeah, you can
Spoilers.
pay.
Yeah, you pay
Done.
for it.
How much do you pay for it?
3 points.
3 points.
3 points a model to give them ambushes.
10% increase in cost.
Probably a 60% decline in output.
I mean, I'm going to do it because I always do like the memey sort of stuff. If you have like 30 of them ambushing, just like, ah!
You're paying
that's
90
that's
points.
90 points.
That's
You could
3
have
flesh
had-
hounds.
You could have had 33 of them on the table, and you'd have still spent too many points on them.
I did say, but I think I wrote something like 2 years ago. I think I did write a list that had 30 of them in a unit.
You're a psychopath.
I think the thing with them is, we'll get to the locusts, but I think the problem with all the Khorne units is they desperately need to reroll hits. They only do it in combat, really.
They need character. They don't
have
support.
volume shooting. They don't really have shooting that will deck units. They have the option to kill big stuff, and these guys unfortunately fall into that bracket of being quite expensive and not really adding much to the things I'm struggling to deal with.
Not really.
They're not great against monsters.
They've not got Killing Blow, which your regular bloodletters do.
They're not very good against knights, which again is another thing that I might struggle with if I don't roll Killing Blow in my bloodletters.
Movement 8 is very nice to take out war machines, but that's not the role that we're going to talk on about. This is a flanking role. They don't do flanking well.
Well, and I don't think they do the war machine thing all that well either, because they're not fast cavalry.
No, they are movement 8s. They are quick.
They just block off the ball, aren't they?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Then there's other stuff that does it.
But if you're blocking them off with, say, your chaff units, then they will just go through the chaff instead.
Yeah.
And they're not friends, so they won't be redirected or anything.
No.
Like that.
No.
So it's not impossible. You can't. It's not impossible to get them into the war machines.
No, but I think you've spent a lot of points on them. You've minimum 150 points.
point units.
Yeah.
And I think that's another problem, is that realistically, 10 toughness 4, 5-up wall save wounds is good. It is good, but it's probably not a stretch for most armies to get those points.
No.
Yeah.
I think that's why I think you could you could definitely see these and I think maybe we will with fairly recently for us having filming this, Simon using them at the last GT, doing very well with them. I've seen a couple of reports on his channel, D6 Wings, check it out, it's really cool. Where he does really well with them against Bretonians particularly, getting them into the flank of knights. The knights just don't kill them.
Well, you've got
terrifying
wide frontage on those knights, low strength, low weapon skill. Yeah, they're a nightmare for
really
those
good.
types of units.
And I think because of that, you certainly could see them coming into the competitive meta, and people do underestimate them for a time. And then suddenly, when it gets to a certain point and you see them a certain amount, people know what they are, they know what they do, and they direct the right things into them, and they just get blown off, and you waste 150 points.
For me, I like them, and that's why I think they're a 15. There's potential, there's real kickbacks on them, and they go directly up against the Blood Crushers. I think I fancy them a little bit more.
They're in the same role as Blood Crushers, which I've just seen are called the Feet of Khorne.
Yes. Or Juggers.
Juggers is the best, mate. Because that's what
everyone calls them.
And now, instead of that being like a terrible gaming colloquialism, what I am now is a lore master of the fluff, if you will. I'm like,
fluff accurate.
How dare you suggest that I'm using a gaming colloquialism? Open your book, sir. You'll find they're known by the blood god himself as Juggers.
Anyway, Flesh Hounds, they are too expensive for flanking. They don't particularly do it very well.
Yeah.
They're cool models. The new ones are very nice models.
They're amazing
I
models.
have 10 of them now. So
and they go on the bases as well.
They are the only cavalry bases, new cavalry models I've built, or cavalry-esque models I've built, they go on the bases and rank up.
I'm going to be honest with you.
The new direwolves do, because they're smaller than the old direwolves.
Yes, they rank up better than the bloodletters that were designed for those square bases.
I can attest to that. Anyway, so we're going to move on to the next unit, which is going to be a returner, which is going to be the Blood Crushers of Khorne again. And they come this time around a competitive rating of 19 out of 24.
And a more accurate,
that's more where I see them, 18-19.
So they get 4 for the strength, number of attacks, and 4 for special rules, 1 for maneuverability, 4 for survivability, and 2 for cost again. A bit of a fall from Grace.
Yeah, but I think what we were saying is to swap in the banner, isn't it?
The banner's to maneuverability.
And like we said, you're not really going to use that 50 points of banner.
The banner doesn't give you anything. The maneuverability matters.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that's a more valuable rating for them.
There won't be a lot of talking about these guys. They do. It's pretty much the exact same talk we just had a second ago. Literally everything. The jugglers do the most of the work. Charge them in the flank. They'll do quite well, to be honest.
I think they'll do very well, and really good character delivery system.
Yeah, they are. You can run them in sort of tighter blocks as well, 2x2. You don't get as many supporting attacks, but
I wouldn't go 2x2.
You can control what's coming.
You're depriving yourself of a jugger,
But I like 4s. I say that a lot with Monstrous Cavalry.
Monstrous Cavalry work well in 4s.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I think's good with these is they're really good cover for your Bloodthirster.
Yeah.
In that, if
From
I go,
cannons.
I'm going to shoot them with my big dwarf cannon.
Your dwarf cannon?
That's correct.
Do you mean dwarf cannons?
Maybe. And that's where they come into their own again in that little
2x2.
in the little queue.
Hurrah,
if you will, with the Bloodthirsty tucked behind them.
Yeah.
To be really difficult.
Because then you've got to kill 2 Blood Crushers.
Yeah, which have got a ward save and 3 wounds.
Yeah. So again, not going to talk about it much. Just go back 10 minutes probably.
Not even that.
10 minutes would be on special rules.
Go back. Go back
10 minutes.
Fundamentally.
The pirate intro, that's what I reckon 10 minutes.
Anyway, go back, watch Blood Crushers and Battleline, it's the exact same sort of things. They're just in a flanking role.
They're good.
We don't need to say it again.
And our last flanker is the Soul Grinder of Khorne with the Demon Bone Claw. Randomly, it's just
some bits of plain paper in the middle of it. I really hope that's not valuable content we need.
No, it's not.
So moving on to the army list.
Yeah. Our last flanker, as I said, is Soul Grinder Khorne with Demon Bone Claw with a competitive rating of 18 out of 24. Not bad.
Yeah, good.
These are another massively overlooked unit, I think.
I
think we overlooked these actually.
I think that's fair.
I think we had them a few years ago in Plus Choice. Just didn't see them, and we were like, just don't see what's good about it. You know what? They're really good.
They're just a good monster. So 4 for strength of attacks, 4 for number of attacks, 3 for special rules, 1 for maneuverability, 4 for survivability, and 2 for cost.
Yeah.
So this model costs 260 points for the claw. It's the first of the many monsters in this book, because there are a lot of monsters in this book.
There are a lot of monsters.
And a controversial one in terms of usefulness for some people, and for you it's model-wise as well.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people don't like the model.
It's 265 points.
265.
So
Yeah,
I forgot to give them the Demon of Khorne upgrade.
Okay.
I think the
As you
model is not that
It's 240k.
fancy. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
not.
my issue with it.
I always
It is
look for
240k.
sort of what could I use instead, and I don't really
And there
ever
just
find
isn't anything.
No, so I sort
Yeah,
of come back
so-
to it and go, okay, but
I feel like someone with better modelling skills than me could do a really cool Nurgly one based off of like an Arachnarok spider. Having the
I
legs
think
and
you could
things
do
from
that
that.
for Sinesh
Yeah.
as well. with a
I think
spider.
that could work, depending on the
Yeah.
body you use.
And like the bladed limbs, don't
Yeah,
they?
depending on like the body you use. I think with Nurgle you'd go with a much more sort of bloated, Great Unclean One-esque body. Slanesh you'd go with a much more sort of slender one. But I think that would work as a
I've
base
seen
for both.
it done and was not blown away.
Yeah,
I think
it needs to be done well.
the best one was probably the Forge World one they did. They called the Plague Hulk or
Plague
something
Hulk,
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That had quite a lot of demony, nurgly flesh on
Yeah.
it, and that
Which-
meant it looked kind of better. In
If
fact,
you want to know what the Plague Hulk looks like, look to Total War 3. It's in that game.
Is it?
Yeah, it's in it.
That's-
You play
The
it!
Nurgle Soul
not played as
Grinders.
Nurgle.
The Nurgle Soul Grinders are basically in that game. Are basically just what
It's the
they
Plague
are.
Hulk. That's what the Plague Hulk was.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and the Sinesh
Cool.
ones are really cool. I'm looking at them as a character model for some. That's
Anyway,
cool.
going beyond the model, we're going back to the actual rules of the Soul Grinder. It's got a good stat line. Movement
Yeah.
8, Strength 6, Toughness 7.
Yeah.
6 wounds, 4 attacks, isn't good, and it has Weapon Skill 3.
That's its its kickback is probably its weapon skill and attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Does have a Thunderstorm though.
Thunderstomp, it has a natural 4 apartment save.
Yeah,
Has
very
armor,
good.
yeah.
With a
Which,
5 at ward save as well.
with toughness 7, you know,
Mm.
that's not bad because it means that the combination of the ward and the armor mean that it's unlikely that one of the key challenges for tough units, poison, is going to be as
Is actually
effective.
gonna
No,
be
because he has 2 forms of save
Because he's
against
got 2 decent saves against it. Even sort of like Wood Elf Arrow is probably the most prevalent
Yeah.
poison threat in
Yeah,
the game.
yeah.
It's going to ignore about half of the damage it takes.
And if they're shooting at Soul Grinders, they're not shooting at Bloodthirsters.
That is correct.
It has a couple of rules. It has Implacable Advance, which means it can move but not march and shoot its guns if it has any. And it has Caught in the Iron Claw, or Caught by
Yeah,
the
it
Iron
does.
Claw. So,
Would you like me to read that out, Max?
yeah, I know what it does roughly, but I can't remember the exact wording.
Immediately before the Soul Grinder makes its attacks, nominate one model in base contact with the Soul Grinder. The model must pass an initiative test. If the test is passed, nothing happens. If the test is failed, all other attacks the Soul Grinder makes against that model with this turn hit automatically.
And I think it's worth going on what the Demon Bone Claw does
Yes.
as well.
So, Demon Bone Claw. A Soul Grinder with this upgrade can exchange all of its attacks for a single special attack. This is declared after the Caught by the Iron Claw rule is resolved. This attack is resolved at Strength 10 and has the multiple wounds D6 special rule.
This makes
Crunchy
him
crunch crunch!
This makes him a monster killer, which I think
Yeah.
is where I see his role in the Khorne list.
Yeah. No,
Although they've got other things that also do that.
yeah.
Namely a Bloodthirster.
Yeah. Well, and a skull cannon.
And,
And
a Skull Taker.
And a Skull Taker.
And-
Although he's got to be in a challenge, doesn't
Yeah, he
he?
does.
Yeah, he
we'll get
does,
to
which
this.
he
We'll
can't.
get to him later.
He can't challenge a Frost Dart. But you know
Not
what?
if he's not Grudges on
He
it.
can if Gretchen's on
He
it.
can. But you know what? You know what can be a big problem for that Frost Dart?
A Soul Grinder.
A Soul Grinder.
With a Demon
Because
Bone Claw.
50% of the time he takes a strength 10 points.
D6 hit. But a third of the time he does my get off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also the Soul Grinder does come with a harvested cannon as well, which is a grape shot. It's literally you fire as grape shot as per the cannon rules.
His
Yeah.
ballistic skill is not good.
It's basically 3.
So
It's not going to hit.
just don't.
If you roll a misfire, then the Soul Grinder suffers a wound when I say 25.
So march the Soul Grinder and don't shoot that weapon.
Yeah. Overall, this guy's actually pretty tough in profile.
Yeah.
It's actually, as I said, it's good with Demon Bone Claw. He's a good monster hunter for Khorne. Because to go against like units, he needs support from the units, and he's not going to be getting a lot of attacks against them.
They're not going to take a lot of wounds.
They're going to take a lot of wounds, but they're not going to. They're going to be there for a while.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
not.
but
He's
he's
not going
not-
to break them.
He's not bad in the grind though.
The grinder's not bad in the grind.
Well, as long as he's not taking, like, as long as he's not losing by like 5 or 6, you know what I mean? Like,
Sorry, I've just
Use
just
the name.
seen the name under the Soul Grinder in the book. The last one is Clinker Spawn. What?
Yeah, boy.
I think this is the thing.
Carry on.
Is that like realistically, he's not gonna lose by a lot,
No,
particularly if he charges infantry blocks.
He's still got a Thunderstomp, which does.
That's why.
Yeah,
It's that Thunderstomp.
he's got to rely on it though. If you think because
A
he's
lot- a
only
lot of
got 4
monsters
attacks.
do.
He's only got 4 attacks. He's only weapon skill 3.
Yes.
So
yeah.
he probably only hits twice.
Twice,
Probably 2 wounds. He's probably winning on 2.
Again, Demons of Khorne come
Thunderstomp
back
is-
to the fact that Demons of Khorne need to have some
some
way
sort of
buff,
helping him to hit.
buff to hit.
Yeah.
And Demon
Um,
of Khorne is a bit of a waste on him because strength 7 on a charge isn't going to do much.
Can opens knights though, doesn't he?
Does
Yeah,
count
it
nice
helps
if you
get some
charge a frost dart, you win frost dart on 4s.
Yeah, there's not a lot that wins a frost out on a 4, is there?
No.
No, but you're probably going to try and Demon Bone Claw him, aren't you?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but if he passes
Well,
the initiative test,
but even
you
that,
just wow on it.
you do the what do you call it? Caught in the Eye Claw. Then you can decide if you want to do
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Eye Claw.
that's what I mean,
Absolutely.
Because then you can just do 4 attacks, win on 4s.
Yeah.
If you want to, or do you
Yeah.
want to take win
yeah,
on
I think that like most flanking monsters, and in general most monsters in general, is the reason we put them in flanking is because ideally they go in on the side next to a block.
Yeah.
And that's where he is absolutely insane because
Yes.
he's not going to take a lot of wounds and he's going to contribute a lot of high strength attacks, which is something that they do lack in combat
Yeah.
outside.
Also
of the
causes
first.
terror.
Yeah, he does.
which is
Yeah,
very nice.
little cheeky cause terror. 8-inch move's good as well.
Yeah, very good. So overall, he has a use as a big scary monster. But if we're honest, Khorne already has that in its Lord section.
Yeah, big sort of combat monster it does. But
Why not both?
Why?
Because that's a lot of points.
I think the reason you don't see him in a Khorne army is because he's contending in the rare slot with the skull
With
cannon.
the skull cannon.
But to be honest, Skull Cannon is so ridiculously cheap. You can just
You can have one and
You could-
two, but I think
Yeah.
I think like anything, things are better in pairs,
Yeah.
aren't they?
So that's the Soul Grinder, and we're gonna move on to the next battle for Roll, which is ranged units. And Khorne, the War God, actually has some. It has one. With the Skull Cannon of Khorne.
Two.
Oh, two. Sorry. The Skull
We've got
Cannon
the
of
skull
Khorne.
grinder back again.
And Soul Grinder
Skull
comes
grinder.
back. The Soul Grinder Khorne with either its Baleful Torrent, Phlegm Bombardment, or Warp Gaze. So we're going to start with the Skull Cannon of Khorne, everyone's favourite piece of artillery,
Why couldn't you have started with the soul grinder? I was on that page.
just to keep it interesting.
As he
Flick,
gets
flick,
to the
flick.
page, so you're going to do Soul Grinder.
So Soul Grinder of Khorne.
Die.
Oh my.
That flesh hounds.
So-
I found it.
Skull Cannons, they get a rating of 20 out of 24. They're actually beaten by the Blood Crushers, which is
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
like-
the Skull Cannon, it gets a 3 for threat range, 4 for strength for shot, 3 for accuracy, 2 for versatility, 4 for survivability, and 4 for cost.
They're insane.
So cheap.
It's 135 points this thing, and
Yeah.
it's everyone's favourite artillery piece. I was about to say artillery piece.
It's every demon player's favourite artillery piece.
Yeah. And to be honest, I always find I can't help myself compare this thing to an Iron Blaster.
Okay.
It's a cannon on a chariot.
Yeah.
I cannot help but compare it to an Empire Great Cannon for a very different reason.
I'm going to do my comparison and we'll go to
Yeah,
your
no,
comparison.
I agree. I
So,
think
in-
that's
So
good.
fundamentally,
compared to an Iron Blaster, so the Skull Cannon has 1 less toughness and wound than an Iron Blaster, but has 1 points of armour and a 3-up arm save. And a 5 war save.
yes.
So differences are it's rough the same survivability in essence.
Yeah, it's probably not too far. It's probably a little bit more survivable, but not too far.
but
I
then
would say.
the differences between the Skull Cannon and the Iron Blaster is that the Skull Cannon is flaming, the
It is.
Cannonball is flaming, which
It
you
is.
just wreck regen monsters all the time,
You do.
and you can regain wounds with this thing.
You can.
So it has the Gore Feast rule, which is on the Blood Throne
It is.
page.
It is also
Oh,
35 points
points
cheaper
cheaper.
than an Iron Blaster.
Yeah, there is one glaring reason for that, but do your Gore Feast.
Yeah,
So-
it can't grape shot.
No, it's...
that's the glaring reason.
the glaring reason is it doesn't have its own misfire chart.
It doesn't know it fires on black.
No,
It
that is
uses
true.
standard black
Yeah,
powder,
black
so
powder.
if it misfires 1/3 of the time, you take the model off.
That is true.
Yeah, but
That
it's
is
cheap
fair.
enough. You got 2.
Well, that's the and
Yeah.
that's why I compare it to the Great Cannon.
Yeah.
But whereas can the Sky Cannon, can the Iron Blaster kill itself?
Yeah, it's got one of the results is
Yeah,
crack.
on a 1.
Yeah.
On
But
a
does
1
it
it
not
kills
just kill
itself.
the cannon, or does it?
No, on a
No.
1 it kills itself, on
Right.
a 2 it kills the cannon.
Right,
and
yeah,
carry
and
on
you
as
carry
a
on
chariot.
as a chariot.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Gore
And the
Feast.
rest of the results are similar.
Oh, well, Demon Engine, Demon
Gore
Engine,
Feast.
Demon Engine and Gore Feast.
Demon
are
Engine and Gore Feast. It has both rules. So Demon Engine, unlike other chariots, a Demon Engine is not pulled by beast, but is instead propelled by a combination of machinery and dark enchantment. Treat the profile as a combination of chassis and beast. Any spells or special rules that affect a chariot's beast have no effect at all on a Demon Engine. Gore
Big
Feast.
traitor kin from Beastman Lore of the Wild, for instance.
Oh wow.
Wow, niche.
That's
Dear Lord.
oh well, that's made a huge difference at the top end of the draw.
Gore Feast. If this chariot's impact hits cause unsafe wounds, immediately roll a d6 for each wound caused. For each score of 4+, the chariot regains a single wound lost earlier in the battle.
Is it scythed?
Is it not? Check it in the army list section. I think it might be. Side.
Yes,
It is
side.
side.
So that's not bad. It's strength 5 as well. Strength 6 on the charge then.
He's
Yep.
also, because it is a chariot of cannon, it moves and fires.
Yeah, Implacable Advance. This model can move, not march, although it can't march.
Can't march.
It's a chariot.
It's a chariot.
And still shoot any one of its weapons. But that's the same rule as the Soul Grinder.
So-
It's literally a copy-paste.
Yeah. And so, shall we do your comparison with the Great Cannon?
Well, it's just 15 points more than Empire Great Cannon.
Fundamentally, it's 15 points more than
That's
a
it.
Great
For
Cannon.
15 points, I get to mount it on a chariot.
chariot.
I get to give it a toughness in combat of 5, not a toughness in combat of
Of 3.
3. I get to have a 3-up arm save all the time. I get to have a 5-up ward save all the time. And I'm flaming.
And it's crewed effectively by bloodletters with Killing Blow Hellforged.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
what I feel like when I list all of those is I think I've paid 1 or 2 points for each of the things I just said. So 2 points to up its toughness, 2 points to give it a ward save. You'll have to see it.
It pays to be bad.
It's insane. It's insanely cheap.
As Scott just said, if all else fails, this thing is still a chariot with 2 bloodletters on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's really strong about it because you don't have to leave it behind like you do conventional artillery.
No.
It moves with your combat-orientated army.
The chariot itself has 3 weapon skill 5, strength 5 attacks.
Yeah,
Strength
weapon
6
skill.
on the charge.
The little ridiculous mouth on the front. That's like,
You mean the mouth that doesn't have a bottom jaw?
Yeah, it does there. Doesn't the picture?
Look at the model. I built 2 of these recently. It does not.
Have you built it wrong?
I bet you he has.
I've not. It's not fair then.
Oh gosh.
I mean, it sort of does have a bottom
Oh,
jaw.
it has like 2 teeth on the side. Yeah, it doesn't have a bottom jaw.
He's built it wrong.
He's built it wrong.
I built the exact same as that. It's not got any teeth. It's not got a bottom jaw. It can't
Sure.
shoot.
It's just
Anyway,
absolute insanity.
Ridiculously
Yeah.
cheap, and you're always going to want to take 2
In a corner.
Yeah.
in any Demon's army.
Well, maybe
Maybe.
depends what I'm doing with my
Yeah.
Nurgle army.
Okay, every army that's not Nurgle.
Well, my Sinesh army I wouldn't.
Why not?
I'd take 2 Soul Grinders.
But it's not 2 Skull Cannons.
Yeah, but I need that combat strength, that threat more.
Yeah, I can see that point. But I said they are very competitive in the
They
rest
are
lot.
very,
Yeah,
very
they're
competitive.
Yeah.
It's also a 4-wound war machine, effectively.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's why I always look at it against the Great
Disgusting.
Cannon because there's such a small points difference in them. It's very
Also, I
good.
always want to know there's another name for this. Is the Clinker Fiends.
It is Clinker Fiend.
What was the other one? Clinker what? was it so-
Clinker Spawn.
Clinker Spawn and Clinker
Clinker
Fiend.
Fiend.
Anyway, so that is a Skull Cannon. Very good. See if you always try and take one of Demons of Khorne. If
Yeah.
you're going other gods, you possibly will be tempted to take one.
Yeah.
So then we're going to move on to the Clinker Spawn.
Clinker Spawn.
We're going to have Soul Grinders this time with Baleful Torrents, Phlegm Bombardments, and Warp Gaze. They come in with that. So the way I've done this, we're not going to do 3 separate entries for every single shooting set you can make. I'm going to do it in one big go. And so what I'm going to do is, so the Soul Repetitive rating is 14, 18, 14 out of 24. And if
One is significantly better than the
one
other
is
two.
significantly better. So 14 is Baleful Torrents, 18 is Phlegm Bombardment, the last 14 is Warp Gaze. So first one is the Fire Thrower, middle one is the Stone Thrower, last one is the Bolt Thrower.
Yep.
That's why it's going to
Lots
work.
of throwers.
Lots of throwers. That's why it's going to work because we're going to go through it now. So we get a score for 3-4-3 for threat range. I just explained it. Why?
We are never going to get through this.
Tell me a different way. Tell
How's
me
it got 343 for threat range?
3/4/3.
Yeah, it's got 14, 18, and 14. Yeah.
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 That's what we'll go for.
Yeah.
That's what I'd go for.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say the numbers out here because I've got to. Because otherwise, you need to know how these add up. Yeah? Threat range is 3/4/3. Strength for shot is 2/4/3. Accuracy is 3/2/1. Versatility is 1/3/2. Survivability is 4, and cost is 1.
I hope that you had a pen and paper for that, so that you can translate it.
Yeah, so
this is amazing.
just ignore me if you're going to be taking one of these things here. So the Ugly Boy is back again for an extortionately expensive shooting attack.
Yeah.
Because the minimum cost of these things cost the shooting attack is 50 points. They are rare.
Yes, they are. Where are they?
The thing with these
Yeah.
is in Sayer's Ink Army,
Mhm.
the shooting element has like merit and has value
What
because
are you on about? You've got Burning Chariots and Zinch armies.
well, what I'm saying is the shooting element has merit there because they're an army that stands off, that blasts you with spells. They're much more defensive, and so you can sit your Soul Grinder back, and for a couple of turns you can chuck its Phlegm Bombardment. The best.
Flame
squad
Bombardment
would
is a
be the
stone
best.
one. So the
Um,
Torrent is a flamethrower or fire thrower. Sorry, Flame Bombardment is a stone thrower,
Warp
and
Gaze
Warp
is a bolt
Gaze
thrower.
is a bolt thrower. And Warp
The
Gaze.
Fire Thrower is only strength 4 though, isn't it?
Yes.
So it's rubbish.
Yeah.
So the bolt thrower is just the bolt thrower. That's 55 points.
So it's a standard bolt thrower basically.
No, Baleful Torrent is a normal fire thrower.
Oh, it's strength 5 then?
Yeah.
Oh, and it's flaming then? If it's a standard fire thrower, unless it's got its own stat line in there.
No, it's just a standard 5.
No, standard fire thrower.
Oh, so
If
it's
a
strength
misfire
five
is
flame.
rolled,
I
the Soul
told you
Grinder
this.
instead suffers a wound with no save.
The way you was going about, the way you was going about it, I thought you meant standard 5 fires of strength 4.
No,
they're
they're
strength
strength 5,
Yeah.
flaming.
Yeah, that's it then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they're not multiple in
They're not
D3.
1 points D3,
No.
which I thought they were.
No.
Yeah, anyway, basically you get everything that isn't a cannon on this thing.
Yeah.
And for 50 points apart from the bolt thrower, which is 55 points.
I don't really understand why that's 5 points more. Yeah, Phlegm Bombardment's definitely the best one. You don't roll on a misfire chart ever, no matter what weapon you're firing. If it normally has one, if you roll a misfire, you take a win with no armor with no saves of any kind.
Yeah.
They come with a Harvester Cannon as per normal as well.
Yeah, do
But-
you swap one for the Harvester Cannon?
No.
No, you take it in addition.
You take an addition, but you can only shoot one of the guns.
Yes.
You can't shoot both in a
And you're
turn.
never going to shoot a harvester cannon because it's
No.
grape shot
Yeah.
rubbish.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't shoot standard shoot because you're immune psychology at that point as well.
Yeah.
Honestly, just don't take the shooting attacks.
Yeah, if you're going to take one, like you say, maybe Nazin's army.
Yeah, this is all the wrong army for it.
Yeah.
When it's for Daemons of Khorne,
Yeah.
the shooting attacks is
Don't
a
take
waste.
one.
Yeah, just go at 16-inch movement. That's what
Yeah,
Demons
yeah.
want to do.
Honestly, don't take shooting attacks and just use it in a flanker roll.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's about it. We're going to leave it there because Khorne's only good in combat.
It's still a soul grinder at the end.
Still a
of
soul
the day. It's
grinder.
still hard to kill.
If you do take the shooting attacks, you still can just move it 8 inches a turn and then charge when you get
Yeah.
there. So most of your units will be keeping. I will be that
I tell you,
fast
really, in a sort of bigger game, like what have you got to get up to sort of 3k? You could have two
Soul grinders.
skull grinders with the phlegm bombardment and
Yep.
2 skull cannons, and they'd move 8 and shoot.
Yeah?
It's a lot of artillery, isn't it?
Yeah?
I'm not sure I would, but it's.
You could.
It'd be
Could,
fun. Be a
could
funny
just
thing
take
too.
if it's a grand army. I could just take 4 skull cannons though.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Although
no.
the template is versatile, isn't it? It's why it's the 18.
Yeah, it's better.
The stone
against
throwers
blocks.
great because they're so versatile. They can still deck a big monster, but they can also threaten blocks.
Which actually the rest of your army does struggle.
Does struggle, yeah. I agree.
Unless you are a bloodthirster.
Yeah.
They're a bit of a gang up army, aren't they? You want to
yeah.
get like the skull crushers, like the blood
Blood
crushers,
crushers
and a soul grinder in, or
Yeah.
and a unit of bloodletters.
Oh,
Yeah.
the bloodthirster going. He's on his own. Get him!
Yeah, that's very much how I see them playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I said, just don't take him as shooting. Take him in combat. Take him as flanker.
Yeah.
Moving on. So we're going to go on to Khorne's Chaff now, and the Blood God does have some, thanks to the efforts of the Flesh Hounds again, and Chaos Furies of Khorne. Chaos Fairies, never get over it. Flesh Hounds of Khorne then, for the final time, is first coming up with a competitive rating of 15 out of 24.
Is that the
Exactly the
same?
same.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much the same.
Yeah.
2 for movability, 2 for number of attacks, 3 for special rules, 3 for slot, because there's nothing in core.
There's
Unless
no
you,
better
I'm going to talk about it in a second. Before we were.
chance. He knew what was coming.
Knew what's going. 4 for survivability and 1 for cost again, because they are still the same amount of points.
Still too many points.
In my eyes, though, this is possibly a more suitable place for these chaps,
Okay.
for these poochies. Even then, I'm not entirely sure. I'm still not sure about it.
See, I think I'd use them in a flanking role primarily, but with the knowledge that if I absolutely had to stop something charging, say, the flank of my bloodletters or blood crushers or something, that I could just use, you know what, it's only 150 points.
Yeah.
They're not the most expensive. I can use them in that role if I have to.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. A lot of chaff units you can sort of fireball off of, but you can't fireball these guys.
You cannot. No.
There's Measure is 3 turret ward save. You're not going to
10 wounds.
You have to deal with it in combat or shooting.
Yeah.
But I said, I think, well, the point James made earlier on to me was that for the 10 points less, you get a stick of 10 bloodletters.
Yeah.
Which you did say might be a
Yeah.
potentially better chaff unit.
You've got to take core, haven't you?
You've got to take
Um,
comms.
Points you have to spend.
But
Then if it's coming out of points you have to spend, it's coming out of that block of 40 bloodletters you have.
Yeah.
yes, yeah. Well,
2,500 points.
yeah.
Because you want to take a big unit.
Yeah, and I think ultimately we all agree that the next choice is the better one.
100%.
Yeah.
All of it. I think the Flesh Hounds they really struggle for a proper role for me.
They do.
They fall a bit short flanking. They don't really kind of fit.
Chaff.
Chaff.
Because they're a bit too expensive.
You can't put them in battle line at all.
They're not battle line,
No.
so you know they this is where they're sort of they're kind of They're alright at a lot
Six
of
of one,
things.
half a dozen of the other.
Yeah, alright at a lot of stuff, but not great at anything.
Again, same as the Blood Crushers, a lot of what we talked about in flanking confers over to the role in Chaff. Just think of you just use them as very expensive Chaff.
They're better at the killing individual characters and lone target type stuff.
Yeah, if you're going after wizards, they're very good.
Yeah.
Going after wizards and that sort of
definitely.
jazz. Anyway, so we're going to move into the last Chaff unit in the book, and that is Chaos Fairies, or Furies if you want to be proper.
Crows of Chaos.
The crows are chaos, what are they called?
Crows of Chaos.
The Chaos Shreks. The
Gargoyles.
Just
Crows
gargoyles.
of Chaos.
Just gargoyles.
Just gargoyles.
Just gargoyles. Fundamentally.
Someone roll a 9 on the Reign of Chaos and roll a 6 on my head, please.
Then scour over to Scott's head. So you have to deal with
that'd
it.
be
And I have to
luck.
clean him up.
Anyway,
Anyway, fine. He's dead.
Chaos Furies of Khorne come in a competitive rating of 16 out of 24.
Yeah,
Very good.
Very good.
Love it.
Fourth.
Love a Fury.
Love
best
a
chaff
Fury.
in the book.
4 for maneuverability, 1 for the number of attacks, 3 for special rules, 3 for slots. Again, because there's nothing better in the book,
Yep.
like, fundamentally. And 3 for cost.
He's going to keep dropping that in,
I am, yeah.
because I said it.
3 for cost as well, because I actually think they're pretty good for their cost.
I think they're,
I think they're very
really
good.
good in a Khorne army.
Was it
Uh,
70 points for 5?
70 points
Yeah.
for 5 demons, for 5 Furies of Khorne, yeah.
Yeah. 5
Ah.
Furies of anything, because they're
Yeah.
all 2 points.
They are. The lowly Fury.
Yeah.
The fastest non-character unit we have because of Fly, which is a fantastic rule on a chaff unit.
Yeah.
You are charging over all those units and charging straight into the lone characters, war machines, getting into the little spits, the little spaces you need to go to.
Being a
Yeah.
flying unit, you can reform.
Because you are skirmishing as well.
Skirmish, which
Um,
means you're harder to shoot.
You are
You're
incredible.
still a demon, so you've still got the 5-up ward save.
Demonic
Hell's
instability.
Fear.
You get a 4 ward save for your chaff units, which would be mad.
You've also got the fact that you know they're never going to foul that terror check and stop
Which
that
is-
enemy unit.
Which is terrifying at leadership 2.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
they're not in General's leadership range, they are leadership 2.
That's what I mean. It's that thing of going, well, I'm never going to fail that. I'm always going to successfully pull that thing out of position.
Yeah.
Yep. One of the reasons I like Furies of Khorne is they're strength 5 on the charge.
Yeah.
They are weird, just strength 5.
So this is the thing there. They're the omni threat. They're Deca War Machine crew with that
Oh, yeah.
strength and those stats.
Yeah.
They'll go in and they'll block off and redirect for 70 points. You're happy with that?
Mm.
They're
What's up score of them?
3.
Yeah.
Not great. But
alright.
not terrible. Not bad.
Cause fear.
Yeah, they do. I think the strength 4 means that actually it's enough that you'll probably kill a War Machine crew, so that I don't actually think Demons of Khorne is the best for Furies, but I still think Khorne Furies are very, very good. I think the mark of your Furies should depend on your general,
Oh, always, yeah.
because of the leadership. You can get away with it on other units, because generally Demons are 7, Heroes are 8.
Testing to march and stuff with chaff
Yeah.
that you
You
really
need-
want to pass.
You
Yeah,
need
which
them-
means I think they have to be the same alignment as your
As your
general.
general.
Oh, I agree.
So in this sense, these guys are going to be flocking around your Bloodthirsters, or if you take one,
or within 18 inches of
or a Demon
Bloodthirster.
Prince of Khorne, yeah. So they're the best chaff option we have.
Definitely.
Much better than Flesh Hounds as chaff.
Yeah.
A lot cheaper than as Flesh Hounds as well.
You get 2
Less
units.
than half the points.
Yeah.
And
Same number of wounds, slightly less toughness.
Interestingly, same number of wounds, isn't it? Yeah. Are they not toughness 4? Strength 4,
They're
toughness 4?
toughness 3.
Yeah. But they are -1 to hit with shooting.
Yeah.
Yes, they
same
are.
attacks. Mm.
No. Flesh
Yeah,
Hounds
you
one.
got 10 of
You've
them.
got 10 of them.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
You can redirect 2 units.
Yeah.
You fly.
Very good chaff units for
Yeah.
Khorne.
Indeed.
Not much to say, is it?
And then a final section before we take on the special characters is support units, and Khorne actually has one.
It does.
Doesn't need one because he can get rid of this thing. It's the Blood Throne of Khorne,
Harsh.
but fair.
Yeah.
So the Blood Throne of Khorne comes with a competitive rating of 13 out of 24.
I'm surprised it's that high.
0 for
It's the
maneuverability.
Shrine of the Bloodback Producer all over again, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, I was saying multiples. But you can take multiples. These aren't not limited to 2.
True.
You can take loads of these things if you really want to.
Well, you're limited by
Yeah.
9,000 points that it takes out of your hero slot.
Anyway, 0 for maneuverability, 4 for special rules, 3 for synergy, 1 for risk, 4 for survivability, and 1 for cost. My first point is this thing. Just this thing.
Just this thing.
This thing. It's a chariot mount for your Heralds of Khorne, much like the Cauldron of Blood and the Scream Bell. Just worse.
No, I'm sorry, mate. I've got to interject there. It's nothing like the Cauldron of Blood or the Screaming
I
Bell.
said it's a chariot mount. like.
But
In the
it's,
same essence-
it's a chariot mount like a Chaos Chariot.
It's
or
much
like
more like
war
a Chaos
roll,
Chariot
or
than
like
it
a
is
war
like a
roll.
Cauldron of Blood.
I said light because obviously those two units support the units as well. Whereas a regular
Yeah, but
chariot,
they support the units generally. They're in. This doesn't go in a unit.
but it supports the units around it.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
a
like a
war
War
roll.
Altar.
Or a Celestial Hurricanum. I know you've got.
Alright,
I know you're a big fan of them.
The weather wagon.
The Weather Wagon.
Alright, boys. Okay, I messed up. Okay, they were the first that come to mind. We've just done the Dark Elf deep dive. We're speaking about Skaven previously. They're in fresh in my brains. Okay.
Got rat on the brain.
Got rat on the no, I got demons on the brain. That's what it is. It has some uses. It has somewhat of a use though. So
Yeah,
the main
it makes your Herald easier to kill.
it does. Right, so we're
Also triples his points cost.
Yeah.
so we're going to look at it has Demon Engine, has Gorefist, same as the Skull Cannon and
Yep.
Khorne. Still a Demon and Khorne, still Demonic. So there's all the nice stuff. It has 3-up arm save, scythes, all that good stuff.
How many attacks that have in combat? Is it the same?
It
Five?
has 3.
And then it's got
and
2
it
bloodletters
has-
still.
I don't know if that's 2 or 1. I don't know if the
2
Herald
bloodletters.
replaces a
No, he stands on the back.
And then the bloodletters are
like
on the
doing
front.
the really big wide leg pose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they stand on the front. Like,
You mean the pose that goes perfectly onto a Juggernaut?
yeah,
Yes.
they basically stand on the front like bus conductors. It's nice.
But-
As they roll into combat, they shout, "Tickets, please!"
Basically, it's still a chariot with two blood letters on the front.
Not 2 bloodthirsters.
Not 2 bloodthirsters chucking this thing. And it does have a herald on the back as well, which you're going to go into in a second. The main difference from this thing, from the skull cannon, apart from the fact it doesn't have a cannon, is the icon of endless bloodletting.
Totem.
Totem
of Endless Blood.
Sorry, and so Scott's going to read this out quickly because just to make sure
I
it
am.
gets right.
Any demon of Khorne whose unit is within 6 of a herald on a blood throne of Khorne benefits from the herald's locus, exactly as if it were in the same unit. Remember that if a unit is affected by 2 or more loci, only the strongest takes effect.
Yeah, sorry, this loci was actually a part of it's a part of demonic alignment rule as well. Yeah.
Yes.
So we don't say we
We'll cover it when we talk about heralds.
yes. So we'll go
heralds.
through the actual rules for locus in a second, but they are basically buffs for your units. They give you similar unit. They grant a buff to the units. The blood throne bubbles it out like
so it affects-
Arcanum.
Yes. Like a War Altar.
Yeah,
And a
it
war altar,
literally. Well, yeah. I mean,
More
one
like
one
a
is
war
exactly
altar.
the same as a war altar. One option, yeah.
So my
Yeah.
so my use for this thing the loci for Khorne are generally very expensive. So the fact that you only have to take one of these things to bubble out to 6 inches offsets
Yes.
that cost ever so slightly if you look at that sort of way.
Yes.
Yeah.
As Scott has alluded to though, you can just kill the guy off the top of the chariot.
Yeah.
I think the bigger problem for me is that as a mount, these cost 160 points.
Yeah.
Only for the heralds. Skull Takers is only 120.
Yeah, because his locus is rubbish.
Yeah.
But if you think like the really expensive locust on the herald is 175 points, would I rather just have a second herald in that second unit with the second
Which is
locust?
You know, a second model that has to be attacked to lose the buff on that second unit. Yeah. Just rather go with that.
Yeah, I think I would. Yeah, I don't really have a lot to say.
No. I say I'll just don't buy if you only have one unit of bloodletters, which you're probably going to have in
No.
Khorne. Just buy the herald on foot.
The loci do affect non-bloodletter units.
Yeah, it
though,
does.
don't
It's
they?
the
Yes.
one of Demon's Khorne. So you can get one of Locust's hatred. You can get hatred on your soul grinders, hatred on your
Yeah.
bloodthirsters, on your furies if you're in
Yeah.
range.
That's definitely its use. I think.
Yeah.
Is getting it on kind of like units that maybe you can't easily get it on otherwise.
Fleshhounds.
Fleshhounds.
That's
yeah.
that's
Blood Crushers you can, because you can put your herald on a juggernaut.
But it's a chariot, and it's going to struggle to keep up with the non-infantry
It's moving 7.
blocks. Yeah, so
it's
it
really slow.
doesn't keep up with the non-infantry blocks.
Nope.
Struggles to keep up with the infantry blocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think when you look at how much you'll invest in it, guys, which is probably 300 points.
Easy. 315 with
You
a decent locus.
yeah, you are looking at wanting to put it in combat to get more out of it, and that's when your herald will die.
Yeah, because you
Yeah.
only need to kill the herald and the
Locust is
The
lost.
locus is
dies
gone.
with the herald.
The totem's like, yeah, I can put out nothing.
Yeah, I can battle a bubble of nothing.
Excellent.
Oh dear.
Concern
Because then you are just a skull cannon without the
without
cannon.
a cannon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it. Blood Throne's really disappointing.
Yeah,
I
it is.
personally like the model. I know you're not a big fan of it.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it either, if I'm
I
honest.
like the model. I do like the model.
Well, 2-1, you're wrong.
Apparently so. Anyway, some absolute surprising scores in there, and that's nice to see for the Blood God.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't get a lot of love these days. And he's supposed to be the most powerful god as he is anyway in the
I
fluff.
think he's underutilised. I
He's
said this
underutilised.
before. I think aggressive, really aggressive players that put lots of pressure on, they can make
Put your hand
that.
up, you like being aggressive.
They can make that army work. I think I certainly see that. I think weirdly on the channel I have this reputation of being the most defensive of us. But I think when we go to events, I'm probably the biggest aggressor on the planet. I really like the idea of them going forward. And certainly guys like John or Matty Pass, they are,
Yeah, I think in the hands of your brother, an army of that would be quite scary.
Yeah, it would be tough. It would be tough day out.
Because turn 2, the entire army's in
He's
combat.
like, I think I might just declare some charges, mate. Excuse me?
His game's been going 10 minutes, what?
Go large. Anyway, it's actually not been that long of a haul.
It's not.
For the units,
it's
we're actually
not.
quite
But it
nice.
is a hot haul in this studio.
It's been a very hot haul. So
Really
why
well.
don't you grab yourself a drink, maybe a Coke, maybe a Pepsi.
We're going to.
We're going to go
have to.
dressing. Other beverages are available. And take 5. We'll see you when you get back. So you're back with me, obviously, and these two. Back with Khorne.
These two chumps.
These
That's
two-
what that felt like.
These two chump change over here. We're going to go into special characters and generic characters as well. Ooh. First time for everything. So, as we said right at the beginning, we're going to go through not just special characters, also the generic characters of Khorne, as they're just really hard to do in a separate tactic video due to the randomness of the characters themselves.
Yeah.
And before we start, the output value of these generic characters, we compare them to the average value of what we believe is the average stat line for the characters themselves. So for Lord characters, it's strength 5 4 attacks. For hero characters, it's strength 4 with 3 attacks.
Yep.
Because those are the values that we make for output scoring.
Yeah,
Those
that's what
values.
we've compared.
Yeah, they're
the
the ones
strength
we
and
compare
attacks
to, and they're average. Well, they're basically average for a choppy lord.
Yeah.
Basically average for a choppy hero.
Choppy hero.
Yeah.
So when we say output, this is just compared to that generic stat line of strength 5 and 4 attacks for a Lord.
Because we can't compare them to a generic version of themselves, because they are the generic version of themselves.
The baby version of themselves, because the Bloodthirst in this book has very baby legs.
He does.
They're very babyish. What they got? They got any weird names?
Bloodied Ones.
Nah. Deathbringers of Khorne. That's a cool name.
name.
Anyway, on to the Bloodthirst themselves, because we're going to start with them. The biggest and baddest of the generic greater demons.
Yeah.
Because they are up there. And he comes in with a competitive rating of 16 out of 24.
Pretty good.
He's up there with that's the sort of rating that the good chop heroes
That's the
get.
top
Yeah.
choppy
Good
character,
chop
yeah.
lords
Yeah.
rather.
The
Carl-
good chop.
Yeah, like Carl Franz, he got that sort of score. I think Archaon wasn't far off that sort
Far
of
off
score,
as far as
yeah.
I'm aware. I think Grimgorm was maybe up there.
Tyrion, I think.
Yeah.
The sort of ones that you look at and go, yeah, they can chop.
I think the Green Knight was that sort of.
Yeah, which you'd
level as
expect.
well.
He's pretty
Yeah.
choppy, isn't he?
Possibly. Anyway, we get them with 4 for outputs, 4 for special rules, 1 for synergy, 1 for risk, 4 for survivability, and 2 for cost. My notes are on this next page. So what did we say?
Synergy and risk is
Yeah, he's a big glass hammer.
Yes.
He is a big glass
Well,
hammer.
he's
Not
not, he's not really sort of glass hammer, because he
He's
is quite
tough,
tough.
He's the only great demon with a natural armor, though.
He is. He's got heavy armor.
He's got heavy armor.
yeah.
He's toughness 6, which is solid. He's obviously got the 5 up from being a demon.
Yeah.
He's got MR2. Very
He
good.
does
I
have
think
MR2.
they're surprisingly survivable, and they don't have to weather it for long because then they're in because they
Yeah.
fly.
They do fly. He said he will tear anything apart in melee. That he
Yeah,
comes
he
in
will.
contact. The only thing he'll ever pause for is the biggest of dragons, and the most
Yeah.
tooled up of combat characters.
Yeah.
Even then, he go in and think, "I'll have a good shot. I'll have a go at it."
Yeah, and he's tough to deal with back with the high weapon skill and the toughness.
Weapon skill and ballistic skill 10, obviously.
Classic.
Obsessed.
Initiative 9 and
Yeah.
6 attacks.
7. He's got additional hammer.
7 CI
Got
additional
an
hammer as
action
well.
whip.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
Mr.
he's
Whippy.
really good.
Mr. Whippy.
They, yeah, they.
What the downside they have against all the other great demons is they're not wizards.
That's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was going to go, but that's what I was about to. I was reaching for with their lack of kind of synergy for the army is.
Yeah,
is
they do
painful.
nothing.
They
for
do
the
nothing.
army.
For their mates.
Bar give them a leadership 9 bubble.
18-inch inspiring resolution
Yeah.
9. Yeah, that's the only thing they do. Risk they have to make their points back in
Yeah.
combat.
Yeah,
which is where they're susceptible to, not often susceptible, but they can be taken
Well,
down.
if your opponent doesn't have artillery, then
Oh,
realistically, combat is the only place they're going to kill that Bloodthirster because he's got
Yeah.
3 eyeball save.
Yeah.
Real war teams,
Yeah,
magic,
spells,
and everything
it's
like that. They're really solid. They are absolutely terrifying to try and fight.
Oh, I think they're 1+ in an all-corn army.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the
Absolutely.
only other options are Demon Prince, which go on in a second, but yeah.
Yeah,
Terror,
yeah.
Fly and Terror, really good.
Yep.
Gold standard combo.
Also, I said James said, as Scott said, so Magic Res 2.
Strength 7 on the charge.
Strength
He's Demon
7, yeah.
Khorne.
He has
Very good.
gift allowance of up to 100 points.
Yeah.
So you get a good combination of anything
Yeah.
you want to there.
I know we're gonna. Greater gift is big here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fishing for
Fishing
so
for rolling. What 5 2-up armor save?
5 is a
Yeah.
12 arm save,
Yeah,
yeah.
so fishing to try and roll for 2-up armor save. Obviously, you're always fishing with greater gifts.
Yeah.
And that I don't mind. I know you're a big proponent of double greater gift on a greater demon to give you 2 shots at getting the 2-up armor.
I do like it.
And we'll
Because
discuss
there
the
are
weapons
others.
later,
There
won't
are
we?
other greater gifts which are very good. One is rubbish.
We'll go through these.
but
We'll go through these in a
you've
sec
got,
when we get to
I would
section.
say 3 others that are very good on a Bloodthirster specifically, and you can always swap it.
Yeah.
We'll get into those in a second because
Yes.
that is a section of his own because that will be a long one in itself.
Oh yes.
So that's the Bloodthirster. Really good, really choppy, absolutely terrifying.
And as you said, 1+ in an all Khorne army.
One
I
plus
think
all
so,
Khorne
yeah.
army. Yeah.
A Bloodthirster of some flavour is 1+.
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, if we've got the 4, just the Demons of Chaos is the only Bloodthirster you have available. There are other options if you go down that route. But
Yeah,
we'll
if
get
you
to those.
Look to the End Times books.
Yeah, we'll get to those in another deep dive.
Yeah, in about 5 or maybe more than
Couple months.
8 deep dives.
No.
Oh no, but yeah.
Nowhere near that.
And then we go, and then we go into the next lord and the only other generic lord we have, which is the Demon Prince
Found
of
him.
Chaos. Does he have any weird names?
Eternal Blasphemies.
Which is blasphemies.
Blasphemies.
Not blasphemy.
Demon Princes are eternal blasphemies.
I would say not an eternal blasphemer.
Maybe.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, possibly.
Anyway, he gets a rating of 14 out of 24. A slight drop off from the older Bloodthirster. Gets there for 3 for outputs, 4 for special rules, 1 for synergy, 1 for risk, 4 for survivability, and 1 for cost. We have given this Demon Prince R1's Chaos Armour and Demonic Flight.
Natch.
Because
Yeah.
I really don't know
why would you
wouldn't.
not? I mean, movement 8's nice, but
Yeah, I can maybe see you not giving him fly. Maybe.
you'd always take the Chaos Armour though.
I would always take the Chaos Armour, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I would always take the fly 100%. I think I would take both.
Yeah.
But I don't see me leaving the fly. I think fly is so powerful because it stops you being sort of intervened on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, the Demon Prince and Demons of Chaos book. Obviously, you cannot help but compare it to a Warriors of Chaos Demon Prince, which I think really puts this one in a bad light.
Yeah.
It does because
That's because it is objectively worse.
It is
than
objectively
the Warriors
worse.
of Chaos Demon Prince.
So the Demons of Chaos Demon Prince has obviously demonic, so it gains demonic instability, which means it can be killed with combat res.
Yeah,
which
it's
is where
not
the-
unbreakable
which
like
is-
the Warriors of Chaos.
The
one is.
Warriors one is just you have to kill it straight up. You have to do it.
Which is hard because it can also have a 1-up armor save.
It
the
can
Warriors of
bear
Chaos
armor
one.
save. It has
It has magic items,
magic item
which are a
allowance.
lot less random.
It has a lot more access, and it has 75 points of chaos powers and gifts, the
Gives-
same as this one has 75
75 of
points.
demonic
of
No,
demonic gifts.
the Warriors of Chaos is 100
Oh,
points.
it's 100 points.
100 points of
and
gifts
then it
chaos.
gets 25 points of magic items.
Yes.
On top.
Yeah.
And
Whereas this
the-
only has
This
75.
just
the
75
gifts and
points of
choices.
gifts.
So
So the gifts here, you have to roll. You can't determine what you're going to be getting.
Yeah.
You can't foresee it. You can't foresee it.
other than picking the definite swaps
Yeah.
and sort of always playing to that,
I
but I
mean-
think you're missing out on
Yeah.
good options.
on
when you
options.
do that.
An ASF sword isn't bad on him. If you want to go down
No,
that
no,
because
he's not
because
bad on him at
unlike the Warriors of Chaos one, you can take a 50-point magic weapon on this guy. The
Yes.
Demons of Chaos, the Warriors of Chaos can only take 25 points of magic weapons if they want to,
Yeah.
whereas this guy can take 50 points of magic weapons. So that's a
Yeah.
difference for them.
Equally as good as it is on the Warriors one, sort of striking's good on
Sort of
this guy.
striking. Your sword of ignores armor saves. You want to go down that route. Sword of plus.
Yeah, he's probably strong enough at strength
Sword
6.
of plus 2
7 on the
attacks.
charge.
I think is that.
That's
That's
40
40
points.
yeah.
I like
yeah,
that
you
one.
go in that one as well.
Do you like that one? 7 attacks, very nice.
For me, I know we talked about comparing him to the Warriors of Chaos Demon Prince, and I think there's value in that
Yeah.
because it's obvious that he falls short. But for me, I can't take a Warriors of Chaos Demon Prince in this book.
No, but you can take a
it's
Bloodthirster.
irrelevant.
You'll
But I
take
can
a
take a Bloodthirster,
Bloodthirster.
and that's the comparison for me that really shows this guy up.
Yeah.
They got these 1 less weapon skill than the Bloodthirster, 5 less points of ballistic skill.
Doesn't
Obvious.
matter. Stop pointing out ballistic skill.
Stop pointing out things we're not paying points for. Please continue.
A same strength, 1 less point of toughness, 1 less wound, 1 less initiative, 2 less attacks.
Yeah, because the additional.
So this is where I'm going to get into the nitty gritty. You give him the 4-up armor save. You give him the wings. Scott did the calculations and the numbers earlier, and he reliably informs me that's 315 points.
Correct.
315. Now my basic Bloodthirster's 400.
Yep. Correct.
So 85 point difference. I'm getting 2 attacks, 40 points.
Yeah.
You
Well,
pay
there's
40,
a sword that does
you
that.
pay
So.
40 points for that. 20 points is what you pay for an attack. Wherever you can purchase an additional one, that's what you pay. So drop that off. So there's 5 points remaining. In that 45 points, I've also got an additional
initiative
wound. Now the additional wound is huge. You'd pay 35 on a good day for an additional wound.
Roughly 5
Even
points
the
wound.
books that give it to you cheap are 35. If you take it from the vampires, it's 55.
Which is
Too many, but 35. So okay, so we've got 10 points. Now for 10 points, I've got an extra point of initiative, an extra point of weapon skill. That's the 10 points spent. They're worth 5 each.
Yeah.
I've got an extra point of toughness.
That's got to be another 30 points.
I think normally that's a 35 pointer when you buy it. Even if you said it's worth the same as say an attack or a point of strength, which is 20. You're still now up.
20 points up.
Magic resistance 2. That's 30 points to purchase from the main rulebook.
Yep.
And crucially, you can't actually get it any other way.
No.
So
no.
you can't get it any other way. So in this book, so you've got that built into the Bloodthirster. So at the minute, we're already kind of the Bloodthirster's already better valued by somewhere around 40 or 50 points. Without us trying, and he's also a large target.
They're both large target.
Oh, is he? Prince is a large target.
This is another one.
I suppose at least he gets the 18 inches by a presence.
So the Daemons of Chaos Demon Prince is large target, or the
Which
Warriors
is
one.
weird.
Warriors isn't, because the Warriors one crawls on the ground, mate, like a snake.
Yeah, but I mean, either way, you're already 40 points to the good.
Yeah.
And quite frankly,
I think it's fall short for the Bloodthirster. He's
too many points.
You do have 1 point better armour on the Demon Prince.
You certainly do.
5 points.
But I think one of the big problems with that is that you're always fishing for the 2+ armor save.
You're always going to be fishing for 2+ armor save.
Yeah,
so I'm not sure that. I mean, the 1 point is useful, but I think you'll be offset a lot of the times by the 1 point of toughness you've gained.
Because toughness 5, in my experience using Demon Prince, is you are susceptible to handguns, strength 4 in combat. It's really big. It's fireballs.
Him being a large target as well. They're both large targets. That means that stuff like handguns, which are ordinarily not that scary, become a huge problem for him. Fireballs, Shem's burning gaze on a basic level, they become big problems for him. You know, there's not a problem for the Bloodthirster. Because he's tougher and he's got fireball too.
This one can't get, say, a dragon helm or anything like that to stop deflaming attacks. They really just lackluster in the Demon's book.
Even if you take the Warriors of Chaos comparison aside, point for point, the Bloodthirster is at least 40 points better. Point for point. So take a Bloodthirster.
And if you are taking as a Demon Prince of Khorne, you're losing out magic as well. You lose out on the magic.
You can't take the magic. Obviously, you can't with the Bloodthirster either. So.
No, you can't. But yes, that's the Demon Prince of Khorne. That's Demon Prince of Khorne.
It is indeed.
They're the Demon Prince at the end, but they're just not as good as Bloodthirster.
That's the thing. They're not bad, but they're not a Bloodthirster.
No, and that's the problem. It's all going to come down to opportunity.
Right, so then we're going to move into our only generic hero we have today, which is the Herald of Khorne. Surprise, surprise. On foot. He's going to be on foot for this one. Who comes in competitive rating of 13 out of 24. Still, it's not a bad score for a combat hero.
No,
it's still not bad.
He's a pricey combat hero.
They are.
Yeah, he is.
So he gets 2 for outputs, 3 for special rules, 1 for synergy, 1 for risk, 4 for survivability, and 2 for cost. So when I'm talking about them, we spoke about them briefly a few times throughout the show, and we have the Locust. So Demonic Locust, they are, as we said, buffs that the heralds give to the units they're in.
Yes.
Demonic Locust, you always take the highest grade Locust you can.
So each one has a lesser, a greater, or an exalted Locust.
Yeah, and the highest one will always take precedence over the other one. You can't have multiple Locusts in a unit.
Well, you can, but you only get the effect of the higher.
So that's why I said if you're taking a Blood Throne, don't take any of the Locusts, because if you take the biggest Locust on the Blood Throne, it'll overpower everything else.
Or if you take the little Locust on the Blood Throne, and then you take the bigger Locust
one
in the
unit,
units, you've completely wasted the Blood Throne.
So, and then there's 3 Locusts, got a lesser, greater, exalted. For Khorne, we have the lesser Locust of Abjuration, which is magic resistance 2.
And that costs...
How much that costs? All of these are very expensive.
That costs 30 points.
So 15 points too many.
Because you've already got magic resistance 1.
Which you've paid 15 points for, so it should just be a straight step up, and it isn't.
We have
terrible.
We have the greater Locust of Fury, which grants you Frenzy.
It does, and that is 60 points.
And then you have the
That's not even the expensive
No,
one.
then you have the Exalted Locus of Wrath,
Yes.
which grants you hatred.
Very good, but 75 points.
That is ludicrous.
And right back
That is.
earlier, guys, we had a chat about the size of bloodletter units.
Yeah.
Right at the beginning of this Khorne element of this
We
deep
did.
dive.
Yep.
And this is why. If you take 40 bloodletters and put that herald in there with the 75 point locust, you have effectively paid
Just
under
under
2
points.
points a model for hatred, which is still very expensive on 14 points per man models.
Yeah.
But better than
you
taking
have a
it
unit of 20.
on 20 and
Yeah.
paying almost 4 points a model
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, you I said you always. That's why you want to take the bigger unit of bloodletters because you only have to ever buy one locus for your units. You don't want to buy multiple 75 point locusts.
No, you do not.
Or loci, sorry.
For me, competitively, I think the middle and the top, that's the frenzy and the hatred, are both workable.
I always go for the hatred because I don't like being led around and I think you need to hit more rather than more attacks. I
Yeah,
know,
that's
I think
fair.
you've said in the past you're a big proponent of the frenzy itself.
I probably would talk a really good game about the frenzy, and then a week before my list
Take
submission for
hatred.
a GT, take hatred.
Yeah.
I like hatred because it's consistent, and consistency is always what you want to breed in a competitive
And
army.
you are skill 5 for a bloodletter as well, so you are recently going to be hitting a lot of things on 3s.
And that's why I
so
might.
3s are rather.
Yeah, that's why I might
Not
be
listed.
tempted to take the
Round skill
frenzy.
5.
Because I think on the balance of play, I'm going to miss a third of the time. So say if I had
Yeah.
20 attacks, I'm going to miss about 7 of them. If I had 40 attacks, no, re-roll, sorry, I'm going to
Yeah.
hit 4 times extra, maybe 5 on a good day. So I might get sort of 17 hits. But if I had the frenzy locust, I start with 40 attacks. I'm probably going to get 25 hits
Yeah.
on the 3s. So I might be tempted to look at the frenzy just on the fact that I'll probably end up, just averagely doing more hits.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, the thing is, though, you won't go from 20 to 40 attacks.
No.
You'll go from probably 30 to 40.
Yes, yeah.
So actually the difference is going to be
the difference will be will probably mean you end up hitting about the same.
Roughly the same.
So then the question is it worth saving 15 points and having the damage potential of rolling above average for a turn and getting like 38 hits?
Yeah.
But you also got to look at the fact that you could be led around by the units as well by Chaff.
And
Yeah,
that's
that's another
where, when we talked in Chaff, I talked about how much I rate Furies in
Yeah,
the corner
because they
army.
can stop you
Because
having
they
to do
can
that.
fly and they stop you.
They
over
just
too
jump
far.
over the units itself.
Yeah.
I said I would have probably always take which is a massive unit of bloodletters with Wrath to give him hatred. The Herald himself is pretty tasty stat wise. Weapon skill 7. I won't mention Blister skill because
Thanks, Max.
I get shouted at because of it.
But you use the time.
Would be quick for me to say it. Yeah, weapon skill 7, strength 5 base, strength 6 on the charge, toughness 4, 2 wounds, 3 attacks. The attacks are a little bit low for this guy. I reckon they could have been
I thought
4.
that, to be fair.
They are a little bit pricey though. They're 100 points base.
And you've
They are
given
the
them
most expensive of the heralds.
2, haven't you?
I think I give them 2 because I think if you're in
I think they probably are the right cost.
I think they are the right cost for it.
I don't think the locusts necessarily are.
No, the low.
I think the problem is always. I think if it was me, I would have done the locusts a different way. I would have probably said for every herald you purchase, you can bless a unit at the start of the game at a cost of X per unit, and you put it into the unit's cost.
X per model?
Yeah,
or-
per model. Yeah. So I'd be like, 1 point per model for hatred.
yeah.
So for each herald, 1 unit gains access to hatred.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit convoluted, but I think I would have done that so that I didn't have to stack all these points on like one place.
Yeah.
Because it's a huge risk when
Yeah.
the guy's not that tough with not that great a
2
save.
wounds, toughness 4.
He's going to want to
5
challenge
save.
a lot.
Yeah.
Going into it for a little bit as well, the guy can also be mounted upon either a Juggernaut or Khorne or a Blood Throne, which we've spoken about. The Jugger is probably the best out of the 2 of them by a country mile.
Yeah.
And this is where we'll be discussing the character escorts. This is where we start to see it happen now because the Herald of Khorne and the Juggernaut, that's pretty scary.
Do
Yeah.
the locusts affect the actual mounts?
I think it's just models. Is it just models?
This model and all models in this unit.
Gain hatred, so
Yeah.
yeah, I'd say it
Yeah,
does.
have the hatred special or have frenzy.
Yeah, so if you do take the Locust, it does affect the Juggernauts themselves, so Frenzy or Hatred on the Juggernaut is very
I have to
good.
look in the cavalry section of the rulebook to be certain.
I think it says models rules affect the entire model unless it specifies otherwise, which is
Yeah.
why Wild Riders mounts get
Mounts
frenzy.
Get frenzy, yeah.
Because it's the same thing with Stoical Frenzy or Skull Crushers. The model gets Frenzy from that spell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so then. But so I mean that's cool. I suppose it's helpful in that way.
Yeah.
I think
That's big. It gets pricey. The Juggernaut itself is 50 points.
Yeah.
So you are paying. You're starting to pay a lot for it.
I do like them though because they get a third wound on the Juggernaut.
They do get a third
wound.
And I do think
they
that
get a better armor save. They get 4 up save.
4 up armor save.
If you're not taking on artillery, this is bold, ladies and gentlemen. But if you're not fighting artillery, popping them on the Juggernaut and sticking them in the unit of bloodletters anyway,
Yeah.
I think can still be really viable.
They fit in the unit
They-
as well, don't
they
they?
do,
They're
yeah.
not incompatible.
Yeah,
So
No,
they can
they
still
do.
fit into the.
They will. They'll take up
the thing.
six
Yeah.
point spaces. So they go
Yeah, I
in
like
on the
that.
corner like that, and as long as they're not getting sort of actively targeted out
Yeah, by like cannons.
by like the cannon,
Stone throwers.
you're effectively saying, well, cool, I've got that extra point of armour.
2 points of armor.
2 points of armour. I've got the third wound on the
Yeah,
guy.
the extra wound is big.
And I can probably still challenge out on him.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably where I see the mileage in them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so really good. As I said, really good character delivery system. Well, he's a really good character, so stick him in the unit of bloodletters.
Yeah.
Or if you want to go for cheapness, just take the locust that you want and take a battle standard bearer.
I think all the heralds are really strong actually for.
They
yeah,
are.
yeah, it's
all
worth
the
saying. All of the
heralds
generic
stats.
heralds can also be battle standards.
Yes.
Yeah, I think they're all
25
really
points.
good choices.
They're all good. They all help out
Yeah,
your army
to-
in some shape or form.
To try and have a couple in your list because
Yeah.
they are good fighters and they really add punch,
Yes.
consistent punch
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
your front line.
But anyway, we're going to move from the generics. We're going to go into our first special character. And that is the baddest of the Bloodthirsters. So we had the Bloodthirsters being the baddest of the bad Great Demons. And then Scarbrand is now our baddest of the bad Bloodthirsters.
If by that you mean he has a worse rating than a Bloodthirster.
He does.
The Wrathful Reaper, the Drinker of Blood, the Exiled One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He should be exiled
He is.
to a shelf on your cabinet.
Oh.
For a game.
He has a nice, I like his
I
model.
love
mate.
his model.
His model's
It's
great.
brilliant.
So Scarbrand, this is the big bad Bloodthirster. He gets a competitive rating of 14 out of 24. So we're now doing outputs, so we are now comparing these guys to the generic
Returns a classic
A
output.
Bloodthirster.
profiles for the Bloodthirsters. So 1 for outputs, 3 for special rules, 3 for synergy, 1 for risk, 4 for survivability, and 1 for cost. And we're giving him -1 in rules because one of those rules does affect your opponent's army as
Yeah.
well. So the Mad Lad himself, he has 3 maxed out stats. 2 of them are actually useful.
Weapon skill and initiative 10.
He's Bliss skill 10 as well.
Yeah, I knew that was the non-useful one. I'd work that out.
So he beats out the regular Bloodthirster's measly initiative 9. Obviously, you have to have 1 better than that. So what does he do? What's good about him? So he has 8 attacks. They ignore arm save and have hatred.
Have 8 attacks, yeah.
He has a strength 5 breath weapon, and he can never lose his frenzy. He has magic resistance 2 and causes terror. So he has a lot going for
Well,
him.
if he's got 8 attacks, he should be 1 point higher on the rating. Should get 2 for output.
Possibly. He might be 15.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
might,
he should
yeah.
be 15.
I thought he only
15.
had 7. Sorry.
My bad, guys.
No, he's Slaughter and Carnage are paired.
Yeah, paired weapons ignore armor saves.
Yeah.
So he's an absolute monster in combat.
He is really
you,
scary.
You
in combat.
don't want to fight him at
No,
all.
that breath weapon's really good as well.
Yeah. So it's really good. MR2, same as a regular Bloodthirster.
Yep.
High weapon skill, the weapon skill initiative won't make a difference.
No.
Unless you're fighting like Tyrion, maybe, for initiative. But I think they're the same initiative at that point, aren't they?
Unless you're
George
fighting
starts first, he goes
another
first.
Bloodthirster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then it will matter.
Or a Keeper of Secrets.
Yeah, he goes at the same time as a keeper.
Yeah.
Is it Keeper of Secrets initiative 10?
Yeah,
Yes,
they are.
weapons go 9 initiative.
Yeah.
The
They're the
opposite.
other way round. Yeah.
Anyway, so
He's also got heavy armour like a normal
yeah. He has a
Bloodthirster.
5 arm save, he has his 5 ward save as per normal.
Yeah.
He's, in all those, really good. But then we'll start to look deeper into the model. He does give hatred to every model on the board.
Yes, he does.
And that's not a typo, that's your opponent's models as well.
It's friendly and enemy.
Every single model, every unit, every dog, every horse has
So
hatred.
the question is, do you think you can outmuscle your opponent? And where I see him having potential is in like dropping him into like a Nurgle army.
Yeah.
And being like, yeah, I've got hatred on all my Nurgle dudes and they're tough enough to swallow.
to take
And
the
then
hits.
-1 to be hit.
The
So
hatred
you might
back.
get the rerolls, but you're still not hitting me a lot.
That's what I mean. So I think
That's
that
good,
helps. But realistically,
In a mono-corn army, if your opponent's getting more chance to hit your dudes,
Yeah, it's not good, is it?
you're going to be taking a lot of
It
saves.
does, settle the debate for which locus you take.
yeah. Frenzy.
If everyone's already got hatred, you might as well take frenzy.
Take frenzy. So, yeah, he's also a lot of points.
He is. He
He's
is 610 points.
610 points.
210 more than above first. Up.
Yeah, 110 more than a fully gifted up Bloodthirster.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's got what's his breath weapon?
Strength 5.
He's
No,
very
that's
good.
very good.
Yeah.
Breath weapon.
As Max said, his paired weapons ignore armor.
Just straight. That's the only
But I
thing
mean, it's almost irrelevant at the
Yeah,
at the
'cause he's
level
strength
he's at.
6,
He's
7 on the charge.
7 on the charge.
The only thing we have against the last thing we have against him though is that due to him being absolutely wrecked by Khorne,
He did get wrecked.
he does not have fly.
He didn't
No.
check himself and then he wrecked himself.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
wrecked
got
himself.
his wings got tattered as he got tossed across the
And what's
entire
his
realm of
movement
chaos.
now?
He's on
8.
8.
Still pretty
quick.
quick, but you know what? We're
Still
back
lots
to
of
that
fly.
conversation we had earlier about the Demon Prince. He can be blocked off now, and he's a lot. Of
He can also be
points.
he can be chaffed up, and chaffed up means he be redirected because he's
Yeah,
frenzied,
he's
and then he
frenzied.
can be flank charged by something.
And is he stubborn?
He's not stubborn, no.
No, that's a huge problem. That's a huge problem for another video.
Yeah.
When you look at what he's sort of a direct comparison in terms
comparison,
of his
yeah.
output, because
Yeah.
those other bloodthirsters have easily as much, if not more,
Oh, yeah.
output than him.
Yeah.
So
And they fly.
And they fly.
if you get Scarbrand into combat, he will tear it apart.
Yes.
It's just getting into combat and getting into a favourable combat that's going to be
That
the
he
real
doesn't
trick.
just get challenged out on.
Yeah.
I mean, all the Bloodthirsters are going to get challenged out.
That's
to be
why
honest.
you've got to
You have to
those
have
like
him in it,
heralds
like
on
with a
there.
unit.
Yeah,
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 with
champs.
a unit.
You take a unit
And being
flesh out
frenzied
to
doesn't help him there.
I say you can't take flesh out if they don't have champions.
No, you want Skull Crushers maybe with the champ there for the
Yeah,
Bloodthirster.
yeah.
I like, again, we're going to talk about Skull Taker in a minute, but I like Heralds on Juggernauts in that role as
Yeah,
well.
absolutely.
So Skybrand, really cool, really lovely model, just not particularly good in a competitive sense.
Neil.
And then moving on, we have Skull Taker.
Bronze champion, the Blooded Wanderer, Slayer of Kings.
Slayer of Kings is a
That's a sword, isn't it?
No, the Slayer sword.
Slayer of Kings is a Archaean sword.
Archaean sword, yeah, sorry.
Which this is on a side point here for a bit of fluff reason. In the previous book to this, they gave Skull Taker's first name, which was Uzul, which is the name of the great demon that's bound to the Slayer of Kings from wielded by Archael.
Ah, that's cool.
So I don't know whether that's just a mistake they made or if that's a genuine thing they did. But the in the 7th edition book, he was named Uzul
I
Skull
think
Taker.
that's probably a mistake.
It's a mistake.
Yeah.
But then Archaeon's great demon is called Uzul in his Slayer of Kings. So I thought that's a really nice little piece there. It's really cool. I love
Very
that.
cool.
I like that sort of thing. Anyway, back
Feels
to
like that could be a question in a future Big Warhammer quiz.
Could be.
who's best at Archaeon Skull Taker?
No!
Who's the better Uzul? I mean, Archaeon get HKB'd. Anyway, so Skull Taker, we have mounted upon his Juggernaut
Yes.
because, in our
Yeah.
opinion, that is the best way to run him.
Yeah, he's really good on the Juggernaut.
So he gets a competitive rating of 16 out of 24, the same as the Bloodthirster.
Yeah, and I think he's easily as useful to your army as a Bloodthirster.
So he gets 4 for output, 4 for special rules, 1 for synergy, 1 for risk, 4 for survivability, and 2 for cost. It's a tasty score for our boy.
He is.
And what does he get? So he's on his Jugger. So he has obviously all his rules. He has the lesser locus of abjuration.
Yeah, the worst one.
So he has the worst one. He has
Magic
a
resistance 2.
magic resist 2. So he
Yeah.
has a threat wall save against any magical attacks.
Yeah.
He has skulls to skull for his special rules. So he has to issue and accept challenges, like a Warrior of Chaos.
Yeah.
And then he has the Cloak of Skulls, which gives him a 4+ armor save,
It does.
combined with Scaly Skin 6+, which grants him a 3 armor save.
Yep.
But then when you mount him on your Juggernaut, which gives you +2 to your armor save on top of that, you're now looking at a 1-up, 5-up Lord, because 5-up dude, or Lord to be honest.
Well, he's got 3 wounds.
He's got 3 wounds.
Yeah.
He's weapon skill 9.
9.
Weapon skill 9,
4 attacks.
4 attacks,
He
initiative
is
9.
literally-
He's just a
A
lord.
1-up, 5-up Lord. This
Yeah.
guy is now Chaos Lord.
He's now better at Castle because look, Castle's ain't got skill 9.
Yeah.
So he's better and higher initiative 9 as well.
Yeah.
He comes with hatred.
Yeah,
He does come with hatred.
How many points is he in that loadout?
250.
With the jug.
Yeah, 250.
So he's basically less than a Chaos Lord for points as well.
A Castle base is 210. I think.
So yeah, I mean, so by the time you've like
Added
done
in the
any
points of
mountain
the
or
jugger,
something,
yeah.
He's a beast.
he's
yeah.
he's a beast.
And
So
he's a hero slot choice.
he's a hero slot choice.
Brilliant.
So
Not
one-
competing.
1-up, 5-up save. He must always issue in 6 challenge, I said, but it doesn't matter because when he's in a challenge, he has flame attack and HKB.
Yeah, a bit of heroic killing blow.
He gets a heroic killing blow
Well,
in a challenge.
Yeah, so he always has flaming attacks in Killing Blow with the
Yeah.
Slayer Sword. If Skull Taker is fighting in the challenge, attacks made with the Slayer Sword also gain Heroic Killing Blow. Oh, you see that, dragon? I'm going to cut your head off.
So my point here is you aim him at the biggest and baddest character that your opponent has, try and get the challenge off, especially if it's a monster.
Yeah.
But you're in a monster, you got
Or mounted on one.
more minus than what he is.
I mean, he's going to build a lot of He's got potential to build a lot of overkill in challenges.
Yeah.
You basically look at him and go, I'm having you.
Yeah.
You can run him on his own.
You can, because
Yeah.
he's
very
safe.
survivable.
He's probably going to be against whatever he's fighting. He's probably going to be going first, unless it's always strikes first.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, but even then, they're probably not getting rerolls against Initiative 9.
Nope.
So he's
probably hitting him. Well, almost certainly hitting him on a 4.
Yep. So he's going to be hitting back at Initiative 9, Weapon Skill 9 with Hatred. HK being a challenge.
That's terrifying.
You don't want to fight him.
No.
Nothing wants to fight him in a challenge.
And I think he's the perfect partner for Mr. Bloodthirster.
He is.
Absolutely.
Because they go in together, and he's like, oh, you know what, Mr. Bloodthirster?
Do you want a challenge?
I'll take this challenge, mate. I've got it. Yeah. And then he scores you big overkill because he's a beast in the challenge. And Mr. Bloodthirster's all like, how are your unit? And you're all like, my figures.
My face.
You're like, put all your figures off.
He's like a really cool character. He's really cool.
He's got a lovely model.
The new model is lovely. The new model also fits quite nicely on a Juggernaut.
Yeah.
Actually does.
I thought it would.
You have to chop off. I think he's got
his skulls.
He's got a skull beard sort of thing going on underneath. You got to chop that off to actually fit him on. But once you've done that, he actually fits quite nicely.
I didn't even dislike his old model.
No, I think his old one was.
The old was quite nice with the flame, the big
flaming skull.
He's still got the flaming skull, but it's more detailed now.
He fits nicely on a Juggernaut. If you take one of the ones that's slightly rearing back, you can literally just stand him on the midriff and he's like pointing off the back. It's quite cool.
So, as we said, he's a little bit pricey. 250. It's not the end of the world.
I don't think it's too much. If you compare it to like a Herald of Khorne on a Juggernaut who would be 150 without any gifts.
185 with the less locus of abjuration as well. So you got to take that.
180, not 185.
I thought they're 35 points for the less locus.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't if you were just having a Herald of Khorne. You'd probably go for one of the others or nothing.
I don't think you'd take. I don't know if it was going to run him like Skull Taker though. The Magic Res 2 is good on him.
If you run him on his own, yeah, it's not bad. But I mean, yeah, even if you say 180 for what, 20, 30 points, 20 points, he's well good.
Well, he's 250, isn't he? So
yeah, 20. Points. Oh yeah, sorry, 70 points. 70 points. You've got a 1-up armor save, not a 4-up.
He is really hard to kill.
Yeah.
He's got 3 wounds.
Mm-hmm.
Toughness 4.
He's a machine in combat. He's biggest danger. He's suffering a bad combat res result and dying to instability.
But that's where you twin him up to the old Bloodthirster and have him go.
And that's why that's going to work so well for you.
Good, bad cop, worse cop.
And I think that's the thing is, for 250 points, try and build me a character in any other
that will do that.
That will do what he does.
Yeah.
Build me a demon worthy of God.
I mean, we just talked about Chaos Lord.
Yeah.
He doesn't even get on the Juggernaut for those points.
No, and if I'm honest, Skull Taker will take on the Chaos Lord and probably just do him in.
Yeah, he's a big problem.
And unless you're fighting, say, the Threat Wall Save, the Chaos Lord, in which you have to you take a little bit longer than usual.
Yeah, but the Threat Wall Save one probably isn't going to kill you back.
No,
he's
not.
going to struggle too.
So no, that Skull Taker, really good, really competitive.
Very good.
Very good.
Very rarely say that, but he is.
We also need to mention he can take the option for Blood Throne.
Yeah, don't.
Don't. It's cheaper.
Don't.
Yeah.
The Blood Throne is 40 points cheaper on Skull Taker than it is on the Herald.
Purely because the locus he has is trash.
It's pretty rubbish, but just don't. It makes him too easy to kill.
Yeah. It's a bad choice.
So that's Skull Taker. Really good. Really like him.
We do.
And then we're going to finally move into our final special character and our final unit of Daemons of Khorne. And that is Karanak.
The Hound of Vengeance.
Oh, I've been waiting for this one.
The Endless Hunter. Talon of the Skull Throne.
Really? You've been waiting to actually slate on this guy, yeah? So he gets a competitive rating of 11 out of 24.
Ugh.
Dog.
Hey!
So
Terrible.
He gets a 2 for output, so that's compared to a Herald of Khorne because he's basically a Herald. He's a dog Herald.
Yeah, he is a doggy Herald.
He's a doggy Herald. 2 for output, 2 for special rules, 1 for synergy, 1 for risk, 4 for survivability, and 1 for cost.
That one shining light of survivability.
Oh boy. Why is the goodest boy the worst character? And there's one word for why he's the worst character here.
First one in your special rule set.
Yep. That is ambushes.
Yeah, it is.
He doesn't get the option to buy it. He comes with ambushes.
Yeah.
To be fair, it doesn't up his score by like a point.
No, it'd be the case you could take him and then put him, say, a Fleshhound unit or into a Bloodletter unit.
He'd be really good in Bloodletters.
Because he comes with the Greater Locus of Fury, so he has Frenzy.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, he comes with Locus.
That is good.
He's he is a Herald.
Yeah.
And he himself has Hatred as well.
Yeah, he does.
Warlord stuff.
Really good.
Toughness 5. That's got 1 more point of toughness over everything, apart from say a Bloodthirster.
He'd be really good in the unit of Bloodletters.
Yeah.
Because he's got MR3 as well.
MR3 gives him Frenzy. He's got Hatred. He's pretty tough.
He's a brass collar of vengeance, of bloody vengeance.
He does fall down on the just not having any armour though.
No,
Yeah,
he's
he's
6
got
of arm,
skin
6 of arm safe.
Yeah.
So the brass collar of bloody vengeance is the same as a regular collar of Khorne, which gives you magic res 3.
Yep.
But if a wizard within 12 inches miscasts, they suffer an additional strength 10 hit.
Yeah.
So
and that is only enemy wizards.
That's
You can
awesome.
have him with friendly
Only
wizards.
enemy wizards.
I maybe would have liked that to say any wizard, as Khorne just hates all wizards.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I mean, it's,
So sort of side swipe at the little
Yeah.
Zench Birdman
Yeah.
10 inches away.
absolutely terrifying for any hero level wizard.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
A hero level wizard is just.
They're just probably dead.
But even then, if you like, it's scary for like a lord level because
Oh, yeah.
you're down to 1 wound at that point, and Karanak goes in and just chops them up. Because
I mean, Karanak could chop him up from 4 inch, probably.
yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean,
But
he's...
But then Karanak also has the Pray of the Blood God rule, which
Yep.
Scott will read the nuances out for me.
Yeah, so at the start of the game, before deployment, nominate 1 character in the enemy army. This is the Quarry of Khorne that Karanak has come to claim. Karanak rerolls failed hit and to win rolls against the chosen character.
So Hatred is a bit moot, but then you get the rerolls throughout the subsequent rounds of combat.
Mm.
The reroll to wound is very nice.
Yeah, he's Web Skill 7 as well.
Yeah,
Really good.
man, he's the same with skills of Herald. So
Yeah, Bliss Skill 0 though.
sad times.
shame.
He can't shoot a gun.
No, he can't.
Oh dear.
yeah, there's so much promise in him.
Yeah,
I
There's
always
so
look
much
at him
promise.
and think there's an option there, but the ambushes is
It's
a
just
huge
the ambushes.
drawback for him.
screws him.
I
Massively.
also think the fact that he can be stomped on when he's the points he is.
can be
200
stomped on.
Points.
Yeah,
Rough.
he is a lot of points. He is 195 points.
To put that in perspective, Festus and Throg the Troll King are 190, 195 respectively.
No. Oh, Festus. Sorry, I thought you said Epidemius.
No, Festus.
No, and
Sorry.
Throg, yeah, they're both...
Throg is
Yeah.
Throg is the same points as him, and we all know how good Throg is.
Yeah, and I just think he's just a bit short.
5 points less than Skull Taker on foot.
Skulltaker on that big juggernaut, and
Yeah,
it's
he
such an improvement. They
Yeah.
just needed to be monstrous beasts.
They did.
needed to be not stomped.
There's a lot of stuff in this
Yeah.
book that needs to be monstrous beast that isn't a monstrous beast. The other one being Screamer Revenge, but we'll get to those in a set.
Shit, I forgot about it.
We'll get to those at a later date. But Karanak, he is just let down by ambushes. That's all he's let down by.
That's his biggest letdown by a long, long way, yeah.
I've basically said the lack of an armor safe, but
Yeah.
beyond that, there's not much. He's actually.
You say that like, 60 of his points are the Locust. So that is because the Locust is overcosted. So 135 points.
The problem is you can't make the 60 points with his locust
No.
up realistically, because
No.
how big a unit of flesh hounds do you want to put him in? Because
Yeah.
that's really the only thing you can do with, and you've then got to pay the 10% tax for ambushing
Yeah.
him as well.
And then
So-
that unit might not even turn up on
So
the board.
actually, if you took a unit of say 9, you've basically paid 27 additional points to put them in, hope they arrive, and then you've paid 3 points a model for the 6 points a model
yeah,
for
almost
the
6.
hatred, which is
You're making them nearly 40 points a model.
yeah, it's just madness.
Yeah.
Really
And
good.
they're not going to justify it. We talked
No,
earlier about them
no.
only being okay. They're not going to justify it. That's his
No.
problem. His problem is just thanks to ambushers, he has no place. Whereas if you could stuff him in a unit of bloodletters, it's game on.
Suddenly, yeah,
Game
looks
on.
a lot better.
Yeah, I think so.
Unfortunate because again he has a really nice new model.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another really nice new model. But that ends us off.
Ends us off.
Ends us off
Max
with
does
the.
not do worse.
Max can't word well. Ends us off with all the units and special characters from the book. So
You could say we're about to bow wow out. Dog joke.
little bow wow.
Oh,
Silence is definitely.
no, I'm loving it.
Anyway,
Well, on that note,
Chris Howe is going to watch that and be like,
this guy knows. Anyway, so now we're going to
He's gonna
leave.
love that.
We're going to leave all the units behind, and we're now going to move into probably another long section, which would be demonic gifts. So you're back, and now we're going to move into demonic gifts, and these are the reasons why it's so hard to make a competitive character video for demons.
it is.
Completely the only reason. As you purchase an exalted, greater, or lesser gift, then roll on a corresponding table.
You do.
So it's completely random. So what we're going to do this is go through the list, the tables themselves, including the Hellforged artifacts, which is like their generic items they can take,
Yeah.
and then discuss the specific items that you can swap for depending on what god you are aligned with. So lesser gifts first. These cost 25 points a model. Or 25 points a go on the table if you want.
25 points a roll, if you will.
A roll.
So if you're a Grey Demon, you can buy 4 of these bad boys. If you're a Herald, you get to buy 2. Or a Demon Prince gets to buy 3.
Yeah.
Is there a cap to how many of the same one you can buy, or is it just points?
Is it?
No,
I
it's just
thought
points.
I thought at one point I'd seen something that said, you can only buy the same one twice or
Yeah,
something like
a
that.
single model can have no more than 2 gifts of each type. I've never read that.
2.
Because I never buy lesser gifts.
Yeah,
really.
well, see, I don't mind the lesser
I
gift.
think-
They can be okay,
not a bad little
but I
table,
prefer
to
the
be
great
honest.
gifts.
I think the lesser gifts are better than the greater gifts.
Yeah.
Generic wise.
I think you're wrong.
Well,
Let's find out.
so you purchase these at the start of the game when you
put-
generate spells. You roll,
generate them.
You generate
You
them,
purchase
yeah,
them
like-
when
Yeah,
make your
you
list.
purchase them, yeah, and then at the start
But
of the
you
game
roll
when
at
you
the start of the game.
like when you generate spells,
Yeah.
you roll on the
Yeah.
table, which I think is actually something that is a weakness for Demons players because they lose the kind of the secrecy element.
Yeah.
Like, I can
Yeah.
bluff out that I've got a really good save on a character, and I'm known to do that. Or I can bluff out that I've got a really punchy magic weapon on someone,
Yeah.
and so maybe they're reluctant to challenge or whatever. But Demons don't have that luxury in such.
On the
No.
flip side, you do get to tailor your army. A slightly tailor your army
Potentially,
with the magic weapons you take.
Yeah.
So there is that flip side to that randomness of it and the fact you roll for it at the beginning of the game.
Oh yeah, I suppose because you're changing it at the very.
Yeah.
I've just realised what you're saying.
Yeah.
I get
Because
that.
I've done it when I used Keeper of Secrets. When I used it specifically, when I used it at Cardiff Crusade, she had a greater gift. I think she might have had a greater and a lesser, but she definitely had a greater gift. And I think I swapped that for 3 different swords in my 5 games, depending on what I was fighting.
Yeah.
So that aspect of it is quite strong.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
because
a-
if
that's a
you
kickback,
fight
isn't it?
wood elves, there's not really a lot of point going for the no armor safe sword.
I suppose overall, then, do you think that its bonuses outweigh its kind of potential drawback?
I think it's a double-edged sword, if I'm honest.
I think, and what I do with it, I look at the god-specific gifts which you can swap for,
Yeah.
what are they called?
Hellforged artifacts.
Weapons of the Dark Gods.
Right. Okay. Apologies.
I look at those and I go, right, so I'll pay 50 points for this one.
Yeah.
I think the Axe of Khorne is the Khorne.
Blade of Blood or Axe
the
of
Axe of Khorne is the 50-point one for
Yeah.
a great gift. So I look and I go, right, I want the Axe of Khorne on my Herald. So I'm gonna give him a greater gift. I'll roll on the table because there are some that are really good and I'll probably keep over it. Equally, there might be some matchups where I'm like, actually, that's not very good. I'll go for a different magic weapon. But I generally base it around the fact that I'm going to have the Dark God weapon for that gift. And then sort of build around that. And just, if I get something a bit better, I go for something a bit better.
So for you,
So I
Much better.
think, yeah, so I think they probably do outweigh the cons. The benefits do outweigh the cons.
yeah. So for you, it's a pro.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I can see that argument. I genuinely, I can see that
yeah.
argument.
But I think if you're specifically rolling and going, right, well, I want number 3 on this table,
yeah,
9 times out of 10, it's not going to
No,
be
yeah,
what I want.
that's
and-
not the competitive
No.
mindset, is it?
No.
Let's be honest.
Anyway, moving into the actual lesser gifts then.
Yes.
So I said 25 points. Obviously, as we said, you can swap it for a 0 result. So the 0 result for lesser gift is a 25-point magic weapon from the main rulebook.
Yep.
Or for Khorne, you get a swap for the Blade of Blood.
You do. And it's a different weapon depending on which god.
Yes.
Should we do that then? Blade of Blood.
We're going to go through that in a second.
Oh,
We'll go
okay.
through all the
Stop
specific...
jumping the gun.
Yeah, we're going to go through all the lists
Wanna
first.
know now?
We're going to go through all the lists first, and then we're going to talk about the god-specific weapons
Right,
themselves.
cool.
So Scott will go through this, so I can't remember the at the top of my head.
Why is it not in your cheat sheet?
Because you have a book.
Unacceptable. So number 1,
Literally the cheatiest of sheep.
number 1 on the lesser gift table is Skill Swallower. When the demon slays an enemy character, it immediately increases one characteristic of your choice by 1 point. I think this was FAQ to say that it couldn't be wounds.
Yes, I think it was.
That would be very
I
good.
think it's wounds and late leadership that you can't increase.
Yeah,
Oh.
Is that in the FAQ? I don't.
I think it is.
I remember it being somewhere that you can't
Might
increase
be,
wounds.
I'm not sure.
Might be our FAQ.
Yeah.
It's in somewhere that...
Put it this way: it shouldn't be allowed to be used on wounds
Yeah.
or leadership. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So expect to get buffed down on that if you try
Yeah.
that.
So with your character, especially your Herald of Khorne, you had Killing Blow, so you could possibly get a lot of characters killed, just not even in a challenge, just outright
Yeah, it
in
doesn't have
combat.
to be in a challenge, just
Just killing blow something and up your attacks, because Khorne Heralds are a little bit lackluster in attacks as it is.
Yeah,
We're only 3 attacks, so you could up their attacks there.
yeah. You don't have to kill them. Obviously, not really good for the Khorne one, but you don't have to kill them in combat. It just says you have to kill an enemy character.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think overall for me that's a bit rubbish.
Yeah, it's not great.
No.
Number 2 then is Cleaving Blow. The demon's close combat attacks have the multiple wounds 2 special rule.
Good on not Khorne.
Not because you've got Killing Blow.
No, you
So
It's still good, but you're looking at Killing Blow, aren't you?
don't.
Yeah.
Well, on your Bloodthirst, he doesn't have Killing Blow with all those 6 attacks or 7 attacks, whatever it is.
Yeah, but then
Yeah.
he's probably got enough attacks to just kill a character.
Well, it helps him go through like monstrous inventory like ogres and everything like that because he can't thunderstomp something, so you might as well
True.
just take as many wounds as he can off an ogre.
Yeah, again,
True.
I suppose it's one that you'd roll, and a lot of matchups you'd probably leave that at home, swap it.
Yeah, but actually against ogres,
you might go,
okay.
yeah, I'll keep that.
Or just
yeah.
more monstrous cav heavy armies like Warriors of Chaos
Demigriffs.
or
Demigriffs, yeah.
Throg Trolls armies.
Yeah.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Number 3 is Crushing More. The demon has impact hits D3.
More or mass?
Mass, not more.
Got ogres on the brain.
Yeah. Crushing Mass.
Impact it's D3. So
Well, it's going to be best on the Bloodthirster, isn't it?
Because he's got the highest
Because he's
strength.
got the strength. And he's more likely to get the charge because
Yeah,
he flies
quicker,
and he's quick.
Or a
Well,
Demon Prince. not
D3
terrible,
strength
a
5
Demon
impact hits from a
Pick the
herald.
Prince then, didn't you?
Prince. Yeah, that's
No,
true.
problem, really.
True.
D3 strength 5 impact hits from a herald isn't all bad.
No,
It's not bad.
I wouldn't pay 25 points.
No,
for
not
it.
one. But
I'd swap it. At that,
In
on a
fact,
herald,
I'd probably go far enough to say I don't think any of the heralds I'd go for that on.
No.
No.
I think it has itself somewhat of a use, but it's not good.
I think he's better on the greater demons, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Number 4 is Dark Blessing. The demon has a 2+ ward save against the first wound it suffers in the battle.
I mean, it's good on a Grey Demon again.
I like this on a BSB as well.
Yeah, I like
Just
it on a
I
BSB
like
herald.
just for that little that almost it's almost like a third wound.
Yeah, I'm more looking for like cannon defense.
Yeah, I think it's strong for
Yeah,
cannon
also good
defense
on
on a
It's
monster.
basically a charm shield at this
I
point.
just think it's
very similar.
a lot for 25 points.
Is it wound? Is
Yeah.
it wound or a hit?
Wound.
So you don't,
Wound.
you can't just take it off with a single skink blowpipe or higher
No.
larger shot like a charm shield. So
No,
you,
they've got to physically do
Yeah,
it.
you have to
how
actually do the
wound
wounds here.
And that's where it's good with the Bloodthirster because if it's low strength, he might pass the armor save first,
Yeah.
and the ward save's
Yeah.
obviously done afterwards.
Yeah.
Oh, no, would he lose it then? He'd lose it, wouldn't he, if he passed the armor save?
2 ward save against the first wound suffered in the battle. So it doesn't say unsaved wound, so I think it's wound suffered.
I think he would.
Yeah, he probably would.
I'd say you roll it when you roll after you roll to wound, then you get the 2+ and then you get your armor and ward afterwards.
No, because it is
No,
a
because
ward
it is a
save.
ward
Is it a ward save?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah, so it would be if you
Ah.
failed your armor, you'd get the 2+ ward save.
But if you
didn't,
pass the
you'd lose
armour, you
it. You just
have
wouldn't
still
get it.
counted as, yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I just think for 25 points it's a bit much. But then I say that now, and then when you get him cannoned on turn 2 and he mans a 2-up ward save, you won't ever feel like it's too much.
No.
It's a 600 point model.
It's
And,
like
and
400
again,
point Bloodthirster.
it's one of those that you can always
just swap out.
swap it.
Well, I think this is what
if you're
we're
not
saying.
fighting
isn't
an
it?
army with loads of cannons or artillery.
Just swap out.
Well, this is what we're
Yeah.
saying, isn't it? Fundamentally, most, you're looking at the list and saying most likely swap, most likely
Yeah.
keep.
Yeah,
aren't
swap
you?
out
This
for
is
like
probably a
ASF
swap.
sword or something like that.
That is another a good generic item, which I'm imagining we'll go through at some point. It's good generic for.
Possibly.
If not, then we'll go through
we'll
it. at the
go.
end
We'll
of
go
this
through.
tape.
We'll go through. Yeah.
So 5 is Noxious Breath. The demon has a strength 2 breath weapon. Armor saves cannot be taken against wounds caused by this attack.
Again, on Bloodthirsters you can fly. Flying template weapons are good, but strength 2 is not good.
Yeah. Again, depends what you're facing, but I'd probably swap it.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
If
but,
you're fighting
I
Empire
think
Knights.
I think for a not Khorne army, because I think there's other armies that can potentially do things for toughness.
I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of them, plus Khorne get through armor or killing blows anyway.
Yeah. So they
So
don't
yeah,
really
I'm
struggle
not,
with
I'm
it.
not too
Probably
keen on
swap it.
it. Bretonians hate it.
Yeah. Number 6, Unnatural Swiftness. The demon has the always strikes first special.
Good.
Just
Just always good.
Just
If you're
good.
a chopper character, that's good. In fact, it's probably the best result on the table for a Khorne character.
Yes,
Because they
I'd
keep
say so.
their Hellblade, if they're a
Yeah.
herald, which means they keep the killing blow,
Yes.
which is really strong in combination with always strikes first.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like I said, I like the lesser gifts. I think there are uses. They are pricey at 25 points per roll. So,
Yeah, I
I
think
don't think they're bad.
they can feel pricey if you constantly get ones that are no good for you.
yeah. But then obviously you cancel them out. So, like as we said, the ASF sword was good for a generic swap out.
Yeah,
like
that's
Bloodthirster.
always a good.
So you can only swap out from magic weapons. Can't
Yes.
swap out over magic items, unfortunately.
No, just magic weapons up to 25 points.
So ASF sword's good.
Yeah, +1 strength
So
or attack swords.
Sword of Swift Slaying, Sword of Might, Sword of Battle.
Sword of striking, +1 to hit.
Yeah,
Not bad.
Also
Yep.
pretty good.
That's a good little one. You don't.
That's
Are there
basically
any more?
it.
You don't need
But there
to-
are, but they're not any good.
You don't need to look at Warrior Bane or anything
Or
like that.
Tormentor Sword.
Because you are magical attacks, where you don't need to just
Yeah.
apply for
Shrieking
magic sword.
Blade's another one that's
Yeah.
useless.
Because you cause fear.
Because you cause fear.
Yeah.
So those are the 4
Definitely for
Those
lesser
are big
gifts.
4.
for the lesser gifts, and
Yeah.
then obviously the blade that Max wants to do later.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, he sounds like bitter.
I do, because we just did all the other swords.
Oh, fine, we'll go for the Blade of Blood now then.
I'll take the page.
I'm gonna skip all my stuff here.
Let's do it now.
I write the D5s. You follow the schedule. Mr. Fundamentally over there. Anyway, okay, we're going to do Blade of Blood now then, yeah?
Yes.
Here we go.
It's,
We've done all the other swords. Why would
So,
we?
I got it.
So just so I'm clear, we can't. No, I'm just. This
Yeah.
is just a genuine check thing. We can't swap a 50-point gift for this weapon.
No.
It's a specific. So unlike the others, where you can purchase if you go a greater gift, you can swap for a
15
generic
point
magic point
sword.
magic
Yeah.
sword. You could buy cheaper than 50
Yeah.
points, obviously. But in this one, he's only available
specific.
from a lesser gift.
Yes,
Yeah.
so
So if you
one
want
Demon of
it-
Khorne can instead choose a Blade of Blood.
If you want it, you've got to roll on the lesser
On
gift
the
table.
lesser
gift,
Yeah. So it was just to
That's fine.
be really clear.
So Blade of Blood is a Hellblade so it's killing blow with +1 strength.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all it is. So it's actually not that bad. I actually quite like it.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it's okay.
I can see on a Bloodthirster because you get strength 7 killing blow, which he doesn't have. You don't have killing blow
Really
as,
strong,
yeah.
as naturally. But then you can just take on a Herald as well because
Yeah,
strength 6 all the time, strength 7 on the charge for a Herald is pretty terrifying.
yeah, very good.
I mean, we just said one of the best swords was Sword of Battle, Sword of Might,
Right.
+1 strength.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically
This
that
is that plus killing
plus
blow.
killing blow. Obviously, you've paid 25 points, whatever you take. That's the
Yeah.
that's the difference here, isn't it? Because in my head, I'm like, well, I've already got a killing blow weapon, so
Mm.
really, I only want to pay 20 points for this
Yeah.
because I've already paid for my killing blow. But because I've got to pay 25 points, so even if I take Sword of Might for +1 strength, I'm actually paying 25 points for
Yeah.
it in this army. So
Yeah,
I've got
I
here
think
that Bloodthirster, the amount of attacks they have, they are probably going to murk any killing blowable model without much difficulty. But so good word.
no, it isn't.
Murk. It's the back of their throat.
stop trying to be cool with the kids.
I'm hip. I'm hip.
Stop it.
That is a thing that not hip people say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But anyway, I like it particularly on the Herald because I like strength 6 all the time.
Mm.
Yeah, I think it's really good. I don't know why.
Overall, it's just.
I don't know why I wouldn't take that over Sword of Battle.
Yeah, it means you can have
Sword
two.
of Might, sorry.
It means you can have two though.
No, I
It's
can
like
have two.
two
Yeah,
Heralds.
that's the point. Isn't it? That would be my
Strength
first
six,
one. Then my second
Yeah.
one would probably take Sword.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think it actually mentions it, but I don't think you can take multiple Blade of Bloods.
No, it says one
One.
demon of Khorne can swap
Is it one demon? Ah, okay.
Yeah.
It does that. I didn't
It does.
read properly.
You did not.
Anyway,
Shocker.
we're gonna go for. Thanks, mate. We're gonna go from my obviously grammatical errors here
Yeah.
and move into the greater gifts.
Greater gifts.
And they're 50 points a 50 points a roll.
Yes.
Sorry,
Not a model.
not a model. No.
Because you can have two.
You
Yeah.
could.
And there is particularly one in particular that you're always going to be aiming for here, if I'm honest.
Do you know what? I know that we all say that, but I think we're doing the chart a disservice.
Yeah.
The chart's really strong.
Yeah.
It is.
I
but-
think this is the chart for me.
I think there's one that is absolute rubbish.
Yeah.
yeah, it is.
Yes.
Which you're going to talk about now?
Yeah, which I am actually. We'll go through the chart now. So number 1, Unholy Sacrifice, the rubbish one. This demon can choose to lose D3 wounds with no saves allowed at the start of any of your magic phases. If it does so, not duds, add D3 +1 dice to your power pool.
50 points for possibly killing your Herald.
Probably killing your
Probably
Herald.
killing-
Two-thirds of the time.
Or doing the work for your opponent on your
On
great
your
Great
great
Demon.
demon, yeah. Why would you?
This is pretty much an always swap.
Yeah.
I cannot think of a scenario where I would go, you know what, in this very niche, specific example, it's worth keeping, but it isn't.
I
you
can
know?
see it being used if it was less points. And you're on the cheap on like a Herald of like Zinch or
The
something.
problem is you still surrender like the 100 victory
Yeah.
points for the Herald. don't
Yeah.
you? Yeah, this is rubbish. Swap,
Just swap
that.
it.
That's the swap for the 0.
It is
100%.
0 all the time.
Number 2, though, is Corpulence. The demon has +1 wound. Very
Nice.
good.
Standard.
Really good.
Yep. Very good.
Pricey for 50 points.
Yeah,
but
I was going
good.
to say, it does feel expensive, but still good.
Well, literally half the chance of a cannon one-shot in a Bloodthirster.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
That's huge, isn't it?
Yeah.
Makes it impossible for a Bloodthirster to one-shot a... what are they called?
Guo.
Yep,
So,
that's the word. Great and clean one.
Yeah.
This isn't the Nurgle one, but it's good on everyone, basically.
It stops cannon one-shotting one, not a Bloodthirster.
Yeah.
So the Bloodthirster one-shotting a Guro, does it?
Cannon.
Cannon can still one-shot Bloodthirster with this because they only have 5 wounds.
Yeah.
But obviously...
If you have it... We're not talking about Gulos this time around.
We're not, no, but it is good on everyone.
Yeah.
But as to reiterate, it does half the chance of that happening.
Well, I will say though as well, if you're fighting an Arcane Unforging, I think it works out you can Arcane Unforge this wound.
You can.
You can, because they count as a magic item and specifically an enchanted item, unless they state otherwise.
And the Arcane Unforging's list of things it can't unforge does not include additional wounds from demonic gifts, which I really like the idea of hitting him, doing a wound on his armour save, and
if he had one.
If it's the Bloodthirster,
Bloodthirster
good. Demon Prince.
and then stealing his wound. That's a 2-wound swing, baby.
It'd be like just a kick in the teeth at that point, and you're taking all those wounds.
But,
You really would.
But yes, that's very good.
Yeah. Number 3, Incorporeal Strike. Armour saves cannot be taken against the demon's close combat attacks.
Again, really good.
So for me, Khorne though, I'm not sold on this one.
No, you have quite a high strength on the charge, and you have the killing blows to get through armour saves. They're not always an issue for you.
I mean, I wouldn't ever on a Bloodthirster.
No.
Because you're definitely high enough strength.
I might on the Herald.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if I think there's better.
Well, if you need the Ignores armor save and you don't get this, you can just always swap out for Obsidian Blade.
You can, which is nice.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know what you'd swap this for on a 0 that's really going to be better. I suppose you go +2 strength sword.
Yeah.
Because you're more likely to wound then,
And you
and
still
you
get through
still
loads
get
of
through
armour.
lots of armour.
Yeah, even your basic
the other
strength
option,
7.
of course, say you're fighting an army like Skaven. Well,
Yeah,
again,
true.
we're back to that kind of mix and matching. But the other option, of course, is additional attacks. Sort of strife.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
No? Sword of Battle, Sword of Strife, Sword of Bloodshed.
Bloodshed's the big one, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So yeah,
You can tell we call them the right names all the time.
Sort of +1 or +2 or +3 attacks.
Yeah,
Yes.
but I think in general, you're right. I think this one's a little more niche for Khorne. I think this one's probably better for Slanesh actually.
It
I
is.
know the Slanesh
Yeah.
got the armor piercing, but they start at strength 4, and so you're not actually
Yeah.
reducing as much. Whereas these guys can get killing blow for armor, and they've got potentially strength 6 even on
Strength 6, strength
7
on the
Heralds,
charge,
as
your
we
basic
talked
guys
about.
are strength 5. So
Yeah.
you don't need it, but if you need to, you can.
It's
get
there,
some
isn't it?
bits,
It's
Yeah. Number 4 is Soul Eater. At the end of any phase in which the demon causes 1 or more unsafe wounds in close combat, it regains a single lost wound.
And your demon, your great, your Bloodthirsters and your Heralds are going to be causing wounds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they're
think
going to get
that's
some
solid.
wounds through.
Not
I
bad
think
on a Herald BSB.
Yeah, I think it's better on a Bloodthirster because he's got more attacks. He's got more wounds as well.
He can probably survive the hit back.
Yeah, well, he's got more wounds to have taken a wound but have not died.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
Herald, you've got to have only taken 1 wound.
This is better on the raw combat Herald's way, on the raw combat.
Your non
yes.
BSBs.
So
already.
it's better on your your combat gods. So
Yeah.
Khorne is probably going to be the very best for this one. I'd argue.
Definitely.
They're very good. And then 5, which is the one that everyone fishes for.
Yeah, number 5 is Unbreakable Skin. The demon has a 2+ armor save that cannot be improved.
It's good on any demon.
Yeah.
You look at a great
Big,
demon.
small, red, green,
BSB,
blue,
sick.
purple.
Choppy Herald, sick.
Yeah.
You look at a Bloodthirster with a 2-up arm save,
Insane.
5-up ward save. That is terrifying.
Which is a 3-up against magic spells.
3 ward save, yeah. You got
Insane.
rest too.
He's
Really strong.
Good luck killing him. And number 6, Unholy Flurry. The demon has +2 attacks.
Good on a
also
Herald.
good on both again. Good
Yeah.
on
Yeah,
both first
they are
though. I mean,
very
he's going to tear chunks out of units.
He will have
Yeah.
9 attacks.
9 attacks.
9 attacks.
Absolute machine.
Yeah.
Again, Herald helps Herald out with their lack of, sort of semi-lack of attacks.
Yeah.
You want to
Yeah.
have at least 4
You could
attacks.
get a 6 attack Herald like that with the right locust.
Yeah, you can. You can. Or 5 attacks with the rerolls to hit, which is very good again. All killing blows and all that sort of fun stuff.
Yeah, I like it. Good.
As Scott said, this table is good, but as you said, people overlook everything that's not the 2-up armor save.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people can do. I think people look at the +1 wound and go, wow, that's really good. And it is. But you are paying quite a lot for it.
50 points, yeah.
If I had a criticism of the chart, and I think this is a really good chart for me, this is the one I always take.
I definitely think it's the best of the 3.
If I had a criticism, it would be that there's quite a bit of crossover with generic magic weapons.
Yep.
On this one, and it's +2 attacks. There's no armor saves. Is there a third one that crosses over like that?
No.
No. So third of the results.
The non-magic weapons, but unbreakable skin, you've got armor silvered still.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So magical items,
well, but
but
you
they
can't take that.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's the crossover on two of them with two generic magic weapons. It kind of feels a little disappointing when I can zero them. But then I suppose that does give you the chance to say build around the idea of those results again.
Yeah, and it also it means you can keep any benefits from a magic weapon you come with.
You come with, which is where it's better on the Herald. So
yeah.
But I think overall this is a strong chart.
Strong chart.
Although, like you say, you do pay for the wound a little bit more than you'd like to.
Yeah.
But
also,
then,
to be fair, the +2 attacks, even on a Bloodthirster, you'd lose your additional hand weapon.
yeah, you would, yeah.
So it's only actually one extra attack if you take the sword of +2 attacks.
That is correct, yeah.
So if you roll the 6 and get the +2 attacks, you
are better off.
You are better off. So
cool.
Still relatively niche though. But and as ever, as we said, you can always swap this for a up to 50-point magic weapon, or Demons of Khorne can instead choose to swap it for an Axe of Khorne.
Yeah, the Axe of Khorne, it grants +3 attacks when in base contact with 3 or more models. I mean, this is more, in my opinion, more Bloodthirster territory than it is the Herald, because of the size of the base. But the 25mm base does get in base contact with 3 or more models quite a few times.
Well, any size base would, because you're going to be corner to corner most of the time as well.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't if you were fighting like monstrous cav.
Monstrous infantry.
Ogres.
Yeah.
But I mean, against like any enemy infantry, any enemy cavalry with a 25mm square, you'd get it on the Herald.
But then I also think it's not. I don't like it on the Herald because you do lose out on Killing Blow.
You do.
You lose out on Killing Blow, and whereas the Bloodthirster can make use of all those additional attacks, it's weapon skill.
Basically, on the Bloodthirster, what it does is keeps his additional hand weapon and gives him the sword of +2 attacks, if you like.
Yeah,
because it gives him 3.
Yeah.
He should be. Although, again, it's frustrating because it's that lack of consistency. It means he's less good against like monsters and chariots, like single model targets, where he's only going to get +1 attack.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Well, but
no,
again,
make a plus any attack.
You've got a magic weapon, you can't use pelt, you can't use additional weapon with magic weapons.
yeah, no, but doesn't he give him +1 attack for every model in
It's
base?
+3 if you are in base contact with 3 or more.
Oh yeah, so again, I'm not sure I like it very much at all. Then, if I'm honest,
I do like it. I do quite like
that.
it.
I think is why I prefer it on Herald.
Yeah,
because
I
the
agree.
Bloodthirster's got enough attacks to go into a unit. And,
Yeah, I think
like
so.
deck it or deck a character.
and I
in
think
the
I'd
unit.
rather just have one of the other gifts.
But if he's gone into like another greater demon or like a big monster, you want him to still deck it. So, which is why I think the sort of, if you can roll it, the +2 attacks, very good. If not, probably sort of +2 attacks.
Yeah.
Then you're still getting 1 extra.
So generic swords this time, I think we'll probably get around the agreement on it.
Yeah.
Obviously, the ones we said off the first list, you can still take.
You can still take.
You can still take.
You know, I know you're overspending on them, but you can still take them if you really feel you like that bonus. And for something like a Bloodthirster, the ASF sword is really hot.
Yeah. As is Sword of Striking.
Yeah.
Yes. But this time, Sword of Strife, Ogre Blade, also very good.
Obsidian Blade.
Obsidian Blade has a lot of value here for Khorne. One I don't think you'll hear people talk about enough, but I think particularly on a Herald, is incredible, is Sword of Anti-Heroes.
Okay, yeah.
Because you're probably going to be in a horde, you're certainly going to be in a big frontage unit. Any enemy characters in base contact with a unit, give him +1 strength and +1 attack.
Yeah.
So even if he only pops 1, he's strength 6 with 4 attacks. He's a machine.
Yeah.
Only got 1 enemy character in base contact with this
strength
unit.
7 on the charge, if he gets in there.
Really powerful.
Yeah, I think Fencer's Blade is also very good.
Your weapon skill's 7.
Although I think because you're 7, for me it's less good. That's
Extra attack as well. Because they're paired.
yeah, it's not bad. I think I'd probably go anti-heroes over it though.
Okay.
Because I can get the potential of strength. And if there's not a lot of enemy characters around, I find with that weapon a lot of the time, like something like a Khorne Herald's probably good enough that he doesn't miss having the extra stats. But I don't think people talk about that weapon enough. I'm a big fan of it, as we all on the channel know.
You do like yourself a sort of anti-hero.
Yeah, I think it's underrated.
So, as these guys said, probably it's up there with some good results on there.
Yeah.
I'm still torn. I still like a lot of the lesser gifts myself. That's just my own opinion.
I mean, so if we were sort of putting our 2 pennies worth forward as a competitive video, I'll happily go first. For me, a Herald BSB is a definite 1 greater gift for his 50 points. Bloodthirst is a toss-up for me. I would either go double greater, or I might go greater lesser. I might even, if I've got the points, go greater lesser lesser. I don't mind that because I like the idea of getting the ASF on him. Well, it's 100 points, the same as going 2 greaters.
Yeah.
I think both those options can be really good on the Bloodthirster.
Yeah.
For me, the Herald BSB is a definite one greater
Single
gift.
greater.
And I think if you're building just a choppy herald, just one to be cheap and slicey, then I would definitely go. At least I'd probably have one with lesser gift.
Yeah.
And then maybe if I've got the points, give him 2 lesser gifts. But I think I'd probably save the 25 and just go straight lesser, go Blade of Blood, or if I get ASF or something like that, keep that.
Going from what you just said, if you do take multiple from the same table, you do re-roll duplicates as well. That is worth pointing out.
The Herald does, but other Heralds can have the same, can't they?
Yeah, other heralds can have the same, but it's if you've got the same result on the same
table.
Yeah, so if I roll double ASF,
then you're not always.
I have to re-roll that result.
Re-rolling a re-roll after Eric.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree with you on the Herald. BSB Herald has a greater gift. Choppy Herald would probably have a lesser. I would probably want to up it to a greater gift and just aim for +2 attacks. Maybe ignore armor saves depending on what I'm fighting, or a 50-point weapon. But that would be the first place I cut points.
Yeah.
And for me, a Bloodthirster would have greater and a lesser.
Okay, yeah. So I like the double greater is really logically around fishing for the 2-up armor save.
It is.
Yeah.
But obviously I think greater lesser is
because
also
I think
very
lesser
strong.
you guarantee the always strikes first. I mean, you can do it with 2 greater as well because you just swap for the always strike first, or you just mean you lose an attack. But the lesser guarantees it and gives you a chance to keep that extra attack.
Sort of anti-heroes and the Bloodthirst is not a bad choice.
Also not bad.
Also not terrible.
Yeah.
But
these guys just make the most out of all the magic weapons you can take on them.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
they
do.
are probably going to be the most benefit because there's very few that are bad on them because they've got such a good initial stat line.
Generic stat.
Warriors, Bane, Tormentor.
What? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
they
Really.
are.
What
They're
about
rubbish
you,
on
mate? So
everyone,
you
to
sort
be
of
fair.
in agreement largely with us?
I am. As I said, I do enjoy myself a lesser gift. The idea of having the 2-up armor save from the greater gift is good, but I don't like the fact you got a 1 in 6 chance of doing it.
So Herald BSB, what would you go on?
It probably would be the greater gift, purely the fact that you want a save on a BSB. But on anything else, I do like the idea of like 2 lessers.
2 lessers, okay. And
Even-
Bloodthirster?
Bloodthirster, I still like the idea of 2 lessers as well.
2 lessers and a greater.
If I have the points for a greater, yes, but I think
So you'd prioritise
You'd prioritise the
I'd try
lessers.
to prioritise the lessers.
Wow,
Good.
that's bold.
He gives you some of the things like multiple points 2 I like, crushing mass I like, 2-up ward save I like fishing for that as well.
Yeah, it's strong on the Bloodthirster.
Yeah. So I prioritise a bit of save. You probably got some points out there. Because you got the cheap cannons and everything else like that. You're probably just maxing out.
Yeah.
You're maxing on the.
I think when you invest in a Bloodthirster in a Khorne army, he's so important. You probably should
do invest.
spend the points
Yeah.
on him. You probably should just go, you know what, I'll spend 50 more because he's either going to make or break the list for me anyway.
And 50 points.
And 50 points
Like
is-
blood letters. 4 blood letters probably isn't going to make a difference.
it's not even that. It's not even that.
No, it isn't,
They're ridiculously funny.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the Herald on the greater gift, I know we all agree on this, but just to make it really clear for you guys at home, that's just about making the BSB we're talking about now. That's just about making him live his best life, likely to get the +1 wound. Or we're looking for +1 wound or 2-up armor save.
He be
And
out
if
there
not,
one.
we're looking for the optimised sword for the opponent, and then saying the magical words every time you go into something you're scared of. My Herald BSB issues a challenge. So that's tactically what we're thinking when we talk about it like that.
Yeah, that's to be honest, I think that's another good option for the Fencer's Blades. Against the right opponent, you go, yeah, weapon skill 7's good, but weapon skill 10 probably means they hit me on a 5.
Yeah.
That can, because weapon skill 4 still hits weapon skill 7 on a 4.
But then you still got the possibility of getting a fear test through.
Yes, but for a BSB who you want to keep alive, who otherwise won't have a save, I think you want to just guarantee it.
What are you on about? 6 up, 5-up, mate. That's a save.
Who otherwise won't have a save.
Yeah, I think that's really what we're saying, though, isn't it? Ultimately,
Yeah.
so we're there.
Anyway, we wax lyrical on the greater gifts. Fish
Very
2-up
good
arm
tackle.
save. Never take the 1 result.
I honestly just thought we'd finished.
No, we're saying.
There's a whole other table that no one ever takes.
You've spoken as if that was like the end. You really concluded everything there.
I did. I was like, we're done, right? I forgot there's a whole other table.
There's one table that no one ever takes because it's too many damn points.
Way too many points.
This will tell everyone at home what order we filmed them in, won't it? Because I won't forget it on the others.
Well, who knows?
Well,
Who
maybe,
knows?
yeah.
Anyway, lastly we have the exalted gifts.
Oh yeah, I forgot about them.
These cost 75 points.
That's
a
why I
pop.
forgot about them.
Yeah.
That's why I segued us on to the gift breakdown.
You did.
It's also because obviously heralds can't take them because they're too
Yes,
expensive,
that's a
and
very
not many
fair point.
people take
Demon
Blade
Prince
Demons.
can take one.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Greater Demon could take
Take
one,
one.
and a lesser,
And a lesser.
basically, yeah. So
But anyway, these cost 75 points, and no one ever takes them because they're too many points for what they're doing.
Yeah.
So Scott will now go through what we have.
Yeah, so number 1, Aura of Disruption. Any dispel attempt you make while this model is on the table receives 1 extra free dispel dice.
I mean, that's not bad.
That's not bad.
that's really good for a Khorne army.
It is, yeah. I actually don't mind that, but actually...
I don't think it's 70. I don't know if I think
No.
it's 75 points. Oh well, maybe.
I think the loss of the Greater Gift on your Bloodthirster is too big.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Greater Gift. See, someone like Max who likes fishing for the Lessers though.
It would maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all right.
Number 2 is Sorcerous Lodestone. Whenever a spell is successfully cast by any wizard, roll a d6. This demon regains a wound lost earlier in the battle on the roll of a 5. Whenever a spell is miscast by any wizard, the demon instead suffers a wound on the roll of a 4+.
Trash.
Yeah, not good.
Why?
Dreadful,
Why?
and even worse in a Khorne army, particularly if you've gone down the Karanak route, where
Because
he makes you
he's
make
making you
miscasts. Just as a serious point there, if you think about that with the Karanak thing.
Does he make you take miscasts, or
No,
does
if
he
you-
just does a hit if
Oh,
you
is it
miscast?
just
If you suffer a
Yeah.
miscast,
Sorry,
take
I
straight
think-
10 hit to the noggin.
Oh, okay. Oh no, it
It doesn't make a difference, but it's still...
You are you yourself. You're taking away 1/2 of the chance of getting any wounds back for yourself. So you're not taking any casters. You're only relying on your
yeah,
opponent's
true.
casters
True.
to get your wounds back, and then your opponent will again.
And it's
half.
when the spell's successfully cast.
Yeah.
So again, you're trying to dispel enemy spells, right?
Well, it depends. 'Cause if you summon a damage spell, a lot of this stuff has magic rest. You could probably take the hits and let the spell go through and successfully.
And then,
Yeah,
hope,
but then-
and then hope you get your wound back. You
Yeah.
just lost.
Hopefully. Basically,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get something out of this, but
I
it's
think
hard.
it's better in Zinch, this one.
Okay.
There's more
more mileage for
more
like
chance of
Zinch.
miscast.
Yeah,
though.
okay.
Yeah, there is more chance to miscast, but they've got the better wall save protection, haven't
They
they?
do.
No.
They do. Real ones.
Oh, real ones, yeah.
Well, it's just better than not.
Better than not, really. Number 3, Bringer of the Swarm. At the end of every close combat phase in which the demon causes 1 or more unsafe wounds, a unit of Chaos Furies is created. The unit consists of 1 Chaos Fury for every unsafe wound caused. The unit must be placed wholly within 6 of the demon and cannot be placed within an inch of another unit or impassable
It's
terrain.
that second part.
Wait.
Hold
If
your
any
tongue.
model cannot be placed because there isn't enough room, or you do not have sufficient models, it is lost. Units created in this way do not award victory points. I'm now done. You may continue.
You can go.
No, it's just that second part, isn't it?
Or second, there was like 3 second parts.
Well, it's that second part where it says
must be placed wholly within
must
6
place
of the
wholly
demon.
within 6. Yeah, because the thing is that could be really potentially strong to stop you getting countercharged, but realistically, it's only going to protect the demon who's got it.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
only going to protect the Bloodthirster. You can't use it to save
I
it.
do like
They're
Freddy.
also not Furies of Khorne
No,
or
they
of
are.
the demon
They're
who
just
created them.
Furies.
They're just unmarked, which is otherwise impossible Chaos Furies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, see, that's another one of those glaring FAQ
Yeah.
areas that we need to put something in the chart. But
Yeah.
that shows you how rare that 75-point gifts are taken. I've never seen this.
No.
It's,
I mean-
I've never seen any Exalted Gift ever. Any
I
result.
have
I s-
seen something off the
Yeah.
thing you can swap for.
When this
Okay.
book first came out,
yeah, that's true.
when this
Couple of
book
yes.
first came out, I did see a lot of people take the exalted gifts purely for
The
one-
things-
For
there's 2 things.
Artifact.
There's 2 artifacts that we'll discuss.
3 possibly.
Oh, maybe 3 then.
Yeah,
Maybe
3.
there's one I've forgotten.
I always saw someone take just one of the swappable items for this. We'll talk about it in a second.
Okay, yeah.
I just think it's funny you can say like a unit of 1 fury.
Yeah, which is also, again, otherwise impossible.
Do you know, units of 1 would actually probably be more
Not bad,
competitive.
yeah.
Easy to
But
keep in 6.
he's stuck in leadership too though. She can't give you an inspiring presence.
Yeah, I, that's just a mess. It's just a hot mess.
A hot mess.
Moving on. Number 4 is Impenetrable Hide. The demon has +2 toughness. Really good.
See, again, it is good, but fundamentally,
Fundamentally,
as I haven't said it for a little while, fundamentally, I'll get the fingers out. The Bloodthirster, which is the thing that can take this realistically,
Yeah.
is actually quite hard to wound by most things anyway.
I say
The thing that he's most scared of is artillery, and the artillery cares not for your +2 toughness, sir, because it's
in a game in
Is
which
he 6?
yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
in a game in which anything can wound anything, having just and he's toughness 6 already. Stuff wounds you on 6s as it is. It doesn't make a
+2
difference.
toughness is about 70 points, so the value's right.
Pretty much right.
And it makes him a nightmare for things like executioners.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they're wounding on 6s
Iron
now,
guts,
which
yeah, I
is scary.
suppose.
Iron guts,
White
yeah.
Lions.
White
I
Lions.
don't care, they got trouble save.
You ain't,
Yeah, but-
you're not killing it though.
You ain't wounding him, so it doesn't matter.
No, but he's taking demonic instability tests every turn, and I've got a lot of static combat res to his. None.
No, you're going to roll some ones.
Yeah, you will roll some ones, yeah, of course you will.
With it, all of his attacks, he's Thunderstomp.
Yeah, of course you will. You definitely will. But, I mean, I think it's better to be toughness 8 than not. But
Yeah.
I'm not sure that. I mean, you shouldn't be fighting them anyway.
No,
That's really not where you
You should be tearing apart anything that doesn't have banner or
That's exactly correct. Yeah. So
Moving on.
Number 5, Massive Might. The demon has +3 strength.
Strength 9, Bloodthirster. Strength 8, Herald. Oh, Herald can't
Herald can't
take.
take it.
no.
Strength 9.
Yeah, this one for
Demon
me,
Prince.
he's probably already strong enough.
Yeah.
And again, to be like we were talking about earlier, Ogre Blade on 50 point makes him strength 8, strength 9 on the charge. That's more than enough. I don't think
Having that high of a strength in combat is a bit of an overkill.
this is very much
It's
an
an
overkill.
overkill.
Yeah.
And it's clearly 15 points too many. You're sort of effectively wasting 15 points against the Giant Blade,
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
exactly the same and just gives you the same.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's all right. You could take this, but I don't think you're going to ever feel the true value
No,
of it.
unless you're fighting like a lot of Khemrian War Sphinxes.
Yeah. Again,
Yeah.
Realistically, you're probably still going to wound everything on a 2. You would have done that anyway. You're just taking you're just taking the last
Few
point
more
or
bits
2
of
off
armour,
of
yeah.
armour. It's literally 1 or 2 points.
Yeah.
Why didn't you pay 50 and swap for the Obsidian Blade?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the
Yeah.
+2 strength sword and still take those 1
And
or 2
still
points
take
of
those
armour.
points off, yeah, and
Yeah.
save yourself.
On the
25
idea,
points.
on the idea of swapping for weapons, the exotic gifts you can't actually swap for weapons.
Yes, no, that's what I'm saying. That's why you
so
don't roll
you
on
just
the
take
chart.
a greater instead.
Yeah.
Take the greater and swap
Yeah,
it.
you can't swap for any magic weapon that's 75 points or less.
No, you cannot.
Lastly,
is doubly blessed. Roll again on this table, re-rolling further results of 6, and once on the lesser gifts table. The demon receives both gifts at no additional cost.
So that's nice.
it's a 1 in
1 in
six.
every 6 games you play.
Yep.
Yeah. Are you willing to risk 75 points?
Honestly though, I would prefer this to just be you roll on the greater and the lesser. I know you can do that anyway, and then you just buy a greater and a lesser.
Which for the same
But-
points.
Yeah, but I don't like these results so much.
I like the one
Do
result.
you know what I think you do with this table, and this is it for me, is you look at the items you can swap for,
Yeah.
you decide that you're actually always swapping for that item,
And
then
that's when you do it.
Then you roll on the table, and if you roll a 6, you get a free lesser gift.
Yeah.
That's what you've done it for.
Yeah.
That's the way to think about it. I rolled on the table, I got a 6, I got a free lesser gift.
Because I'm still swapping
Because
my
I'm still
exotic
swapping.
one.
Because when I re-roll on the exalted one, I'm going to 0 it anyway
Yeah.
and swap it for one of the items.
Yeah, 100%.
That's my thoughts on it.
Speaking of the items, then we have the Hellforged Artefacts, which
Yes.
are the Portal Glyph, the Rock of Inevitability, the Eternal Blade, and the Chromatic Tome.
Yes.
Cool.
What were the
And,
2 ones you was on about?
Each of these can only be chosen once per army.
I've seen 3 of them in competitive play.
I can guess the only one you haven't seen.
2 of them are hyper competitive, and then the FAQ for Triple Crown Wargaming for our events makes one of them pretty competitive, and the other one not so good. Basically, sorry, but it was too broken.
Yeah, it was.
It was just too broken.
Are we on about the Portal
So
Glyph
the
and
Portal
everything?
Glyph and the Chromatic Tome are the 2 that you saw a lot in competitive play, particularly in the G-Dub days, if you like, when you were sort of going through the skulls and
Yeah.
stuff. And we'll discuss those. I imagine Max will go through them.
Supposed to go through 'em.
The Eternal Blade I've seen in competitive play in Khorne Armies actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
okay.
do like the
Um,
Eternal Blade.
Okay.
So I've seen it there, but I don't think it's a good choice. I think it's not a great choice.
The
The
Rock
Rock
of-
of Inevitability is
It's just memeing.
it's all wrong for this army.
For this army,
It's all wrong for demons.
Yeah,
I
not
could-
even just Khorne, just
No,
demons.
just demons. I could give you 2, 3 really. I mean, it's a dwarf. The dwarf inside me is nourished by the Rock of
I mean,
Inevitability.
you can get it if you take Demon Analyze and curse yourself.
Uh,
Go
if,
large.
if I played Storm of Magic, I could get a demon ally in. Can they take gifts? I don't think they can take
I
gifts.
think they might be able to.
Or maybe then.
Chaos Dwarves would be the more law-friendly way of doing it.
Oh yeah, I don't care about that.
No, James only cares about winning.
You can't polish the law.
What a whack.
No, they're passing my crown.
Anyway,
Right,
we're
shall
going
we
to
go through 'em?
the Portal Glyph then, and this is wordy here.
It is. If your army contains the Portal Glyph, you can choose to keep a single unit in the Realm of Chaos instead of deploying it at the start of the game. The Portal Glyph can be placed in any of your remaining move subphases. If the bearer is slain, he must immediately place the Portal Glyph before being removed as a casualty. In either case, place a counter or other suitable marker within 12 of the bearer and scatter it 3d6, 6d6 if he was slain. If the counter ends up off the board or within an inch of a unit or impossible terrain, alter the scatter distance by the smallest amount possible to ensure the counter is placed an inch before or beyond the obstruction. Once the Portal Glyph has been placed, the unit in the Realm of Chaos can enter play through the Portal Glyph during the remaining move subphase of any subsequent friendly turn. When the unit does so, place it facing any direction, provided that the unit has at least as many files as it has ranks. The rear of the back rank is in base contact with the counter, no model is more than 12 from the counter, and the unit is not within an inch of another unit, impassable terrain, or the board edge. The unit can then move normally, but not march.
That's a lot.
Wordy.
For Khorne, it's not all
Pretty
good.
rubbish.
Yeah.
Well, it lets you basically lob an enemy unit, lob a unit behind the enemy is the idea, isn't it? If they've come forward.
Yeah, but they can't charge. You just get
Yeah.
shot.
And,
Well, yeah, but
and
they've
then
got
it
to turn
scatters
around,
3d6. So it could just scatter back
but
over.
you can't lose it.
No.
So
no,
it's
you
got
can't.
a.
You can't
It's
lose,
the
isn't it?
minimum distance thing again, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
But you're right. It could sort of scatter and end up like basically
Back
getting
where
charged
you
by
were,
a unit
yeah.
of enemy knights.
I mean, the only way it works, the only way if it does scatter too far, the only thing you got to support that is that you're flying Bloodthirsters, your Furies, your Blood Crushers, or your Flesh Hounds.
You could
Or your
you could
quick
potentially with Fury sort of place in such a way that it's very unlikely they'll end up
Yeah.
scattering out
Yeah,
too
yeah.
far. But so what people did when the book came out was they purchased a Grey Unclean one or a Demon Prince, not Khorne, I know, but I'll explain it in every video anyway. And they
He loves the sound of his own voice.
they
Yeah.
put Epidemus,
Yeah.
everyone's favourite accountant, into the realm of chaos.
And he could build up his tally, even
And
though
then
he's not on
he
the
built
board.
the tally and you had to kill the Guo, otherwise you couldn't even get at him. And then he come on, probably behind a building somewhere.
It's not even
you
that.
know.
You wouldn't even like.
Has to kill you if you
No,
think
the Guo just places it within 12,
Places it there.
and
Behind
then
the
he
building.
doesn't come out of it. He
Yeah.
doesn't have to come
You don't
out when
have
it's
to leave.
placed.
Oh, right,
He
okay.
may leave at any subsequent remaining moves
He-
unplaced.
he
So it
plays-
just stays in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, the long and short is you couldn't kill him.
Yeah.
And so you couldn't stop the
But
tally.
then we FAQ'd it, wasn't it? Or did
Yeah.
games
So
were...
that if
No, we have
we
it.
did it. If Epidemius isn't on the table, you don't get the
You
benefits
don't.
of
You
his
can't
tally.
stack the tally if he's
No.
not on the table. So if you put him in a portal glyph, you do not get your tally
No.
You
until
keep-
he is on the
You
desk.
keep
Not
Epi
at Triple
alive.
Crown event.
You keep Epi alive at all 200
And
points.
you know what? I've not been to an event where they didn't
doesn't do that.
make that ruling
Yeah.
because it's absolutely silly. But that you saw a lot. With
That's-
I mean,
that's
you
how-
are paying a Guo / Demon Prince tax for it, but for a tally that you can't stop, well worth it.
Yeah, I agree.
We'll talk about that in a
We'll,
Nurgle video.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in every video.
In every
we'll
video.
explain it in every video,
Yeah.
but I'm sure we'll talk about it more, and the tally more at least, in the Nurgle video.
Yeah. So the Rock of Inevitability.
Yes, one use only. The bearer of the Rock of Inevitability can use it at the end of any movement phase. Place a cursed bulwark, an obstacle up to 8 inches long, anywhere within 6 of the bearer. It cannot be placed on top of or within an inch of a unit, or placed on a terrain feature other than a hill. At the end of each of your turns, roll a d6. On a score of 1 to 3, nothing happens. On a score of 4 to 5, place a further cursed bulwark. On a score of 6, place a cursed tower, a citadel watchtower, or another building of similar size. Cursed terrain features placed in this way must be positioned touching an existing cursed terrain feature, and cannot be placed on top of a unit or a terrain feature other than a hill or forest. Weird. If the terrain feature cannot be placed, or you don't have the relevant terrain feature, then nothing is placed. Cursed bulwarks are walls, and cursed towers are buildings. A model from the Forces of Order that is in base contact with either a cursed tower or a cursed bulwark suffers a -2 penalty to initiative. Wordy for trash.
Well, when the book came out, I did look at it and think, what if I put it on like a Bloodthirster against like Bretonians? And then he flies up, he lands, like just out of
And
arc,
builds a wall.
chucks the wall along in front of all the Knits, and then basically says, well, you've got to take loads of dangerous terrain to get
Yeah,
over the obstacles, you
the
can't
wall-
get your...
The wall only
bonus.
builds up over lots of turns.
Yeah, it does take a lot. It does take a long
You
while.
place one bit of wall and the knights just go, yeah, we'll just like move beyond it, mate.
Well, yeah, but the idea is that the wheeling and messing about, I then put the next one down, hopefully next turn.
I
But
don't.
let me
You're
be clear,
clutching.
this is rubbish.
Yeah.
This is just something that was like
Yeah.
wildly in the back of my
And it's
brain.
only good against one
One-
army.
well, yeah, you've got-
or all mounted
The
empire.
idea-
Cavalry
yeah.
heavy, basically.
The idea of the Bloodthirster is just pulling out his above the builder tool belt and just going.
Other builders are available.
Not as good though.
I also love the fact that you can't place the first wall in a forest, but you can place subsequent pieces in a forest.
Yeah.
Because you can't stop. If you chuck the wall, you don't know where it's going to land in the forest. But if you see it just building across the forest, then obviously that's what's happening. Eh?
Look, let's just stop.
Let's
Trash!
just move on, shall
Trash!
If you had an army that was really defensive, that had lots of really good shooting and that liked to,
we? Chaos Dwarves.
you know,
Gas
Chaos
Dwarves,
Dwarves,
Chaos Dwarves.
regular dwarves, even
Empire
even
Elves.
Empire High Elves, even or
Yeah.
Wood Elves,
Wood Elves.
because you can get against the bulwark and stop the enemy getting the charging bonus. You defend the obstacle rules, but you can't do any of that because you don't have loads of shooting because you're demons and
You
you're
have-
Khorne.
Like 2 shooting
Oh,
units.
so I'd say it's
You've got the soul grinder
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
I'll say it's
Khorne
with
you do,
Khorne,
Khorne and
you
Ham.
could place it in front of your big unit of blood letters and stop an elf unit from getting ASF rerolls.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Well, it's -2 initiative for the forces of order if they're in base contact with it.
Yeah, so if
So
you
they don't
that's
get
a very
that
niche way of using it.
Yeah, but it also like
But it's rubbish.
what they're going to do is say that's really cool. Well, I'm just going to stand 18 away and cast loads of dirty spells on you, and probably score more VPs than
I'll
you.
say if it comes to the point in which it is that point charge or be charged, you could just do it that way. I'm not saying right at the beginning of the game. If you've got it going
Yeah, I
onwards
see
in
what
the
you're
game.
saying.
Yeah. I'm not just saying turn one, charge down, come charge.
I'm
you
just not sure they'd ever really charge you in that scenario. Why would they?
They'd just back off and shoot and hit your
shoot
spells
and hit
because
you.
you're not doing any damage to them because you got no range.
I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying that's a very niche way of using
Yeah,
it.
I mean, we are clutching to try and help
Yes.
this army. He's not worth
Just don't
75
take it.
points. It's not worth 25 points
No.
to me. It's rubbish. It's random as well. You roll, so you can
4+.
roll a 1 or a 2 every turn and
Or
get
a three.
a
Or
3,
three.
or even a 3, and get nothing.
Treat
It's,
yourself to a free.
it's I've never seen it used, and there's a reason why.
I think it'd be funny.
I think you're wrong. Moving on, the Eternal Blade. Up next, you roll a d3 at the start of each round of combat. The bearer's weapon skill, strength, initiative, and attacks are increased by this amount until the end of the phase.
He really ups the power of your Bloodthirst or Demon Prince.
Yeah.
I've seen this used on a Khorne Demon Prince by a couple of events by the same chap, if you know what I mean. And I just think it's all right. It's good. It's it's very inconsistent for 75 points. It does up a lot of stats, but it's random. And crucially, you purchase the Demon Prince.
Unfortunately, two of the stats increases. The Demon Prince and the Bloodthirst are maxed out one of them, and more pretty much maxed out the other. Demon Prince already has semi-maxed out stats with the weapon skill and initiative.
Well, yeah, the Demon Prince is 8, isn't he?
Weapon skill 9.
Yeah, he's initiative 8 as well.
Yeah, so
Sorry, I was thinking of
they're
initiative.
pretty much maxed out.
So
anyway.
he's almost always going to max the stat out. And,
Yes.
and when are those stats not enough?
Yeah, that's the thing.
When are they not enough?
When it's weapon skill 9, initiative 8, not enough.
So it's like, right, I'm adding D3 strength and D3 weapon skill for 75 points.
You're taking it for D3 strength. You're taking it for D3
for
strength,
strength and
attacks.
attacks.
Yeah,
really.
sorry, attacks. Sorry, that's not the one I meant. Sorry, apologies. But again, I look at that and think to myself,
What a wonderful world.
would I not, would I not
just
pick
take a
one of
greater
those?
gift
Yeah.
and have +2 strength or attacks depending on what I'm fighting?
Yeah.
Because it's not often that you need both. Either
Or-
you go,
yeah.
they're really tough, or they've got loads of armor, but they don't have too many models, or they're really cheap, really weak, and no armor, but they've got loads of models.
Yeah, or Sword of Anti-Heroes. No, it's
Or your
the same-
favourites.
Well, no, but it does the same sort of thing.
Yeah, it does
for a
the
lot
Sword
of
of
those
Anti-Heroes
points.
is, if you're going along the inconsistency route, though, Sword of Anti-Heroes can be a bit inconsistent in what it gives you.
Yeah,
But you know what it's going to give you all
It's
the
no
time.
less consistent than this, and it's a lot less points.
It is a lot
A lot
less.
less.
That's the thing, isn't it? But I have seen this used, but it's not very good.
I do agree with saying if you're going to take it, just take +2 strength, +2 attacks.
Just pick one.
Yeah.
Yeah. One or
Pick
the
your
other.
poison.
And the best thing is you can spend 50 points and then have the choice of which one you want to take at the beginning of the game. You don't have to decide
That's
which
it.
one
It's
you're on.
customizable that way. Whereas this is not customizable. You just get it.
You do get both, but they are random. At that
Yeah,
point.
that's it.
Yeah.
And the last one.
The final one, the Chromatic Tome.
This
you
one
can
you said.
choose to
Yes.
re-roll the Winds of Magic dice in your turn. However, if you do so, your opponent can also re-roll the Winds of Magic dice in his turn, if he wishes. In either case, all the Winds of Magic dice must be re-rolled.
So when you roll that 4 for your -1 to ward save from the Reign of Chaos, and you turn it into a 10 for +1 ward save for your Reign of Chaos.
Or the Dark Princess,
Or Dark
and you like,
Princess.
kill some artillery,
Or you throw a
your
giant
opponent's
skull,
general,
throw a giant skull at a monster.
Yeah.
Get a free
yeah.
unit of Chaos Demons when you roll 12.
For me, it's less good for Khorne.
Yes.
Yes.
And my reasoning for that is that you're really only taking this for the Reign of Chaos
You are,
result,
yes.
and you're always having the potential that you give your opponent
More dice.
more dice to do more damage to
and
you.
you are not naturally great at dispelling.
No.
Whereas Zinch, I can see more argument for it because you're saying, well, I'm
You've
likely
probably
to
got
get
lots of
more
spells.
power
Lots of
dice.
spells.
I've got good dispel attempts anyway.
Yeah.
But one of the things that always sticks out to me with this, and as I say, this one was taken relatively.
This is the one.
regularly.
This is the one I saw a lot.
This is
people
one you
take,
saw a
yeah.
lot, but certainly when the book came out, and I think people grew away from it, and I think they were sensible to grow away from it, is fundamentally, like, how often do you think you'll use it in a game?
Well, that's interesting because obviously I've used Manfred von Carstein from Vampires quite a lot.
Yep.
And he has a vampire power which lets him re-roll the Winds of
But you
Magic
gotta
dice.
choose
It
the
is
dice.
one or both.
Yeah.
But I think
It says only one dice for Manfred,
sorry, it's one dice rather than both is what I meant to say.
which is better.
It is a lot
Yeah.
better. I mean, one or both would be better.
Yeah, of course.
But one is better than
We
both.
can't have everything.
No, but I find that you only want to re-roll a dice if you've rolled like a sort of large gap between the dice. If that makes
A
sense.
6 and a 1.
So like a 6 and 1, 5 and a 2, 4 and a 2.
If the dice are close, if they're doubles, you'll probably keep them.
You want to keep that one. Unless it's like double 1s or double 2s or whatever.
Well, even a double
no,
two.
double 1, double 2, you
Double
really want
two's
to keep.
absolutely sick. Yeah.
But even double 1, because all you're doing is giving your opponent more to spell dice.
That's it. And that's where this one's a little different.
It is.
Because you reroll both. But
Yeah. But even with Manfred's, which is better, I probably only use twice a game, I'd say it probably averages.
and the thing with this is that it lets me have a go.
You do have a go,
So again,
yeah.
if you're fighting a magic heavy enemy,
You really don't want to
risk
use
it.
it.
Do you want to risk it? Particularly, and this is why I think it's terrible for Khorne in a way, because most people you fight will have more magic than you.
Yeah.
Always, unless
unless they've got
one
none.
or no magic.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Unless they're no magic as well.
Yeah.
So, but most of the time, what you're fighting will have more magic than you,
Yeah.
and so you're giving them a buff so that you get a more favourable result in the Reign of Chaos. Now, you can skip back, when we went through the table, we talked about actually how the results, the vast majority of the results
Aren't
aren't
actually
that terrible. For
Khorne is hit by the best
the
god-specific
Dark
one.
Prince
the
first.
Dark
It is
Prince
worth saying.
first, yeah.
But you are only hit on a 6. It's only really your Bloodthirster and your Skull Cannons that you're too worried about getting hit. Because your Bloodletters have got enough models.
The only thing is, when you have managed to get into combat and then you do roll a 4 and you do lose 1 point of war tape,
It's the 4.
That's the 4. You want the reroll.
It's the
That's
4
when
for
you
me that I would reroll.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't spend 75 points to reroll one result on the Reign of Chaos.
No, or even I wouldn't even spend it for 2 results. I wouldn't even say,
No.
well, I'm going to re-roll the 8 as well. And I think that's the other thing with the Reign of Chaos is fun. Like I was going to say it again, but I didn't because I'm mad.
He
But,
stopped
like,
himself.
But I've done myself now. But like, if I roll like not a 4. I don't think I want to re-roll it. I don't think I've got the guts.
No.
I'll be honest. I look at it and go, is it a 4?
No.
Love to see
I'll
it.
leave it there.
Love to see it.
Yeah.
You know?
And I definitely don't think you do, because that then gives your opponent the reroll.
Yeah. And you have
And
a chance that you roll a 4.
Yeah.
You know?
and it's not worth fishing for something better.
No.
Forgetting the fact you might roll a 4 on the reroll, it's not worth fishing for something better to just then give your opponent probably more dice.
Yeah, the only time I think that it's worth fishing is like really late game when you're getting hammered. And you think, I'm getting hammered.
And you're like, I'll be honest, minus 1 wall save won't kill me. At this
Yeah,
point.
I've already lost, so
Yeah.
let's see if I can get something really good.
Let's see if
Like
I can-
+1 wall, or
let's see if I
throw a
can-
unit of bloodletters that can flank that, or
Let's see if I get the Dark Prince first.
or
and just
Dark
take-
Prince
take-
first and
take
rest load
everything.
your
Take
models,
units
you know.
off. Yeah, absolutely.
But like ultimately, it's not going to do that very
No.
often.
No.
It's just, I think it's just not worth the 75 points. It's a
Nowhere
safety
near.
blanket choice. We see
Yeah.
this so often. We're talking like competitive Warhammer in terms of like, you get kind of those players that they're all about kind of going out and getting the crunch,
Yeah.
and there's those guys that really worry about protecting themselves at all cost. And in general, those guys that protect themselves at all cost, they don't lose very big very often. But what they also don't do is win very big all that often.
Yeah.
The guys that are willing to kind of risk it for a chocolate biscuit, if you will, they win really big, but they might also lose occasionally quite big.
Yeah.
But across the GT, you're generally better
To take those risks.
to take the risks, and then if you are losing, then try and switch your head.
Yeah.
And so buying items purposely to be super defensive like this
and
one.
really expensive items.
Yeah, that's it.
If this was 25 points,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I'd take it.
yeah,
I'd take it in
absolutely.
every
I
game
could,
if it's
I could
25
see it
points.
on a Herald. He's got 25
Yeah,
points
but
left.
at
Yeah,
that
I'll put it on
at
a
that
Herald.
point in time, it's just 2 little points at 25
Yeah,
points.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying though. It's the fact you're spending so many points.
I think 50 points is probably a fair price for it. And at 50 points, I'd consider taking it.
Yeah.
But at 75, I'd never take it.
No.
But it's one
Not
of those-
just for it, but for the
and
opportunity.
one of those
cost
things,
of
it
that.
wouldn't fit in because the swap of ones are weapons, and it wouldn't fit in like the actual.
No,
table, so,
it wouldn't
yeah.
fit in at all. But I just
That's where
it's
you go
not
from
worth
it.
75 points.
I see a lot of people take it, but I think people grow out, as you said, because the fact you're helping your opponent in some.
Look,
And
regard.
you don't use it very often, mate.
Yeah, I can see it much more in an army with wizards.
Yeah, it's better there.
I still
Yeah.
probably wouldn't take it,
No.
but I can see why you would.
Yeah.
But in the army, there's
But
a lot.
in Khorne, I just
The army
never
has a lot of wizard being in Zinch. You had your special character can reroll dice as anyway.
He can, yeah, he can.
Yeah.
reroll
Yeah,
them, yeah.
and you got so many channels.
Yeah.
You're really
Yeah.
again. You're back to it's really the result I'm concerned about.
Yeah.
What you're looking at
You
is
know?
more so actually like Nurgle or Sunlesh that probably want to take.
Yeah, I
it,
can
but-
see it in Nurgle, but we will chat about it in the relevant deep dive
Yeah, that's fair.
That's it for all the gifts of chaos then,
and all the Hellforged artifacts.
and all the Hellforged artifacts himself. So we haven't got a Law of Magic to discuss
Shocker.
this time round. Shocker.
It being Khorne,
Well, yeah, doesn't like magic at all that much.
he's not Stan.
No, he's not. So we're going to move into some sample army lists, which are going to be slightly different. But we'll talk about that in a second. So, the final part of today's deep dive demons book stuff.
Good.
That's the word.
Mexican word.
Mexican word, well.
Khorne.
Khorne! There you go.
The pirate demons?
The pirate core, yeah.
Okay.
There it is. So we finished up with some sample army lists. So we're changing things up for the demons again to make things more interesting, not to mention time consuming.
Well, no, they make things less time
Less
consuming,
time
because we're doing
consuming,
2 lists,
yes.
not 3.
Yeah, we're going to be exploring a mono god list, that being a list that only contains units that align to a specific god, this one being Khorne, obviously, and a slight twist on the list with a smattering of other units belonging to other gods to change things up. Simple.
So a mono and a mixed.
A mono and a mix, this one we go with the M&M. So onto the mono Khorne list then, and then we have
That's trademarked.
other wrappers.
M and M.
M and M. Other wrappers and chocolate confectionaries are available.
Yes.
There you go. So, Bloodthirster with a greater gift, as we discussed. So quite good.
Good.
Herald of Khorne, BSB, Exalted Locus of Wrath, and the lesser gift. I know you both said a greater gift on your BSB, so we'll go through that in a second. Herald of Khorne, lesser gift, Juggernaut of Khorne. Skull Taker on a Juggernaut of Khorne. 42 Bloodletters of Khorne, full command and the Banner of Swiftness.
Chonky.
Chonky
Always.
unit. 4 Blood Crushers with Musician, Standard Bearer, and Gleaming Pennant. 3 units of 5 Chaos Furies, and of Khorne, obviously, and 2 Skull Cannons of Khorne. So this is a +2 on our comp score.
Okay.
So I know you both said you'd probably take a greater gift on your BSB, and I am in agreement now. At the time I was writing this list, I didn't think I had the points for it. So it was either drop the lesser gift on the combat
Yeah.
Yeah.
and stick the greater on him. But I said I did like the idea of having, say, a Blade of Blood or some
Yeah,
melee weapon.
in that scenario, if you are scrabbling for
Yeah,
points,
he's
I
going to
think
be
the
the heroes there.
lesser gifts split across the 2 heralds is better than a greater gift on the BSB and no gift on the combat
He's a
one.
Blade of Blood and challenge out for me. That guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So up there with what's good, we have the Bloodthirster, which we've discussed is pretty good as is. Like he's an absolute monster.
Like the gift on him as well.
The great gift, going for either the 2-up arm save as we said, +1 wound, Axe of Khorne. I know you didn't like it, but I do. So
I think just see what the opponent's got.
Yeah.
Again, beauty of gifts. Just see what your opponent's got and decide from there.
Yeah.
Skull Taker on his Juggernaut because he is just absolute top tier.
He's really good. Really
He rides with the Bloodthirster and just goes, I'll charge both in. You can challenge if you want to try and challenge the Bloodthirster. This guy is going to take it instead though. Absolutely.
Bloodthirster wows out the unit and he gets a lot of
Gets a
overkill in the
character.
challenge because he's got heroic killing blow in the challenge.
Yeah.
4 heroic killing blow attacks and strength 6. No, strength 6 on charge.
6 weapon skill 9.
We've got 9 initiative, 9 hatred.
Yeah, he's ace.
Yeah. Obviously, we've got to take some core attacks. So we have got.
Strength 6 on the chart.
There you go. So we've got the core attacks. We've got the single unit Bloodletters of Khorne because as we said,
I definitely
it's
think
just
they're
better
the
in the big unit with the Exalted Locus of
It's
Wrath.
worth paying the comp for it as well if you're looking at the comp's environment because they're not great. They're overpointed.
They are
so you've
overpointed,
got to
yeah.
make the unit. If you split that into 2, they actually become 2 pretty reasonable to deal with units for most enemies. Whereas this unit now applies a lot of pressure.
Yep.
It's a big chunky unit, and they're actually getting all 42 of those wounds off when there's the potential you can roll to get them back with the
Demonic instability.
demonic instability.
Obviously,
and
downsides are in a
that.
big unit. If you do somehow roll a double 6 for your break test, you are losing it. But you have the BSB just to be there, just to try and stop it. And the BSB does also give you hatred, which with all those attacks, Exalted Locus of Wrath is going to be good.
Yes.
Yeah.
3 units of 5 Furies because Flesh Hands are overcosted.
Yeah.
They are overcosted.
They're good Furies.
They're good Furies. They're moving 10. Fly around with the Bloodthirster.
Strength 5 on the charge.
Strength 5 on the charge.
Target enemy artillery with them.
Yep.
Protect the flanks of your big
Target
unit
wizards
of
with
bloodletters. Target enemy wizards potentially as well. Yeah,
Fly after lone
I
character.
agree.
Like, they're just really good. And then 2 Skull Cannons because why not?
Why not?
Well, but they're great, aren't they? In this list, they kill the monsters. They kill monsters that could cause your bloodletters
blocks.
problems, your blocks problems.
Or block.
They give you the ability to kill enemy artillery very quickly to protect
So your opponent,
your bloodthirster.
Your opponent is now under the pressure of either having his artillery target the Bloodthirster or target the Skull Cannons.
Yeah, exactly. Target saturation.
If you go first, your Skull Cannons are gunning for their artillery first and foremost.
Yeah, absolutely.
At that point in time. And then we have the character delivery system in the Blood Crushers.
Yeah.
Who themselves are actually, as I
Not
said
terrible.
before, I think they're really great.
As we went through the list today, they got, what was it, 20 odd, 21 or something like that?
If
Blank
you're a
pages,
defensive player, there's paper in there, isn't there? If you're a defensive player, this isn't going to work for you.
No, you have to be in your opponent's grill.
The only way this is really going to provide, because a lot of this is expensive points wise, the only way this is really going to do it for you is to go hard, put tons of pressure on, put loads of decisions in front of your opponent, and then see where they get one wrong.
Yeah.
And where they get one wrong, that's where you get the Bloodthirster in if you can, and you hammer them really hard.
Yeah.
It's an all pressure list.
You can't hold back. You have to go. You have to go at it.
Yeah. Something else we didn't say, which is really great about the massive unit of Bloodletters, of course, as you said, you give them hatred. You actually get a lot more value out of the purchase of the one purchase of hatred.
And also, movement 6 in that unit as well. Banner Swiftness. That's
they're not
pretty
slow.
terrifying.
Yeah, the Juggernauts are 7.
Juggernaut 7.
So it's all now.
Similar sort of
The
speed.
threats are all the same sort of speed. The skull cannons will be a little bit behind.
They movement 7, so they'll still keep up.
You'll march, won't you? So you'll get away from
But
it.
then you just want them to shoot these anyway. They're like a late.
And then they charge because they've got great combat stats. They charge in support in the late game, don't they?
And at +2, you're not exactly. You're gaining 2 points at the end of the tournament anyway.
Yeah, I think that's a good Khorne list.
Obviously, there are changes with like the end time stuff, but we will talk about that in a later video. But overall, it doesn't change much, but I quite like.
It's all pressure with Khorne. You can't do a pure Khorne list without being willing to throw.
You
it
can't
down.
hold back with them.
No.
Near.
So then we're going to look at an ever so slightly tweaked list that contains a few other god units, and one of the units I don't think anyone will be surprised that he's in there, if I'm honest. And we start off with Kairos Fateweaver.
Big Bird.
Big Bird himself.
Okay.
Other Muppets are available.
Big
Sesame Street.
Big
So other
Yeah,
Sesame
so-
Street characters are available.
Yeah. Big chicken with 2 heads. That's how we are friendly here. So Kairos Fateweaver. Then we go over Herald of Khorne BSB, Exalted Locus of Wrath, Less Gift again. Skull Tiger and Juggernaut again. The 42 Bloodletters of Khorne. Same sort of configuration. Full command, Banner Swiftness. Blood Crushers. Muso standard. 4 of them. Gleaming Pennant.
Yep.
5 Furies of Zinch this time. Because it's better to have them as Zinch to get the Inspiring Presence.
Yeah.
Yes,
100%.
100%.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got 2 units of 5 Seekers of Slanesh as well this time round.
Ooh.
So
Some
I like,
Slanesh.
yep, and then again just 2 Skull Cannons.
Yep.
I took the Seekers because they're fairly quick. They still get.
They are very quick.
They're still moving 10. They still have they can't fly over units.
No.
But they are fast cannon. They can go through the gaps.
And
so
you vanguard them. You move them 20 turn 1, and you get through the gaps.
you're in your opponent's artillery
They cut
pieces.
through the lines well. They also give you some poison attacks.
They
Not
do
a
use
lot,
poison,
but a
yeah.
few.
Yeah.
I'll say that all this change though, adding those 2 little bits and pieces, goes for a +2 to a -8.
I'm not surprised.
You have included one of the best characters in
Yes.
the game in your
Yeah.
list.
Kairos Fateweaver makes this army like insane.
He makes it significantly better.
In a very real sense, as always is the case with Kairos Fateweaver, it doesn't really matter. we're saying it's a Khorne list, and it is. We've taken a Khorne list and we've added. The whole idea of this is that we're saying these are the small flavours that you can add to up the power. Unfortunately, when you use Kairos, it always feels like it's Kairos
It's a
Fateweaver.
Kairos list.
It's the Kairos show,
Yeah.
and what you've put around is good. But it's all down to his blending of magic. I would, if you like the idea of this, watch the Zinch Demons Deep Dive. We'll really chop him up there. Go to the kind of character rating section and watch that. That's probably the best way. Otherwise, we'll be here all day.
Yeah.
But he can blend up his spells, and you choose the combination, and that is amazing with a big unit of something like Bloodletters.
Yeah.
When you start saying, let's have a Biriona's Time Warp on him.
Let's have a Wiston's Wild form.
Yeah, also very good.
I think Time Warp for me is the #1 choice in this list.
If you
It's my first on the team sheet.
Savage Beast on your Heralds.
Oh, amazing.
That's nuts. Flaming Sword.
On them.
On
Yeah.
anything
Any
on it.
unit,
Basically anything,
on
yeah.
Skull Taker in particular, that's really scary.
Enchanted Blade, +1 to hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
Weapon
strong.
armor
unit.
piercing.
And arm piercing, killing blow on your bloodletter. It's supposed to go 5, really hit on 2s with hatred.
He has the ability to turn the kind of the bloodletters into the ultimate killing machine. And because most, and certainly Triple Crown events do, not every event does, but most allow you to customise his deck at the start of of each game, rather
Not
than,
the turn.
rather than the whole
Yeah.
event. He really can look at his opponent and say,
This is what I'm going to take.
this is what I'm going to take. I'm fighting elves, so I'm going to include weapon skill initiative 10 today. Might not normally do that, but I will today.
Because it stops you
Because
getting
it
your
stops
rerolls.
you getting your rerolls.
I'm fighting
and it makes
Techless.
you hit me on a 4.
Fighting Techless, I'm going to take Net Avatar.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and you're able to kind of pull the strands, and
The strands of fate,
if you will, and it's not dissimilar to when we had a Techless Battle report on recently, didn't we, which you can check out, and it's the same trick.
Yeah.
It takes the bloodletters and just elevates.
Yeah, and that's not all he can do with these spells. He can go, actually the bloodletters, they just can't deal with this threat. You know, whatever I put on them, they're not going to get through it.
Fine, I'll do
so
it
I'll
myself.
take Purple Shell, or I'll take Dwellers, or I'll take
Gold Statues.
Gold Statue, whatever spell. Final Transportation.
Something we hadn't thought about on the bloodletters again, on the units again, up in the toughness for
Flesh of
Law of
Stone.
Life.
Yeah.
Pit of Shades, another
Throwing
one.
them back.
Yeah, Pit of Shades is another one that's really
We'll
horrible.
have to talk more about Kairos himself in his own deep dive.
Yes.
Because we can spark
but
lyrical about it so
basically
much.
That's
what
the
we're
idea
saying
of him in the list.
That's it. What we've added is the Swiss Army knife that allows the Khorne units,
the Swiss Army chicken,
if you will, that allows the Khorne units to do all of what you need them to do in every game, and also gives you a really great chance to dispel more spells.
Yeah,
which
it
is
does.
something you don't do with a Khorne army.
No, you do.
So yeah, but as I said, comes at a cost of -8 on your comp.
Big swing.
Big swing.
swings.
I think there are things you can do if you're going mixed list. I think there are things you can do
To get him in there.
minimise that
Yeah.
sort of comp swing, like maybe not taking the second skull cannon.
Don't only take Seth Skull Cannon now.
Maybe taking some Nurglings, they're quite a cheap plus. Taking some Demonettes
Instead of
in your
one
core.
unit of the
Of the
Seekers.
Seekers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
maybe
you
take
swap
some Demonettes in your core because they're a class.
The beauty of this is we're saying it's uncomped. We're
That's where I
mixing
think
and
we take-
matching
yeah.
and getting exactly what we want, and I think
Yeah.
that's a great list.
Yeah.
I'd be very unpleasant. That'd be very unpleasant. I'd be very worried about fighting that army.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's it then. That's Demons of Khorne done.
It is.
So a quarter way through everything.
Well, you're a quarter away through
Through
viewing.
viewing,
Thank you.
No worries.
Thanks for helping me out.
James words well.
Anyway, so our first foray into Realm of Chaos has come to a close, and now we can put the brass citadel in our rear view mirror onto greener pastures.
Very
in the
good.
car of Khorne. Pop that in the rear view.
There's a low rider. Yeah. But as is the Realm of Chaos, green's not always a good sign.
No.
No, it's not really. Anyway, Khorne certainly has the tools to really mix it in a competitive scene, but they do have their glaring weaknesses, least of all being the lack of any level 4 in any sort of scenario.
Yeah,
If you
the lack of dispelling help.
Yeah. That being said, the fact that everything has some form of magic resistance is pretty good as itself, and everything's pretty good in combat. Even your Furies, to a lesser extent, they're actually pretty decent there.
Yeah.
And lots of options for the signs of the Blood God, and that's not even talking about the options that are waiting for you in the end time supplements.
Yeah.
There are
which Max has mentioned a lot because
Yeah,
he's
a
really
lot.
excited about
Yeah.
them.
who's bought a Demons of Khorne army recently? Not me.
This guy.
More on them soon. Hopefully in this video we're showing you how to get the most out of your Demons of Khorne competitively, and maybe giving you an idea for a list that's a little bit different too. As always, feel free to give us your feedback on the socials, share your list and ask us some questions. Thank you for joining us, and remember to head back to the Knights of the Red Mustering Ground to check out all of our other exclusive content.
See you later, guys.
Bye, guys.
Remember to tag your friends and like, subscribe and share. Then head over to triplecrownwargaming.com and become a Knight of the Realm today.
What are you doing, mate?
You alright?